Chapter 1921 Conflict Rises. The Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was wildly continuing, but Fang Yuan's group was nowhere to be found. Fang Yuan gave the orders to retreat so quickly, the GU Immortals of the 5 regions felt as if the slaughter earlier was not real. What is Fang Yuan doing? The Central Continent Refinement Path Convention is still going on, why aren't you doing anything? You are the little demon Venerable, don't bring shame to your reputation. The 4 regions' super forces were very anxious as they complained, they wanted Fang Yuan to attack and take the role of charging into battle for them. But Fang Yuan, who had opposed Heavenly Court all along, went missing now, he was in hiding and could not be seen anywhere. The 4 regions' forces were about to feel some resentment towards him. As days passed, they watched as the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention continued to advance, all sorts of refinement path elites were progressing in the competition. The number of test locations in Central Continent also shrunk greatly. Each area was now guarded by multiple Central Continent GU Immortals arranged by Heavenly Court. In this situation, Fang Yuan ordered again, various Immortals including Bai Ningbing, Bing Yuan, and Beast Calamity Grotto Heaven's GU Immortals took action. Central Continent, Xuanwu Mountain Range. Bai Ningbing, you have committed too much evil, you will face retribution eventually. A female immortal from Spirit Affinity House was guarding this place, she said that before escaping. Bai Ningbing snorted coldly, she ran really quickly. Xuanwu Mountain Range was a giant resource point of Spirit Affinity House, it had a huge area and was a publicly known immortal material treasure trove. Problems will come with waiting, I should act quickly. Bai Ningbing started to loot the place. Central Continent, Imprisonment Valley. It's here. Steel Rush Warrior looked around. Frost Butterfly Warrior came along with him, open. Once the killer move was used, a formation appeared in front of them. Transformation. The 2 rank 7 GU Immortals from Beast Calamity Grotto Heaven did not hesitate to use their most proficient method. One turned into a giant with bull head and human body, while the other turned into a mini butterfly person that emanated frost energy. As immortal killer moves were unleashed, the formation broke after resisting for a while. Southern Thorns, the entire valley is made of immortal materials. Steel Rush Warrior was overjoyed. Frost Butterfly Warrior was even more direct, freezing the Southern Thorns and looting them rapidly. Central Continent, Red River Beach. The Central Continent GU Immortals who arrived were furious. They were late, they only saw ruins left. The blazing red stones that accumulated on the beach were all taken. A clean sweep. Fang Yuan was waiting silently earlier, but once he made a move, it shocked the world. His GU Immortals were almost fully deployed, even the Hairy Man GU Immortals were sent out. These people were instructed by Fang Yuan, they did not attack the sign-up spots that were heavily guarded, they targeted the resource points with weaker defenses instead. Each time they broke into a resource point, these people would plunder it dry. After the plunder, they would use killer moves to completely destroy the place beyond salvation. At once, the whole of Central Continent was set ablaze, all sorts of large resource points were plundered and destroyed. Every time Fang Yuan succeeded in taking down an area, he would publish the results of his success in Treasure Yellow Heaven. The 5 regions GU Immortals went into a clamor. How does Fang Yuan have so many subordinates? So many GU Immortals, he has greatly surpassed a normal super force. How much strength is he hiding? After feeling shocked, they felt envy and admiration. Fang Yuan's subordinates had varying battle strength, but even the weakest GU Immortal could succeed. For the Refinement Path Convention, Central Continent had lowered its defense of these resource points too much. Many powerful GU Immortals started to think, since these variant human GU Immortals can plunder successfully, why can't I? And many weaker GU Immortals started to think, most of the good stuff will be taken by those experts, but I can still get the leftovers, right? Thus, similar to the previous life, the 4 regions GU Immortals could not wait anymore, especially those demonic Immortals and lone cultivators. These people started to attack all the resource points around Central Continent. The situation in Central Continent fell apart rapidly. Heavenly Court. Fairy Ziwei had a dark expression. No matter how great her self-control, seeing all the information sources regarding resource points getting plundered and looted dry, she felt deep anger within her. Fang Yuan, she gritted her teeth, emitting an intense killing intent uncontrollably. It was this culprit who stirred everyone's desires and made Central Continent the hunting ground of the other 4 regions, it was plundered casually and suffered huge losses. Be they Fairy Ziwei, Duke Long, or Qin Dingling, they were helpless. Central Continent was too big, it was at the center surrounded by the other 4 regions as well. They had too few GU Immortals, they could not send people to all the resource points, their manpower was severely lacking. This gave thieves and bandits a chance to strike. People's hearts have changed. Qin Dingling sighed. Duke Long was indifferent. Sacrifices are necessary for our grand ambition. We will focus on the refinement path convention, these immortal materials can be given up. Once Fate GU is repaired, we will make them pay back 1,000-fold. Central continent was currently being ravaged. Fang Yuan's timing was too impeccable, he chose the perfect moment where Heavenly Court was increasing its defense of the GU refinement locations, these elites could not be lost as it would severely affect Central Continent's potential. And for the moment, their loss would be detrimental to repairing Fate GU. Fang Yuan's target was also perfect. For example, places like Xuanwu Mountain Range were too huge, it naturally had low defense. As for Imprisonment Valley and Red River Beach, he had looted them in the previous life, he knew their layout and defensive measures. Together with his meticulous planning, Fang Yuan's subordinates had a high success rate. The ease of his plunder and immense gains lured all of the other 4 regions' GU Immortals. The GU Immortals of all 4 regions quickly moved out to target the various resource points. Central Continent had not given up on all their resource points, many important resource points were guarded by experts. At once, all sorts of battles erupted, GU Immortals fought, and the moment they found that one resource point was too hard to take down, they would wisely give up and move to the next location. Central Continent had so many resource points anyway, why would they be fixated on one area? Western Desert Earth Path GU Immortal Shi Gondang destroyed the Earth Chi Rock Forest and obtained a large amount of round Kun stones. Forgotten Taoist successfully stole the Spirit Bank spring water, even though it was defended by ancient soul sects expert Yang Feng. Xiao Hukai, Xiao Shirang, and Pai Shui Han worked together and succeeded in their plunder, but because of the problem of distribution, they fought against each other. Central Continent was full of conflict and fighting, it was utter chaos. Fairy Ziwei stayed in Heavenly Court, she felt that days were passing like years. Eventually, old man Zheng Yuan spoke. We have gathered enough human will now, we can use the first human path killer move. Fairy Ziwei was overjoyed, quickly asking him to make a move. Old man Zheng Yuan nodded, he stood up shakily as a grand and vast aura surged out of his body. Immortal killer move, People's United Hearts. The accumulated human will was expended rapidly, almost none was left. At the same time, Central Continent's GU Immortals, GU Masters and even mortals became enveloped in a halo of light. The halo flashed for a moment, it was like an illusion. But Central Continent's people soon found something special. Their hearts were connected, they could sense each other's thoughts and emotions. The fear of being attacked, the sadness and hatred of having friends and family die, the worry towards one's own life, and the aspirations towards one's future. Never had Central Continent's people been so tightly connected before in history. Unfettered Scholar, who was hiding in the GU refinement location, was discovered, he managed to exact revenge and kill the Central Continent GU Immortal who was guarding the place. Southern border secluded Immortal Zheng Qing was exposed too, but he had no animosity towards Central Continent or Heavenly Court, he was asked to leave politely. This human path killer move, People's United Hearts, is truly amazing. Shen Sheng communicated with Fang Yuan using Treasure Yellow Heaven. His current location was unknown, Fang Yuan only knew that he had left Eastern Sea and could possibly even be in Central Continent now. What did you comprehend? Can we restrict these human path killer moves? Fang Yuan asked. He had already given all of the information regarding these human path killer moves in his memory to Shen Shang. Shen Shang sighed. To negate these killer moves, the easiest way is to destroy the human will. Without human will as the foundation, these human path killer moves cannot be used. But I deduced that these human wills are kept in Heavenly Court. Then what about other ways? Fang Yuan asked. Shen Shang sighed again. Then we can only unravel the killer move directly, this is very difficult, I will need a lot of time. Don't worry, since I promised you, I will do my best. I do not want to see a complete Fate GU either. Fang Yuan continued to wait patiently. Wu Yong led the Southern Alliance Immortals as they appeared on Harryfoot Mountain. Follow me, let us destroy infallible blessed land, let's take all the success Dao marks and make Heavenly Court taste failure. Wu Yong announced. We will follow Lord Alliance leader. The Southern Alliance Immortals said together, they had high morale as they followed him. Heavenly Court immediately received news about this. Fairy Ziwei's face was grim as cold light shined in her eyes, this Wu Yong. Wu Yong has moved out. Longevity Heaven is also about to take action, it is time for me to make my move. After receiving the news, Fang Yuan smiled as he appeared near Yitian Mountain. Chapter 1922 Southern Alliance destroys formation. Myriad year flying warship floated in the sky. Fang Yuan looked at the formation in front of him with a smile. He arrived at Yitian Mountain again. This time, he would definitely take all of the dream realms away. This timing was truly impeccable. Firstly, Wu Yong had led the Southern Alliance experts to infiltrate Central Continent. Southern border was at its weakest now. Secondly, the huge battle had just started. This was likely the final period of free time for Fang Yuan. Different from the previous life, I had all the initiative this time. I defeated Heavenly Court repeatedly. The secret of my rebirth is known to all. Heavenly Court must have ways to counter it. Their arrangements will be different from the previous life. I should let the 4 regions GU Immortals strike first while I observe their new methods. Fang Yuan had a firm grasp of the situation. At this point, Fang Yuan's rebirth advantage was mostly depleted. His previous life's memories were not reliable against a colossal force like Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court would not be so stupid as to not make changes. If Fang Yuan took the lead as the vanguard, he would be stuck in endless battles, unable to get away from fighting. He might even die in the process. After all, Heavenly Court's foundation was unfathomable. Fang Yuan could not be sure that the venerable methods in his memories were all the methods left behind. Immortal killer move, refinement formation rain. Rain started to fall from the sky, gradually infiltrating the formation. There were naturally defending GU Immortals in the formation. The GU Immortals were in panic. The formation could not block him. The periphery had already been refined by Fang Yuan. Even though this formation was set up by Kai Kuyu, Fang Yuan had secretly undergone Dream Realm transactions with him. He gained a lot of information about this formation. Fang Yuan's formation path and wisdom path attainment, along with refinement formation rain, completely countered this formation. This demon Fang Yuan did not attack Central Continent, he came back to southern border. What do I do? Seek help. Our rank 8 GU Immortals have all gone to Central Continent under the lead of Lord Wu Yong. We still need to inform them about this. The southern border GU Immortals conversed for a while. Nobody dared to go out to fight Fang Yuan, but they had no reinforcements either. They had to use the Immortal formation and add changes to it. The Immortal formation continued to change. Fang Yuan's speed of refining the formation became slower instantly. But Fang Yuan became happy internally. The more this formation changed, the more he could comprehend the profundity within it. With the help of the light of wisdom, he could easily understand all of these secrets. Within Central Continent, the Southern Alliance's Immortals had already entered the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. Wu Yong and the rest received this news. What? The Dream Realm was attacked? That scoundrel Fang Yuan, can he see the big picture at all? He is actually attacking us at this time. The Southern Alliance's Immortals were furious. Wu Yong was silent for a while before speaking. Of course he can. What does Lord Wu Yong mean? Bada had a livid expression. Fang Yuan's actions were harming the benefits of all the southern border righteous path forces. Everyone knew about the value of these dream realms. Furthermore, they would get more important when the Great Era arrives. Wu Yong smiled instead. If Fang Yuan does not see the big picture, he would have attacked the Dream Realm long ago. He would not wait for us to go to Central Continent. Or maybe, he wants to make use of us as cannon fodder. Then aren't we sacrificing ourselves for him? Someone asked in an indignant tone. No, Wu Yong shook his head. If Fate GU is repaired, its threat will be far greater than the otherworldly demon Fang Yuan. He has been reborn. It seems we took the initiative to attack like now in the previous life. But there is no choice, we need to attack. This is for the sake of the 5 regions. Everyone, before we left, I already told you that our region would likely get attacked. Be they your family, friends, or our territory, all of the destruction and slaughter pale in comparison to the big picture. If Heavenly Court gains a complete Fate GU, we will all be helpless, there will be no future for anyone. Wu Clan said this as his eyes shined like lightning. He looked around as he declared, this is my order, let all of the defending GU Immortals retreat from the formation, do not make unnecessary sacrifices. I know this is a risky move, but even if my Wu Clan headquarters get destroyed, I will not retract my words. Wu Yong's determination shook the hearts of all the Immortals. They were all united now. The Southern Alliance Immortals were tightly connected. They fought their way into the depths of the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. After Southern Border received Wu Yong's orders, the defending GU Immortals sighed in relief. They brought as many Immortal GU as they could with them as they started to teleport away. A moment later, Fang Yuan refined the formation, not a single southern border GU Immortal was in sight. After he dismantled the formation, he received an information path GU worm. It was a letter that Wu Yang had specially written to him. Fang Yuan's divine sense swept through it, looking at the content. The letter only had one sentence. It spoke of one viewpoint: the threat of heavenly court and fate. Central continent is strong, while the four regions are weak. He did not say anything about asking Fang Yuan to stop. This Wu Yang, Fang Yuan sighed to himself. Earlier, he was a problem for Fang Yuan, using his political skills to restrict Fang Yuan's extortion and causing him great loss. But now, Wu Yang asked the southern border GU Immortals to stop defending. He made them retreat and saved Fang Yuan a lot of effort. If these southern border GU Immortals continued to defend, it would waste a lot of time. After Fang Yuan takes the dream realm, he would save a lot of time. That meant he could find trouble with the righteous path of southern border. Wu Yang's orders carried lots of risk. It was a bold move. But Wu Yang was sure that Fang Yuan knew the big picture. He would not continue causing trouble in southern border. It was like how Fang Yuan knew Wu Yang would not come back from central continent to defend these territories if he attacked. And the truth was, Fang Yuan had no intention to find trouble with southern border's righteous path at this moment. After some effort, Fang Yuan took away all of the dream realms here. Yitian Mountain saw the light of day again. The huge GU Immortal battles engraved here could be seen all around the mountain. There was no sign of life here. Everything had changed. Fang Yuan started to head to central continent. As he traveled, he transformed these dream realms into pure dream reality seeker physique bodies. In the following battle, these pure dream reality seeker physique bodies would be a huge force of his. In the previous life, Feng Jin Huang was able to resist the detonation of his pure dream reality seeker physique bodies. In this life, it was likely that she could do the same. But Feng Jin Huang was just one single mortal GU master. Fang Yuan had the initiative. He had several battlefields to approach. Heavenly Court, Central Great Hall. Duke Long, Fairy Ziwei, and Qin Dingling watched over the situation. Old man Zheng Yuan was also invited here. The latest news: Southern Border's GU Immortals broke the first formation. They are going to the second formation. Fang Yuan appeared in Yitian Mountain and destroyed the formation, taking all the dream realms. Fairy Ziwei suddenly said. Duke Long said grimly, Fang Yuan will not continue causing chaos in southern border. He will definitely go fight in central continent. It seems that we need to deal with these dream realms. Fairy Ziwei nodded. We are very lucky that Feng Jin Huang created the perfect pure dream reality seeker physique. She can resist Fang Yuan's dream path methods. Duke Long chuckled. You think this is luck? No, this is the power of fate. Heavenly Court will not lose this battle. We cannot lose. At this moment, Fairy Ziwei gasped as she showed a surprised expression. Southern Border's Immortals have broken the second formation. They are going to the third one now. So fast. Even Qin Dingling was shocked. Within 9 consecutive unceasing formation, the Immortals had high morale. Kai Kuyu, good job. As expected of the Soul Formation Path Great Grand Master in Southern Border. With Lord Kai Kuyu around, how can any formation stop us? Ha ha ha. Just earlier, when the Immortals went into the second sub-formation, Kai Kuyu spoke, stop. Next, he observed the area and led the Immortals to quickly and delicately destroy the formation. The Immortals praised him, but Kai Kuyu shook his head. The truth is, I did not see through this formation. I had received information from Fang Yuan. The expressions of the southern border Immortals froze. Kai Kuyu continued, using my method, I can break this formation rapidly. But that is a forbidden method that will expend my lifespan. It seems that Fang Yuan had been reborn. In the previous life, he must have broken this formation too. He knows about it clearly. The Immortals nodded, agreeing with him. What they did not know was, Kai Kuyu was the one who explained the profundity of this formation to Fang Yuan. In the previous life, Fang Yuan rushed to Hairyfoot Mountain from Emperor City battlefield. In order to destroy the 9 consecutive unceasing formation, the Immortals wanted to use the 5 regional limit formation. But without the complete formation chart, and having to create it within the enemy's formation, it was too difficult. Fang Yuan used his wisdom path and formation path attainment to cooperate with Kai Kuyu and Black Extremity, working together to deduce the complete formation chart. During this process, Kai Kuyu gave Fang Yuan and Black Extremity an explanation on their experiences of breaking the earlier formations so that they could understand the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. Since Wu Yang asked the southern border Immortals to retreat, displaying greater sincerity and determination, Fang Yuan was returning the favor by guiding them now. After learning of this situation, Wu Yong had a slightly complex expression as he sighed. It seems that Fang Yuan has already arrived in Central Continent. Fang Yuan understood Wu Yong, but Wu Yong also understood Fang Yuan. The two of them had an indescribable understanding. Even though they wanted each other to die during normal times. The truth was, in the previous life, in order to break the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation, Fang Yuan also asked the Southern Alliance for Dream Realms. Wu Yong did not hesitate but agreed instantly. Fang Yuan was transported back to southern border, the defensive formation was opened and he managed to take the Dream Realms away. But later, when Fang Yuan converted them into pure dream reality seeker physique bodies, Feng Jinhuang resisted them and he failed to destroy the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. Using Fang Yuan's guidance, the Southern Alliance's Immortals broke through another 2 formations, their efficiency was out of this world. Heavenly Court finally reacted in time. Fairy Ziwei frowned and thought about the countermeasure when suddenly, rainbow light appeared above Heavenly Court. Bright lights spread everywhere, rank 8 Immortal GU House Calamity Luck Altar shot out from within. Heavenly Court, we're here. Bing Sai Chuan called out with great morale. We have been waiting. Qin Dingling slowly stood up. Chapter 1923 Stars during daytime. Heavenly Court. Colorful lights filled the sky, a huge rank 8 Immortal GU house flew out from within. It had 3 floors of altars, grand and magnificent. There were multiple pillars holding each floor up, having white jade railings and shining aurora, it was eye-catching. Calamity Luck Altar. Qin Dingling watched with shrunken pupils, her expression was complex. She was looking at the Immortal GU house that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable built personally, but the latter had passed away. Even if you were an Immortal Venerable, lifespan was limited. Heavenly Court. On the other hand, Bing Sai Chuan in Calamity Luck Altar was trembling with excitement. At long last, he had finally attacked this place, commencing the great plan that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had entrusted to him, to seize Fate GU and refine Destiny GU. We really got in. The accompanying 5 Elements Grand Master was very shocked and surprised. Is Heavenly Court's defense really this weak? Of course not. Bull Demon explained in a deep voice. This is the arrangement of our ancestor Giant Sun. Back then, Golden Hoop Great Immortal invited our ancestor to come to the Heavenly Court for a visit, ostensibly proclaiming that he wanted to invite ancestor Giant Sun into Heavenly Court. At that time, ancestor Giant Sun secretly set up this arrangement, leaving it for the future. 5 Elements Grand Master could not help but inwardly be astounded at the words. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's strategy was planned so long ago, but he actually managed to use it so far in the future. Go. We'll use the route that Limitless Demon Venerable made when he previously attacked. We will attack Central Great Hall, ascend to Heaven Overseeing Tower, and seize Fate GU. As soon as Bing Sai Chuan gave the order, the surrounding colored lights moved sharply. Calamity Luck Altar was actually carried by the colored lights and moved to a distant place. The chi wall left by Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable had already activated, it sealed Calamity Luck Altar within the chi wall. On the other side, Qin Dingling had a pale face as she fell to the ground. She had already done her best to make some minor modifications to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangements. The so-called trap against Northern Plains would naturally be most effective with the help of a venerable method. Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable left behind the killer move chi wall in Heavenly Court, it was everywhere. When the 3 demon venerables attacked Heavenly Court, they created 3 paths that had no chi wall along them. But all other areas were filled by the chi wall. Qin Dingling worked her hardest to relocate Calamity Luck Altar into the chi wall. At once, Calamity Luck Altar became immobilized, it faced a huge pressure from all directions. Fairy Ziwei quickly helped Qin Dingling to stand up as she said in admiration, "Senior, it was all thanks to you." Qin Dingling sighed and said with a solemn tone, "To think that even after I worked my hardest after waking up, I merely managed to move his method to a slight extent." Sigh. Duke Long walked slowly with a calm expression. "Let's go, it is time to welcome our guests." Damn it, Heavenly Court knew that we were going to attack, they made use of that to set up an ambush. Bing Sai Chuan's expression changed, turning ashen. The surprise attack that he had anticipated for so long had just started, but he already lost control of the situation. He manipulated Calamity Luck Altar with all his strength, but the killer move chi wall was too strong. Even though this rank 8 Immortal GU house could barely move now with a snail-like speed, the most despairing thing was that the chi wall had a strong self-recovery ability. As Calamity Luck Altar moved, the chi wall behind it healed and mended together. Just as Longevity Heaven's people suffered a setback, Eastern Seas GU Immortals arrived in Hidden Dragon Cave. To think that Hidden Dragon Cave is here. Song Chi-yuan sighed deeply to himself. Granny Rong snickered. This place is quite secluded indeed, but there is no such thing as absolutely hidden in this world. Yang Zihe added. Back then, Di Zhang Sheng wreaked havoc in Central Continent, Duke Long suppressed and sealed it here, it was a huge event. But because that was long ago in history, and because Heavenly Court wanted to exterminate the Dragon Man race, they were ruthless in eliminating the traces. He. Speaking of which, Duke Long is very vicious, for the sake of Heavenly Court, he sacrificed all of his children and descendants. Shen Kong Sheng criticized with a tone of disdain. Eastern Sea's 8 GU immortals arrived here. It was the same situation as the previous life. To achieve this goal, Fang Yuan had put in a lot of effort secretly. On one hand, he used his status as Qi-Si ancestor to hint to Song Chi-yuan and Hua Kai-yun. On another hand, he contacted Shen Kong Sheng using his own identity, and finally, the 4 rank 8 lone cultivators in Eastern Sea were all Dragon Palace Dragon Generals. They obeyed Fang Yuan's arrangements. Fang Yuan was not sure about Hidden Dragon Cave's location originally, but after getting Dragon Palace, he saw related records in it. Back then, when Duke Long suppressed Di Zhang Sheng, the Dragonman race had put in effort too. After getting this secret information, Fang Yuan spread it using the mouths of the 4 dragon generals, influencing the decisions of all the different Eastern Sea GU immortals. These rank 8 GU immortals from Eastern Sea were different from Southern Alliance and Longevity Heaven. They did not have any courageous spirit to take risks. In this life, they had no strong intention to gain Dragon Palace. Fang Yuan thus motivated them to release Di Zhang Sheng from Hidden Dragon Cave and cause problems for Heavenly Court. Once Di Zhang Sheng gets released, the entire world would shake, blood would flow into rivers, living beings would die. There would be no need for these Eastern Sea GU immortals to fight. Once Central Continent's attention was drawn and they sent GU immortals to deal with Di Zhang Sheng, they would be weaker elsewhere. Eastern Sea's GU immortals would have a great opportunity. There was another advantage, Di Zhang Sheng would target and attack Central Continent's mortals. The more people it killed, the more foundation Central Continent would lose. Eastern Sea's Righteous Path rank 8s would not attack mortals with their status, it would ruin their reputation. Having Di Zhang Sheng do the dirty work was best. At the fringe of Western Desert, the thin regional wall was in front them. The 5 regions are indeed fusing. The regional walls that once restricted our movement are already so thin and weak. Fang Gong looked at the scene in front of him as he sighed. Fang Yuan's clone, Fang Dichong, had a high status in Fang Clan. He managed to convince Fang Clan's first Supreme Elder and many Western Desert super forces to take action together. This was a much stronger group than in the previous life. But gathering so many GU immortals used a lot of time, they only managed to assemble now. Oh no, that Blood Path demonic immortal is causing chaos in my clan. Right at this time, Sun Clan reported bad news. There is a brand new immemorial desolate beast attacking my clan's oasis. Mo Clan's GU immortal also received bad news. Everyone, this is likely Heavenly Court's scheme. They want to restrain us so that we cannot stop them from repairing Fate GU. Fang Dichong analyzed. Even though he had no proof, in order to stabilize these GU immortals, lying was fine. No, I need to get back. I objected earlier when you asked us to move out. Our base is too weak now, I was right after all. In my opinion, we should play safe. Western Desert's resources are all in the oases. If they are destroyed, our clans will lose our foundation without the support of resources. The Western Desert GU immortals discussed, they wanted to retreat. Damn it, Fang Clan took too long to develop, we do not have enough influence and authority. Fang Dichong gritted his teeth, he watched as a portion of Sun Clan and Mo Clan left. The nature of these 2 clans' GU immortals is not so tough normally. I'm afraid Heavenly Court is involved with these 2 clans. Fang Dichong reacted at this time. With the departure of a portion of Sun Clan and Mo Clan, the other clans also wanted to leave, otherwise, their balance would be disrupted. Western Desert's GU immortal world had gone into chaos earlier because of the rise of Fang Clan. Their relationship was tense now and nobody trusted each other. There was another fundamental problem. In history, Western Desert had never experienced any large-scale cooperation between super forces. Western Desert's GU immortal world did not have any domineering overlord in history, unlike Southern Borders Wu Clan or Northern Plains Longevity Heaven. After some discussion, a portion of Western Desert's GU immortals returned to their base. The rest of them still exceeded the numbers in the previous life. They passed the regional walls and arrived in Central Continent. Heavenly Court. Reports of battles were sent over rapidly. Hidden Dragon Cave is attacked by Eastern Sea's rank 8 GU immortals. GU Immortal elites have appeared at Western Desert's fringe, they are heading towards Emperor City. Fairy Ziwei spoke. At this time, Duke Long slowly retreated from the front of the battlefield. Calamity Luck Altar was surrounded by the Qi Wall, there was a sizable area of movable space around it now, Heavenly Court's countless experts were attacking it from all directions. If Calamity Luck Altar retaliated, these GU Immortals would retreat into the Qi Wall and hide themselves, staying safe. After several attempts, Bing Sai Chuan had to activate Calamity Luck Altar's defense as they pressed forward. Because of Heavenly Court's GU Immortals' obstruction, Calamity Luck Altar could barely move forward slowly and with great difficulty. Duke Long had nothing much to do, the battlefield in Heavenly Court was already secured, Longevity Heaven was trapped and they would eventually fall. Duke Long heard Fairy Ziwei's reports as he said calmly, Qi Si Ancestor and Fang Yuan, have they not made a move? Nothing at the moment. Fairy Ziwei shook her head. The two people Duke Long was most wary of were these two. Qi Si Ancestor had unparalleled strength, he rivaled Duke Long and was someone that Duke Long had to focus and keep his attention on. Meanwhile, even though Fang Yuan had rank 7 cultivation level, he inherited Red Lotus Demon Venerable's true inheritance, he might have some powerful method, he needed to be guarded against. Qi Si Ancestor's attitude is unclear, meanwhile, ever since Fang Yuan snatched Southern Border's Dream Realms, he vanished. He has a lot of Dream Realms on his hands now. Fairy Ziwei said slowly, she was going to analyze this further. What plan do you have? Duke Long interrupted her. Fairy Ziwei said, I plan to activate the formation and resist our external foes to force out Fang Yuan. There is also Qi Si Ancestor who might possibly fight us, we need to force them to take action. Duke Long pondered before nodding, all right, we need to take the initiative. If we can establish our dominance in this battle, the 5 regions' chaotic war will be much easier to deal with. Fairy Ziwei quickly left and sat down at the central area of a formation. She activated the formation and released Star Constellation chessboard. The chessboard floated in the air and rotated on its own, innumerable starlight specks that resembled fireflies flew in the sky, entering the formation. Central Continent's people soon noticed a strange phenomenon. Many pointed at the sky and screamed, quickly look. There is starlight, there are actually stars in bright daylight. What is going on? Fang Dichong had just crossed the regional wall when he saw such a scene. Heavenly Court took action. This did not happen in my previous life. Fang Yuan also arrived in Central Continent, he looked at the sky silently while frowning. Heavenly Court had indeed prepared something new. At this moment, in the sky of Central Continent, bright lights shined, stars appeared during daytime, radiating heaven and earth. Chapter 1924 Flesh Whip Immortal. Central Continent, Hidden Dragon Cave. What is going on? Eastern Sea's 8 GU Immortals saw the change in the sky. In broad daylight, Central Continent's sky was covered in stars that shined brightly. This is likely Heavenly Court's method, but we do not know what effect it has. Qing Yuan frowned as he spoke. What is there to fear? We will deal with it when it comes, with our force, who can stop us? Unless Heavenly Court sends their main forces to face us. Yang Zihe laughed loudly. Indeed, Qing Yuan's frown eased a little. In this situation, Heavenly Court focused on repairing Fate GU. Hidden Dragon Cave was just a small area at the corner of the big picture. If Heavenly Court sent their main forces here to resist Eastern Sea's GU Immortals, they would be disregarding the bigger problems, it would be a terrible decision. Enter the formation, destroy this formation and release Di Zhangsheng, he will cause chaos in the world, we will then gain our opportunity. Yang Zihe encouraged them without acting suspicious. Let's wait for a while. Since we are going to take action, why the need to rush now? Song Qi Yuan had a composed mentality. Since Heavenly Court has already used their method, we need to at least find out what it does, right? Song Qi Yuan's words made the Eastern Sea GU Immortals hesitant again. Yang Zihe and the other dragon generals cursed in their hearts, these Eastern Sea Righteous Path rank 8s were truly indecisive. They had already shown hostility to Heavenly Court but still did not want to destroy the formation immediately. They were concerned about this ridiculous starry sky because they were too worried about their own safety. If they were Northern Plains GU Immortals, they would have entered the formation already. No wonder Eastern Sea's GU Immortal world had the most wealth but still stayed suppressed and unable to resist GU Immortals of other regions. Fang Yuan did not want these GU Immortals to wait outside. The 4 dragon generals were enslaved by Dragon Palace, they were undoubtedly loyal. Among them, Granny Rong smiled as she said, if this method has just materialized and needs 3 days to take effect, are we going to wait 3 days here? This, Song Qi Yuan and the rest were uncertain. But at this moment, from the sky, grand starlight pillars shot down rapidly. The light pillars were shining in a bluish light. It was a grand sight. More than 10 pillars of light shot down together, encircling all 8 Eastern Sea GU Immortals. Next, the pillars faded away as a Heavenly Court GU Immortal appeared in the location of each pillar. The Eastern Sea Immortals' expressions changed. In an instant, they were surrounded by Heavenly Court. The situation took a turn for the worse. "You crawling worms dare to offend Heavenly Court," Zhang Feixiang said in a cold and domineering tone. "You will die today." Wan Zihong licked her scarlet lips, oozing with killing intent. "Those who offend Central Continent will be killed." Qin Song had a solemn expression. "Enough talk, I'm going to attack now, ya. A female Heavenly Court Immortal could not wait anymore. She charged forward. Her body was plump to its limit. She was like a meat cannonball that shot towards the Eastern Sea GU Immortals fearlessly. Eastern Sea's Immortals were not united, they quickly split up. The fat female Immortal missed her target. She screamed in anger. "You cowards, why are you dodging? Come, fight your mommy for 300 rounds. Flesh Whip Immortal is still so impatient. A Heavenly Court GU Immortal who knew about this female Immortal sighed helplessly. Flesh Whip Immortal is gentle and kind normally, but once she enters battle, she acts like what the rumors say. Many Heavenly Court GU Immortals watched with surprise. At once, the female Immortal called Flesh Whip Immortal chased after Eastern Sea's 8 GU Immortals while shouting vulgarities non-stop. She was extremely noisy. "Vile woman, don't be too arrogant." Qing Yuan could not take it. He turned around to battle. Flesh Whip Immortal was overjoyed. Someone finally stopped running. Boom! The two used their killer moves that collided, causing a thunderous explosion. A huge shock wave burst out and caused the surrounding clouds to disperse and change form. "Quickly go and reinforce Little Whip," Qin Song ordered. Among these GU Immortals, he was the most senior, even Flesh Whip Immortal was his junior. Central Continent's Immortals all charged forward at once. Among them, there was Zhu Kei'er who cultivated Fire Path and Transformation Path. There was Vortex Space Boy who cultivated Space Path and had terrifying killer moves. There was Yi Chao Zi, Wu Shuang, Yu Zhu Zi, and others. They were all famous Heavenly Court experts in history. Not only did Heavenly Court's side have more people, they even had excellent coordination. They created their battle tactic long ago. They erupted with great power. Eastern Sea's 8 GU Immortals were forced back time and again. They could not hold their own. "This is a trap, let's retreat," Song Qiyuan shouted with all his might. His words immediately received the acceptance of the other 3 Righteous Path members. With the enemies being this strong now, they could not fight forcefully. The 4 Dragon Generals remained silent. Without Fang Yuan's orders, they would not abruptly retreat. Amidst the chaotic battle, Zhu Kei'er suddenly pushed with her palm as a flame light was shot out. The flame light resembled a beautiful blade light as it slashed towards Granny Rong. Granny Rong and Zhao Shanhe were currently fighting. Seeing the approaching blade, she did not dodge it. At the crucial moment, Zhang Yin suddenly moved. A shadow appeared and blocked the flame light. "Oh, there's something weird going on with these 2 GU Immortals." Zhu Kei'er's expression changed. She felt something amiss. Compared to the previous life, she had woken up much earlier. She made many preparations. She had already obtained information regarding Granny Rong and Zhang Yin. These 2 were lone immortals, but they actually trusted each other this much. It was really rare. But soon, Zhu Kei'er found out that it was not only Zhang Yin and Granny Rong. Yang Zihe and Shi Miao were also weird. These 4 rank 8s trusted each other completely. They were willing to let themselves be defended by one another in dangerous situations. Because of their coordination, they were able to resist the attacks of Heavenly Court's GU Immortals without losing. Fairy Ziwei was currently looking at the situation from her formation core in Central Hall. Starlight flashed in front of her, displaying the scene in Hidden Dragon Cave. Even though she was in Heavenly Court, she obtained first-hand information of the battlefield. What's wrong with these 4 Eastern Sea lone immortals? Their relationship should not be this close. Unless they set some sort of strict alliance agreement that allowed them to work together with complete trust. Fairy Ziwei could not think more. It was not the time to deduce this now. She considered it for a while before giving her orders. After getting her orders, Old Man Bei Feng, who was inside Hidden Dragon Cave, became revitalized. He quickly activated the formation. Intense lights appeared around the formation. Its power spread out across the battlefield. "Oh no, quickly leave. Once we enter the formation, they will take us out one by one." Eastern Sea's Immortals were flustered. They quickly shouted. But how could Heavenly Court's rank 8 GU Immortals allow them to leave? Immediately, Killer moves were used to obstruct the Eastern Sea GU Immortals. They could not get out, they were swept into the formation along with the Heavenly Court GU Immortals. Both parties entered Hidden Dragon Cave's formation. Old Man Beifeng, who was controlling the formation, grunted as his face turned pale, blood flowed out of his nostrils. Even though Hidden Dragon Cave's formation was powerful, taking in so many rank 8 GU Immortals at once was beyond Old Man Beifeng's limits. "Grandfather, are you okay?" Feng Chanzi, who was at the side, asked with concern. He was Old Man Beifeng's beloved grandson. If he did not make a mistake and was forced to guard Hidden Dragon Cave along with his grandfather, Old Man Beifeng would have become a member of Heavenly Court already. "But if I can make some contributions in this battle, Heavenly Court might recruit me." Old Man Beifeng's eyes shined with bright light, he was filled with morale. Eastern Sea's rank 8s were trapped in the formation, they were split up. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were also split up into different areas. This formation is mainly used to suppress and seal Di Zhangsheng. It does not have any power to cooperate with GU Immortals in battle. Every GU Immortal that enters the formation will be sent to a different area. Unless the formation is destroyed, there will not be 2 GU Immortals in the same area. Fairy Ziwei knew about Hidden Dragon Cave's formation. She ordered Heavenly Court's GU Immortals to retreat, while Eastern Sea's Immortals were trapped inside. "I will leave this place to you," Qin Song said before leaving. "Don't worry, I will guard this place with my life. If anything happens, I will report it and seek reinforcements," Old Man Beifeng said with a polite and serious attitude. "Very good," Qin Song felt assured as he brought the Heavenly Court GU Immortals to leave. At this time, more than 10 pillars of light shot down again. The blue starlight pillars enveloped all the Heavenly Court rank 8s. The pillars vanished, along with the rank 8 GU Immortals within. Fang Dichong and the rest traveled in their immortal GU house as they rushed towards Emperor City. Even though the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was disrupted by Fang Yuan in advance in this life and had slower progress than the previous life, it was not even at the final round of the competition yet. But evidently, Emperor City was the only place that could protect them while not interfering with the GU refinement and the restoration of Fate GU. That place was already heavily guarded by Heavenly Court. Fang Dichong thus asked the Western Desert Immortals to head to Emperor City. Western Desert's Immortals had surging morale. But at the next moment, starlight pillars appeared again, as more than 10 Heavenly Court GU Immortals appeared. "Kill!" Flesh Whip Immortal charged forward again. But this time, Western Desert's GU Immortals were not flustered. They were within their immortal GU houses, they felt very safe. Watching as Flesh Whip Immortal attacked, even though she was a rank 8 GU Immortal, she could not destroy an immortal GU house instantly. What method is Heavenly Court using? They could transport so many rank 8s at the same time. Fang Dichong did not think anymore. He mobilized several immortal GU houses to resist the enemies. As a Wisdom Path GU Immortal who controlled the strongest immortal GU house Divine Bean Palace, he was selected as the leader of the group. He had the highest authority. Immortal GU houses charged without care. It was Heavenly Court's time to dodge them. But 2 GU Immortals did not retreat. One was Zhang Fei Shang. He turned into a giant with a bare head and human body. He resisted immortal GU houses with his body. The other was Flesh Whip Immortal. She was a transformation path GU Immortal. She transformed into a walking meat tree as her roots moved like legs, running rapidly, while her branches turned into countless whips that attacked in a frenzy. Crack crack crack. She was also resisting immortal GU houses. Several rank 7 immortal GU houses were forced to turn around and escape. Within Divine Bean Palace, Fang Dichang's expression was dark. Heavenly Court made changes, but this change is simply too huge. Zhang Fei Shang, Wan Zihong, and Zhu Ke woke up in advance. Even experts like Flesh Whip Immortal appeared. And most importantly, what killer move is this? It can transport more than 10 rank 8 GU Immortals at once. This is simply unheard of. With this move, Heavenly Court had the initiative to mobilize their main forces to attack anywhere they wanted. This was a very significant trump card in battle. As long as this move was not destroyed, Heavenly Court could fight in several battlefields at the same time. They could deal with anything that came at them. Chapter 1925 Heavenly Court, S Initiative. Crack crack crack. The tower-like walking meat tree was charging at the forefront. Thousands of octopus tentacle-like branches waved and created a sound of fierce wind whistling. They had awe-inspiring might. The Western Desert GU Immortals' immortal GU houses were forced to retreat. Flesh Whip Immortal was able to resist immortal GU houses single-handedly. She was truly a rank 8 expert slumbering in the Heavenly Court Immortal Graveyard. Her strength was unquestionable. Of course, this was also the advantage of Transformation Path. Let us. At the crucial moment, Dong Clan's GU Immortals spoke up. Similar to the previous life, Dong Clan still mobilized the rank 7 Immortal GU House Red River Wheel. This Immortal GU House looked like a water wheel or a giant tire, rotating while blazing with red flames. It crashed towards the walking meat tree. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals saw this and their gazes focused. Immortal GU houses charged head-on because it was the fastest method. It was usually not their strongest ability. According to the different types of Immortal GU used to construct them, Immortal GU houses had different Immortal killer moves. Right now, Red River Wheel had used its own killer move with overwhelming might to attack Flesh Whip Immortal. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were nervous. Similarly, Western Desert's GU Immortals were also nervous. Red River Wheel was only a rank 7 Immortal GU house. It could resist rank 8. If it crashed into Flesh Whip Immortal, they would be evenly matched. It would be damaged too. However, this result was still slightly favorable to Western Desert. Even if both of them were harmed, Red River Wheel would be able to recover by replacing the dead GU. Flesh Whip Immortal, however, would be physically injured, and subsequent healing and recovery would be quite troubling. Come. At the crucial moment, Flesh Whip Immortal, instead of retreating, yelled in excitement and charged straight up. This person. Defend her. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals reached a consensus in an instant. Zhang Feixiang growled again. He turned into a giant with a bare head and human body, charging towards Red River Wheel. Red River Wheel is strongest at the front and back, but the sides are the weakest. Let's help out Dong Clan. Immortal GU House Jade Toad Castle was like a green meteor that crashed into Zhang Feixiang. Wan Zihong smiled delicately as countless petals drifted over the battlefield and landed on Red River Wheel. Its momentum continued to decline. Fang Clan's chicken dog co-op came over to support, releasing chickens and dogs and other ancient desolate beasts to attack Wan Zihong. Wan Zihong was still maintaining her killer moves and had no time to dodge, so Yu Zuzi and Yi Chaozi appeared around her. One of them sprinkled countless jade beads and made a tinkling sound, while the other emitted a mass of yellow light, sometimes slow, sometimes fast. Chickens, dogs, and many other ancient desolate beasts were either smashed to death by the jade beads, or were temporarily trapped by the yellow light, hovering high in the air, unable to move. Damn it, this Wan Zihong is the demoness who scourged Western Desert in history and was recruited by Heavenly Court. Dong Clan's GU Immortals were inside Red River Wheel, looking at Wan Zihong and gnashing their teeth. Dong Clan was a Western Desert righteous path force and hated Western Desert's demons the most, while this Wan Zihong was one of the most infamous demonesses in history. Seeing the Dong Clan's Red River Wheel's power was weakening, at this rate, it would be crushed by the walking meat tree. At the critical moment, a forest flower house like Immortal GU House was exerting its power behind the battlefield. Wan Zihong gave a soft cry as she suddenly felt her killer move go out of control. Countless petals rolled towards Heavenly Court's GU Immortals instead. Wan Zihong muffled a grunt as her killer move failed and the backlash caused her to suffer considerable damage. Her eyes were like lightning as she stared at the culprit. It was Fang Clan's rank 7 Immortal GU House, Fallen Flower Hall. Boom. At the next moment, the walking meat tree and Red River Wheel finally collided together. Both sides immediately flew backwards. The walking meat tree had hundreds of severed fleshy tentacles, while the surface of the Red River Wheel's wheel was battered beyond recognition, losing over 3,000 GU. Dong Clan's GU Immortals quickly started to repair it. This is really satisfying. Flesh Whip Immortal gritted her teeth and struggled to maintain the form of the walking meat tree. Although her injuries were not light, her fighting spirit was instead more vigorous. She was about to charge up again, but was stopped by Zhang Feixiang. Let me fight. You should go back and heal your injuries. Zhang Feixiang had been knocked away by the Immortal GU House earlier. He returned and immediately took the place of Flesh Whip Immortal. Flesh Whip Immortal, however, was stubborn and would not retreat in a deadly battle. I won't. Let me charge, no one can stop me. As soon as the words were said, a giant pillar of starlight shot down violently overhead, covering Flesh Whip Immortal. Flesh Whip Immortal. In the next instant, she disappeared together with the giant pillar of starlight and returned to Heavenly Court. In Heavenly Court's battlefield, Calamity Luck Altar was still struggling to move forward, trying to break free from the Qi wall, but Duke Long was firmly blocking in front of it. Duke Long's tall body was like cast steel, and even if it was just one man, Calamity Luck Altar could not deal with him. Boom boom boom. Every time Duke Long attacked, it was accompanied by a fierce explosion, and just by using transformation path killer moves, Calamity Luck Altar could not move forward. After advancing 10 steps, it would often be knocked back 9 steps by Duke Long. Flesh Whip Immortal swallowed a mouthful of saliva, gazing up at the heroic fighting stance of Duke Long, feeling envious in her heart. When would she have such powerful strength? Light flickered around her, pale blue strands of flowing water wrapped around her, washing the Tao marks away to heal her wounds. This was a healing formation specially set up by Heavenly Court to greatly improve the efficiency of healing injuries. Heavenly Court's teleportation method can move groups as well as a single person to and fro. This is really troublesome. Fang Yuan's clone, Fang Dichong, frowned deeply. Although he could not see the healing formation in Heavenly Court, he could deduce it easily with his brain. The key was that with such a method, Heavenly Court could quickly retreat. It was almost an extravagant hope for Western Desert's side to kill or injure the Heavenly Court GU Immortals. They had to kill with a single blow, denying Heavenly Court any chance to teleport and heal their members. But how difficult was it to kill such experts among rank 8? It was not just Fang Dichong, the vast majority of the GU Immortals recognized this. The morale of the Western Desert Immortals began to plummet. Fang Dichong secretly gritted his teeth. This is not good. Immediately, he activated Divine Bean Palace to move to the front line. Everyone, let me do it. The Western Desert Immortals were energized greatly. They hurriedly made way for Divine Bean Palace, casting expectant glances at it. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals saw an immortal GU house lofty as a mountain, majestic and imposing, rumbling and rushing as it attacked. All their hearts jumped. The same name flashed in the hearts of the Immortals, Divine Bean Palace. Immortal Killer Move, Myriad Life Spring Lightning. Divine Bean Palace shook intensely, countless sparks that resembled dragons or snakes coiled around the palace. Lightning gathered into beads of jade-green lightning balls as they exploded around the palace. Rumble. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals dodged wildly, not daring to face the attack. Even Transformation Path Zhang Fei Shang had reverted to his human body, flying around in a very sad state. Myriad Life Spring Lightning, life and death was interlinked, destruction and creation were gathered into one move. After exploding, Tao marks would be left in the battlefield, creating an environment that was advantageous to the user. How can we fight this? This time, it was the Heavenly Court GU Immortals' turn to feel helpless. It is, after all, an immortal GU house created by Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable himself. Sigh, how did it end up in the hands of Western Desert's GU Immortals? The Heavenly Court GU Immortals were resentful and without options. All of them were thinking of retreating. One of the Heavenly Court GU Immortals was pale and chubby. He was Zhao Shanhe, who was now looking at Yu Zuzi. Yu Zuzi nodded at him as they suddenly gathered together. At the same time, the other Heavenly Court GU Immortals were surrounding the two of them, planning and defending around them. Zhao Shanhe was a Food Path GU Immortal and Yu Zuzi was Earth Path. They both unleashed a move together, sitting and eating the mountain empty. The killer move enveloped the entire battlefield. Western Desert's immortal GU houses could not dodge it. After it was used, starlight pillars flashed in the sky for an instant. At the next moment, all of the Heavenly Court rank 8s left the battlefield. The intense and chaotic battle was left with only Western Desert's immortal GU houses. Even though Western Desert's GU Immortals forced back Heavenly Court, their expressions turned ugly. Because they found out that many of the GU worms in the immortal GU houses were weakening, soon, their aura fell to rock bottom as GU worms died one by one. Not only that, the GU Immortals in the houses were also getting hit. Many of their immortal essence beads started to disintegrate and disappear. This was all caused by that move. What kind of killer move was it? Not only did the immortal GU houses get affected, but even the GU Immortals inside the houses were not spared. This should be the profundity of Food Path. Because of that, it's hard to defend against using our immortal GU houses. The Western Desert GU Immortals discussed and exchanged ideas. They soon guessed correctly. Food Path had been too limited in circulation. Western Desert's Righteous Path did not have a lot of Food Path inheritances. Their defense against it was too low. It was a weakness. And most importantly, Zhao Shanhe was a Food Path expert on Heavenly Court's side. This will not do. Heavenly Court fights and retreats when they want to. As long as they give Zhao Shanhe and Yu Zuzi the chance to use this move each time, we will lose all our strength and resources over time. Everyone, we must hurry up and rush to Emperor City as soon as possible to force Heavenly Court to fight us to the death. There, they won't retreat so easily. Fang Dichong analyzed the situation and advocated. The Western Desert GU Immortals agreed. In a short period of time, they had no way to counter Heavenly Court's teleportation killer move and could only use this method to restrain Heavenly Court. Zhao Shanhe and the others returned to Heavenly Court once again. The injured ones all went to the healing formation to recover, while the rest were focusing on their recuperation while communicating with each other on how they should work better together. After a fierce battle with Western Desert's various immortal GU houses, these GU immortals suffered no losses, and the most seriously injured person, Flesh Whip Immortal, was almost healed completely, alive and well once again. Unlike the previous life, these GU immortals, because of their early awakening, not only possessed a full range of immortal GU, but they also had a certain level of mutual cooperation. Immortal GU houses are just hard to fight. Divine Bean Palace is the most troublesome of them all. What are you worried about? A few more rounds and Western Desert's side will collapse. They won't be able to reach Emperor City. Have Fang Yuan and Qi Si Ancestor not done anything? Quickly do something, we can't wait anymore. GU immortals were all experts that had huge reputation at some point in time, they were overflowing with confidence and morale. The truth was, Fang Yuan was the one who caused this situation. Since rebirth, Fang Yuan had been gaining victories over Heavenly Court multiple times. Star constellations will felt a huge threat from this and awakened many GU immortals in advance. It was unlike the previous life when Longevity Heaven attacked, in which Heavenly Court had fallen into a crisis and had to awaken many GU immortals in a hurry. They were unable to display their true battle strength. Chapter 1926 Northern Plains, Retaliation. Quickly stop them, Fang Dichong shouted. Western Desert's immortal GU houses tried their best to stop Zhao Shanhe and Yu Zuzi. But in front of them, Heavenly Court's GU immortals were putting up a tight defense. Roar! Zhang Feixiang turned into a giant, obstructing an immortal GU house relentlessly. Crack crack crack! Flesh Whip Immortal turned into an immemorial walking meat tree. She waved her branches and whipped at the immortal GU houses. They were knocked about and spinning around all over the place. Bam bam bam! All kinds of immortal killer moves erupted, as if they were large bursts of fireworks, incomparably splendid and powerful. These were all rank 8 killer moves of Heavenly Court's GU immortals. The immortal GU houses of Western Desert suffered a serious obstruction, inevitably hesitating. Taking advantage of this time, Zhao Shanhe and Yu Zuzi finished their preparation and unleashed their immortal killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. Western Desert's GU immortals were hit again. They then helplessly watched as a giant pillar of starlight shot down, teleporting away the central continent GU immortals. At the next moment, they returned to Heavenly Court. As the GU immortals healed their wounds, they exchanged conversations. It's really getting harder and harder to use the killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. After all, the other side has elites of an entire region, so they cannot be underestimated. As the saying goes, if a fool suffers sufficient losses, he will become wiser. But their strength has also been weakened quite badly, so they probably won't be able to hold out after 2 more times. The GU immortals were full of morale, and the more they fought, the higher their spirits became. Goo! At this moment, Qin Song's face turned pale and he coughed out a small mouthful of blood. His blood was yellowish-brown, and there were countless small insects jumping around in the blood foam. Senior Qin, are you injured? Zhou Shangxin, who was standing right next to Qin Song, asked with concern. Zhou Shangxin was dressed in a white robe. He had a strong physique and a squarish face with thick eyebrows. In his last battle with Fang Yuan, he activated the fastest battlefield killer move in the world, Rumor Cage, and once caused Fang Yuan to fall into a dangerous battle. In the end, Fang Yuan was even more calculating and used the arrangements left by the organization to fight a plot and kill Zhou Shangxin. But this time, Fang Yuan was reborn. Zhou Shangxin was thus alive and one of the many GU immortals that fought along with Heavenly Court. Qin Song weakly shook his head. This is an old injury, it is not from the fight earlier. The Heavenly Court GU immortals all gathered around to check on Qin Song's state. Even Fairy Ziwei came here. Qin Song was the key person now. The reason why Heavenly Court was able to display such a powerful star-cast killer move was not only with the help of the related formation and star constellation chessboard, but also relying on Qin Song's strength. Qin Song was most skilled at teleportation. In the previous life, he was the one who brought the Heavenly Court GU immortals on a long journey to quickly make their way to Dizangshang. At that time, he did not have his complete set of immortal GU. He used killer moves without caring about his own condition, causing him to die prematurely. This life, however, he had awakened earlier. The situation was much better. Not only were his immortal GU comprehensive, he also got to use an advanced lifespan extension method. Qin Song's seniority was very high. He had gone into hibernation long ago. During his hibernation, Heavenly Court had many new findings and improvement in their research on lifespan extension methods. As time passed, there were bound to be improvements. As a result, Qin Song's lifespan was extended to a certain extent, but the repeated battles made him repeatedly exert himself, and his health declined rapidly. His lifespan was greatly reduced. Based on your current physical state, I'm afraid you can only use 4 movement killer moves at most. Beyond that number, your flesh and soul will all collapse. Fairy Ziwei calculated for a moment and spoke. 4 times. Qin Song smiled and coughed out another mouthful of yellow blood with a calm demeanor. It is enough to defeat Western Desert, and there's still room to spare, so maybe we can deal a blow to Southern Border as well. Or maybe Eastern Seas GU Immortals. As for after my death, it will be up to all of you. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals were silent. Only Flesh Whip Immortal grinned. Don't worry, old man Qin, I'm here. There was nothing they could do about Qin Song's state. The cause behind all of this was his old injury, an injury that he had brought with him from exploring Reckless Savage's grave. It could not be treated in the past, and now it was still fatal. Fairy Ziwei, however, did not order a further attack. She was pondering in her head. Without Qin Song, Heavenly Court would not have the ability to teleport in groups. Relying on star constellation chessboard alone would be too inefficient, and it would seriously reduce her own ability to deduce and calculate. Fairy Ziwei had experience in using Starcast. This killer move consumed too many thoughts. If she had to use this killer move, she would no longer have the extra energy to look over the big picture. This was clearly not worth it for Heavenly Court. It would be fine if it was just one battlefield, but Heavenly Court was fighting in at least 3 battlefields. They were facing not only the powerful elites of the 4 regions, there was still Fang Yuan, the demon who had yet to do anything. As the leader and strategist of Heavenly Court in both the previous life and this life, Fairy Ziwei had to oversee the whole situation. What a pity, there is no Wisdom Path GU Immortal awakening in the Immortal Graveyard this time. Fang Yuan has yet to make a move, and Qi Si Ancestor has made no movements either. If we waste Qin Song early at this time, it will be bad if there is a sudden change in the battle in the future. Fairy Ziwei pondered deeply, unwilling to expend a key force like Qin Song in advance. She always considered one thing. Fang Yuan possessed a killer move using fixed immortal travel, as well as the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel. He could quickly appear in any place in Central Continent. If Heavenly Court preserved the remaining uses of their Starcast method, when they deal with Fang Yuan in the future, it would be much easier. Right now, we have 4 battlefields. They are in Heavenly Court, Hairyfoot Mountain, Emperor City, and Hidden Dragon Cave. Fairy Ziwei looked around, analyzing as she spoke. Of these 4 battlefields, Heavenly Court's battlefield is the most important. Once we are breached and Fate GU gets destroyed by Longevity Heaven, all hope is lost. The second most important is Hairyfoot Mountain. If Infallible Blessed Land is destroyed and we don't refine enough success Dao marks, it will have a huge impact on our ability to repair Fate. However, this is not irrevocable. Even if the Infallible Blessed Land is destroyed and we don't have enough success Dao marks, Fate GU would still be alive. In the future, with new developments in Refinement Path, we might be able to find other ways to repair Fate GU. After that is Emperor City. The Western Desert Immortals are moving with their forces aimed straight at Emperor City. But after our repeated strikes, their vigor has been lost. Emperor City itself is already heavily guarded and defended by human path methods left by Venerables. Even if it is destroyed and the elites are all dead, it is not very important. In 100 years, more elites will emerge. Finally, there is Hidden Dragon Cave. Although there are many Eastern Sea Rank 8 GU Immortals, they are not looking to kill and only want to seek gains. The formation and Old Man Bei Feng alone won't be able to defend against them, but delaying them for a while is more than enough. During this period of time, we only needed to support them once to stabilize the situation over there. A GU Immortal asked, "So, what is your decision?" Fairy Ziwei cast her gaze towards Calamity Luck Altar in the Qi Wall. Let's take care of Longevity Heaven first. With Heavenly Court secure and Fate GU safe, even if the situation outside is completely lost, we will always be in an impregnable position. After a pause, she continued. In addition to that, it will also allow Senior Qin Song to preserve his health, preventing Fang Yuan and Qi Si Ancestor from suddenly making a move. Great. These are truly the words of a great strategist. I'm also feeling uneasy about trapping Calamity Luck Altar in our headquarters. After all, they are the descendants of Giant Sun, so they might unleash a surprising attack anytime. We will listen to you. After listening carefully, the Heavenly Court GU Immortals all approved of this plan. As a result, the Immortals stopped attacking at a long range. They entered the Qi Wall and fought Longevity Heaven fiercely. The Qi Wall in Heavenly Court was left behind by Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable. After so many years, except for the 3 paths that were opened by the 3 venerables, the rest of the Qi wall was still strong and enduring. And even worse was that the Qi wall still retained its autonomous abilities. Heavenly Court GU Immortals were allowed to move freely in it, while Longevity Heaven's GU Immortals were restricted by a strong force. There was a hemispherical battlefield in the Qi wall. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals bombarded Calamity Luck Altar with a barrage of attacks with their backs against the wall. Once Calamity Luck Altar retaliates, these GU Immortals would rapidly retreat, entering the Qi wall and using it to block Calamity Luck Altar's attack. Because of this, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were able to attack with their full strength. Calamity Luck Altar's surface was filled with cracks. As in Rank 8 Immortal GU House, Calamity Luck Altar itself was extremely sturdy, and it was created by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable himself, so it had a clear advantage in charging. It was simply unreasonable. But all along, it was always obstructed by a GU Immortal. This person was Duke Long. His body was slowly growing minute by minute, his face was like iron, his body was robust, and the defense of violet gold dragon scales all over his body was extremely amazing. Transformation path killer moves were being unleashed as he desired. The moves were domineering and fierce, blocking Calamity Luck Altar firmly. Be they Calamity Luck Altar or killer moves of Heavenly Court's GU Immortals that he was in range of, he held firm, as if he was a pillar of heaven. All of the Rank 8 killer moves felt like just a light breeze. In the previous life, Duke Long and the Eastern Sea GU Immortals fought for Dragon Palace, and although he succeeded, he was seriously injured. By the time the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was held, Duke Long was still injured, so his performance in battle was not so shocking at the start. In this life, because Fang Yuan had obtained Dragon Palace in advance, Duke Long was in a fully intact state and could attack Calamity Luck Altar to the point where it could not inch forward. Duke Long is actually so strong. Bing Sai Chuan was livid. The accompanying Bull Demon, Flower Lady, and 5 Elements Grandmaster were all desperately trying their best to repair Calamity Luck Altar. This won't work. Without breaking through the barrier in front of us, we won't be able to get close to Heaven Overseeing Tower. In Calamity Luck Altar, Mao Li Chu lay down on the ground, yelling out in dissatisfaction. Bing Sai Chuan struggled for a while internally before he sighed. There is no other way. Activate the killer move Call of the Ancient. Calamity Luck Altar suddenly stood still and abruptly exploded with a round of golden light. The light was so dazzling that it caused Duke Long to squint his eyes. Swish swish swish. The sound of river waves surging through the battlefield resounded. The phantom image of a segment of the Grand River of Time appeared above Calamity Luck Altar. This is. Duke Long's heart was slightly shaken. Then, following the astonished eyes of the Heavenly Court GU Immortals, Northern Plains GU Immortals walked out of the phantom river of time one by one. Come on, eat one of my explosive lightning bolts. The tall-bodied New Bao Shang laughed wildly. To think that I can use this move to come to the future and participate in a huge battle, I am truly fortunate. Hey Fan had a slight smile. Wow, what a huge battle, oh heavens, I better hide somewhere. Lu had a delicate white face, he had a crafty look as his body vanished on the spot. Chapter 1927 Asking Fang Yuan for reinforcements. What happened? These are all historically famous experts from Northern Plains, they've actually been summoned here. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals were all surprised. Duke Long said in a deep voice, "Attention everyone, this is Red Lotus Demon Venerable's Time Path Killer move, Call of the Ancient. It can summon closely related GU Immortals from the upstream of the River of Time to the present to fight for the user." That's interesting. Flesh Whip Immortal licked her lips, her fighting spirit surging as she rushed up. Let me do it. Zhang Fei Shang transformed into a giant, together with Flesh Whip Immortal, they crashed into Calamity Luck Altar from the left and right. But at this time, Calamity Luck Altar was already guarded. New Bao Shang roared wildly and used his immortal killer move, lightning balls flew everywhere, exploding fiercely. For a moment, Flesh Whip Immortal and Zhang Fei Shang were both blocked by the lightning balls, their attacks were thwarted. Zhu Kei'er squealed and used her movement killer move, drawing a bright and stunning red trail of light through the air and circling behind Calamity Luck Altar. Don't even think about it. A male immortal stepped out of the phantom river of time to block Zhu Kei'er. He had a handsome face like jade, graceful and dashing, his gaze carried a faint smile, it was Dong Fangyu. Boom boom boom, Zhu Kei'er and Dong Fangyu fought a fierce battle. Immortal killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. In the distance, Zhao Shanhe and Yu Zuzi joined forces once again and successfully activated the killer move. The killer move worked on Calamity Luck Altar with very little effect. Calamity Luck Altar was worthy of being created by giant sun Immortal Venerable, its defense against food path was quite strong. Yi Chaozi's killer moves followed one after another. Wooden stakes were created out of thin air, forming a circle to trap Calamity Luck Altar. Yi Chaozi grunted in a low tone again, and countless bright green vines grew from the wooden stakes, wrapping around Calamity Luck Altar and spreading upwards in an attempt to stain the Phantom River of Time. It's useless. This Phantom River of Time cannot be attacked, only by defeating Calamity Luck Altar which is sustaining it can we put an end to this move. Duke Long was about to make a move. But another Heavenly Court GU Immortal suddenly teleported towards the Phantom River of Time. This GU Immortal resembled a child with black hair, he had a small cowlick on the top of his head, his face was round and cute. It was none other than Vortex Space Boy. His aura surged as a huge vortex appeared above it had an immense suction force that destroyed anything that got drawn into it. But the Phantom River of Time remained unmoved, completely unaffected. Another newly appeared Northern Plains GU Immortal had just walked out, he could not react in time before the vortex sucked him in. Ha ha ha, at least I had some gains. Vortex Space Boy laughed as he exerted even more force. Nyen tribe's expert was trapped inside, Nyen Nong Fu. He looked like an old farmer, his pants were rolled up, his legs were covered in mud, his back was hunched, wrinkles covered his face. Trapped at this moment, he sighed, oh my, I'm going to die in battle as soon as I get out. Seriously, of all the Northern Plains GU Immortals, I'm the least proficient at fighting. The small face of Vortex Space Boy puffed up as he did his best to grind and crush Nyen Nong Fu. Nyen Nong Fu was guarded by a pale yellow halo of light, it was thin but very strong, firmly resisting the crazy force of the spinning vortex. Another GU Immortal came out from the illusory river of time, seeing that Nyen Nong Fu was trapped, he was about to rescue him. However, Heavenly Court GU Immortal Zhou Shongshin also arrived in time to stop the man. Yi Luiko also came out, his skin was dark and his eyes were like a falcon. Scanning the battlefield, he suddenly found the weakest GU Immortal in Heavenly Court, Qin Song. Qin Song's weakened state was hard to conceal. Yi Luiko sneered and attacked Qin Song straight away. Your opponent is me. A beautiful female immortal intercepted Yi Luiko while he was on his way. Yi Luiko gazed at the female immortal, feeling a certain threat to his life. Who are you? The female immortal smiled fawningly, but her words were murderous. Your killer, Wan Zihong. As the two fought, golden light flashed and petals flew. Figures flew in the sky or fought on the ground. Intense explosions continued to resound, sparks were flying, bright lights were flashing. Northern Plains GU Immortal experts fought against Heavenly Court's members. Rumble. Zhang Fei Shang's flesh was torn by Nu Bao Shang's explosions. Crack crack crack. Flesh Whip Immortal smacked Yuan Ben so hard that the white bone armor Yuan Ben was wearing got smashed to pieces, he was forced to retreat. Nyen Nong Fu was still resisting, while Vortex Space Boy was gritting his teeth, refusing to give up. Surrounding the two who were deadlocked in battle, several GU Immortals were also engaged in a fight. The GU Immortals were all beginning to suffer injuries, the air was filled with the thick smell of blood. Even though I used the killer move, Call of the Ancient, I am actually being pressured. Bing Sai Chuan gritted his teeth, his heart growing heavier. The trump card he had pinned his hopes on did not turn the tables around, it only saved him from defeat and deadlocked the situation. In the previous life, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals had awakened hastily from the Immortal Graveyard, and despite the emergency deployment of the Immortal GU by Fairy Ziwei, their battle strength was still crippled. But this life was different, these Heavenly Court GU Immortals had great battle strength and were in good condition, enough to fight with the strong Northern Plains and even suppress them. After all, there had been a lot of cooperation between the Heavenly Court GU Immortals, while Northern Plains historically powerful experts had just been summoned, they had heard of each other at most, in their own lives, how could they have worked together? This can't continue. The longer Call of the Ancient lasts, the more experts it will continue to summon into battle. Fairy Ziwei frowned, feeling both worried and glad. Thankfully, she had placed priority on dealing with Longevity Heaven, this killer move was really troublesome. If they had used Starcast earlier, the loss of Qin Song and the scattering of Heavenly Court's experts would likely allow Longevity Heaven to succeed and rush out of the Qi Wall. After all, there were few GU Immortals left in Heavenly Court, and Yuan Chongdu and the others had to preside over the Refinement Path GU formation, the only main force that could block Calamity Luck Altar was Duke Long. Duke Long gazed at the Phantom River of Time for a while, before slowly withdrawing his gaze. He sighed in his heart, he could not unravel this killer move, it was like how he could not deal with the support of the future, killer move that Red Lotus Demon Venerable used back then. If it can't be broken directly, then all we need to do is to demolish Calamity Luck Altar. Thinking of this, Duke Long slowly clenched his fists and stepped into the battlefield. Yi Chaozi suddenly coughed blood. The killer move backlash caused him to suffer heavy injuries. He had been cooperating with Duke Long to investigate and restrain Calamity Luck Altar. But how could the rank 8 Immortal GU house be so easily restrained? Yi Chaozi had to retreat into the Qi wall, while Calamity Luck Altar stirred, trying to break through the Qi wall. Duke Long silently approached Calamity Luck Altar. Block him, Bing Sai Chuan ordered coldly. He was someone from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's generation, while most of the experts of Northern Plains were descendants of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, so they naturally listened to him. Nu Baoshang was the first to strike. Hundreds of lightning balls smashed towards Duke Long. Boom boom boom. With a series of deafening explosions, smoke and dust rose. Nu Baoshang laughed wildly. Have you tasted my power yet? Ha 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 ha. A figure gradually walked out of the smoke and dust. Duke Long's face was indifferent, his body as straight as a spear, his violet gold dragon scales still gleaming, leaving only a trace of ash at most. Nu Baoshang was furious, he stared with glaring eyes, his aura soaring wildly. Take this move from me again. He held his hands above his head and countless thunderbolts gathered into a huge deep blue lightning ball. The surface of the lightning ball was lingering with electricity, but inside it was dark and deep. Nu Baoshang threw it like a meteor shooting towards Duke Long. Duke Long was finally willing to avert his gaze, but only gave a glance at the lightning ball. He waved his hand. Rumble. The air currents soared, forming a big hand, and with a slap on the back of his hand, the lightning ball was sent flying far away with ease. Nu Baoshang's powerful killer move was thus dealt with by Duke Long. At the next moment, Yu Yongzi, Lu Wei, and Lu Lu attacked one after another, while Duke Long went straight to Calamity Luck Altar without looking at them. Only by destroying Calamity Luck Altar would Call of the Ancient be stopped. Boom! Calamity Luck Altar was punched by Duke Long and sunk into the ground. A fist crater appeared on the surface of the Immortal GU house. A large number of GU worms died in battle, even the Immortal GU were damaged. The killer moves of the Northern Plains experts seemed like a downpour of rain, drowning Duke Long. But after the continuous bombardment, Duke Long was still standing, only a light layer of soot was added on his face. How is this possible? How can this person be so strong? He is Duke Long, the master of Red Lotus Demon Venerable. Someone identified Duke Long as the GU Immortals of Northern Plains drew a sharp breath of cold air. He was an old monster. But at the next moment, the morale of the people of Northern Plains soared again. They had a brave nature. The stronger Duke Long was, the more excited they became. Kill, 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 decapitate this old fellow. Protect Calamity Luck Altar and break out of the Qi wall. The Northern Plains GU Immortals roared wildly, fighting to break out and setting off a flurry of attacks. These Northern Plains lunatics, HMPH, brutish cavemen. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals had to retreat and back off for a while. Faced with the relentless spirit of Northern Plains GU Immortals to fight to the death, Duke Long could not continue to ignore it this time. He snorted lightly. Annoying pests. As soon as his words fell, the aura around him changed. Qi currents rushed and spread everywhere, while Duke Long's body became firm like a mountain, his aura soared rapidly. The killer move was prepared as Duke Long waved his hand. Whoosh! Air was forcefully pushed aside, 5 grand Qi waves flew forward overbearingly. Everywhere they went, the killer moves of Northern Plains experts broke apart like paper. They could not stop the Qi waves. It was a mortal killer move, Qi current scissors. Duke Long extended his hand to the sky and pointed. A mortal killer move, Qi breath mountain. Rumble. A huge translucent mountain created from Qi currents descended and pressed down immediately. The Northern Plains GU Immortals wanted to escape, but several of them could not dodge. They were pushed down by the Qi breath mountain as it crashed towards Calamity Luck Altar, turning into meat paste on the spot. The entire mountain of Qi currents pressed down on Calamity Luck Altar so hard that the ground was shaking violently. Calamity Luck Altar was originally ready to attack, but now, it was immobilized. Duke Long unleashed 2 moves in a row. The effect was immediate. He suppressed the entire battle. Bing Sai Chuan's expression was livid, his heart sank to rock bottom. He now realized that they could not break through the Qi wall with their own strength alone. Ignoring the other GU Immortals, just Duke Long alone was a mountain they could not pass. It was not that Bing Sai Chuan had no other trump cards. In the previous life, He asked Limitless to turn around, restraining Duke Long for a long time. He was unable to move entirely. But in this life, Calamity Luck Altar was too far away from Imperfection Regret Pavilion. This method could not be used. In the previous life, Calamity Luck Altar reached Central Great Hall before asking for Limitless help. We can only ask Fang Yuan for help. Bing Sai Chuan had a thought in his mind. Chapter 1928 Fang Yuan takes action. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had once told Bing Sai Chuan, if the plan to attack Heavenly Court fails, and Longevity Heaven loses all hope of getting Fate GU, they would need to ask the crucial person for reinforcement. Who is the crucial person? Back then, Bing Sai Chuan asked this question. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable then answered him, whoever destroys 88 Truyong Building is the crucial person. When the time comes, you will definitely know. Longevity Heaven's plan was to refine Destiny GU, they needed to snatch Fate GU first. But unlike the previous life, Bing Sai Chuan had suffered a serious setback this time. He had no choice but to ask for help from Fang Yuan. By the time he received the letter from Bing Sai Chuan, Fang Yuan was already in Central Continent, hiding inside a formation of the organization Defy. This large formation was set up by Shadow Sect and left for Defy to use as a base camp. However, after the Battle of Yitian Mountain, Shadow Sect perished. Defy was uprooted by Fairy Ziwei, resulting in this formation turning vacant. In the previous life, Fang Yuan used this formation to successfully kill Zhou Shangxin. In this life, the situation had changed and Fang Yuan retreated early, not tangling with Zhou Shangxin too much in order to guard against the killer move people's accusation. As a result, Zhou Shangxin survived and became a fierce member of the main force of Heavenly Court, while this formation in Defy was preserved. To think that Longevity Heaven would encounter such trouble. Fang Yuan's eyes flickered as he rapidly pondered. He had been unaware of the situation in Heavenly Court now. This letter containing Bing Sai Chuan's request for help described their precarious predicament in detail. Compared to the previous life, Fang Yuan soon found the key to Longevity Heaven's problem. They were relocated into the Qi Wall the moment they arrived. It should be because of Qin Ding Ling. With a luck path GU immortal like her, Heavenly Court could find out Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangement in advance. They even managed to use this to ambush Longevity Heaven instead. Fang Yuan understood. This is yet another change. There is also Call of the Ancient, so it turns out that once Calamity Luck Altar activates it, it can teleport immediately. In the previous life, Bing Sai Chuan used this against Duke Long. Before getting this information, Fang Yuan had been wondering about Heavenly Court's method to use Starcast on a large scale, trying to find a way to break it. How greatly Fairy Ziwei valued it and did everything possible to preserve the method was how greatly Fang Yuan wanted to destroy it. By now, Fang Yuan had deduced that this formation was in Heavenly Court, with the core being star constellation chessboard and the countless stars scattered in the sky. The power of the formation was projected onto these stars, using them as the springboard to create a large-scale star cast effect. Fang Yuan did not deduce that Qin Song was the key figure. In his previous life, Qin Song made a very brief appearance and died after escorting the Heavenly Court GU Immortals to Hidden Dragon Cave. Later, the Eastern Sea GU Immortals did not inform Fang Yuan of this information. Lacking this crucial clue, Fang Yuan's deduction had hit an impasse. But now he had become somewhat aware of it. According to the information conveyed by Bing Sai Chuan, although Fairy Ziwei did not participate in the siege, she also appeared outside the Qi Wall to observe the battle. That's a bit strange. This massive use of Starcast should exert all her effort, yet she's still able to distract herself. Someone is helping her. Who is that? Is there another Wisdom Path great expert? Or did others cooperate to create a successful large-scale use of Starcast? Fang Yuan quickly threw away this train of thought. Now was not the time to contemplate this question, he had to make a decision as soon as possible. As a Wisdom Path GU Immortal, Fang Yuan was now like a chess player who was playing against Fairy Ziwei. Both sides had their own chess pieces. Fairy Ziwei was clearly a number of pieces ahead, not only in her own Wisdom Path attainment, but also Heavenly Court's unity, and in the current situation, she had a distinct advantage. Fang Yuan had a seemingly huge force at his disposal, but in reality, they were fighting on their own. He could only exert influence and push his agenda on the people of the four regions subtly. Although his subordinates were numerous and far surpassed the previous life, few were qualified to participate in a battle of such a level. Fang Yuan fully considered the entire Central Continent battlefield once again. In Infallible Blessed Land, the southern border GU Immortals entered the battlefield and fought, breaking formations one after another, but this was not a concern for the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. There were endless sub-formations. In the battlefield of Hidden Dragon Cave, the Eastern Sea Immortals were trapped in a large formation and were struggling to break it. However, it was clear that Old Man Beifeng could still hold on for a while longer. As for Emperor City's battlefield, the Western Desert GU Immortals were still on their way, their morale was low too. In Heavenly Court's battlefield, Longevity Heaven was completely at a disadvantage, and since they were ambushed by Heavenly Court, they had completely lost the initiative. Of the 4 main battlefields, the most important is still Heavenly Court's battlefield. Fate GU is in Heavenly Court. If we want to win this battle, we must destroy Fate GU. Fang Yuan thought. Just like Fairy Ziwei's analysis, both sides knew where the most important place was. That being the case, we cannot lose in Heavenly Court. Longevity Heaven's performance is so disappointing. I was hoping that they would cause problems for Heavenly Court and trigger Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's painting path methods first. Fang Yuan knew that he had to support Bing Sai Chuan even though he had deceived Fang Yuan for his own interests in the previous life, and also in this current life. For the sake of the entire situation, Fang Yuan had to provide support. Heavenly Court battlefield. Immortal Killer Move, Chaotic Dragon Fist. Steel Fist shook Calamity Luck Altar. The force of the punch caused tremors as countless GU worms perished instantly. Within Calamity Luck Altar, Mao Li Chu shouted, "Let me out. Let me hold him back." Bing Sai Chuan had a cold expression and shook his head. "No, you are no match for him. You'll be courting death if you go. You're not like the others. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals will target you." Duke Long ignored Northern Plains' generations of experts. He let the other Heavenly Court members deal with them. Heavenly Court knew clearly that they could only stop Call of the Ancient by destroying Calamity Luck Altar. But once Mao Li Chu entered battle, it would be different. It was a fierce general of Longevity Heaven, it had great strength, and killing Mao Li Chu would greatly weaken Longevity Heaven. He would definitely take action. Immortal Killer Move, World-Shaking Dragon Hammer. Duke Long shouted. He raised his fists above his head and smashed down like a giant hammer. The surface of Calamity Luck Altar shattered, a huge amount of GU worms died, their carcasses flying everywhere. A large hole was smashed open on the surface of Calamity Luck Altar. It was only the size of a finger, but the inside could be seen. Duke Long roared, "Longevity Heaven, only defeat awaits you. This outcome was already predetermined from the moment you tried to attack Heavenly Court." Heavenly Court's GU Immortals cheered, their morale climbing to its peak. The might of Duke Long is overwhelming. Bing Sai Chuan sighed long and hard, feeling a sense of powerlessness. Why hasn't Fang Yuan come to support us? 5 Elements Grand Master called out, inevitably revealing a sense of trepidation. As far as I know, Fang Yuan is only rank 7, even if he repeatedly defeated Heavenly Court, he was only taking advantage of the River of Time. If he comes to support us, will he really be able to change the battle situation? Even if he brings out Myriad Year Flying Warship, the other side has Duke Long. Bull Demon spoke, expressing doubt. Indeed, as of now, it would be difficult to resist Duke Long with just 2 rank 8 immortal GU houses. Duke Long's battle strength was too astounding. What was even more unbelievable to them was that with every passing moment, Duke Long grew stronger endlessly. This was unreasonable, Mao Li Chu snorted. That lad took reverse flow river in front of my very eyes. At least with that killer move alone, even if he's only rank 7, he can resist Duke Long and take the pressure off us. Fang Yuan will definitely support us. Bing Sai Chuan smiled. I don't know much about him, but I believe in Lord Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Just as this was said, the Heavenly Court GU Immortals actually began to retreat. They had the Qi Wall to rely on, thus retreating quite smoothly. Soon, only Duke Long was left on the scene. In the meantime, Ziwei Fairy dispatched urgently, "Quick, we must send support quickly. The 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation in Infallible Blessed Land is about to collapse. Hidden Dragon Cave's formation is also facing destruction." Zhou Shangxin and the others were shocked as someone asked, how could the situation change for the worse so quickly? Fairy Ziwei said, "Fang Yuan is making a move." "Oh, even so, the unceasing formation won't collapse so swiftly. He showed up in person. Let's take him out. We will kill this source of chaos for the sake of the world." The Heavenly Court GU Immortals were all excited. Previously, Fang Yuan had repeatedly defeated Heavenly Court, causing many of the GU Immortals to become angry. After Fang Yuan relied on his knowledge to extend his advantage in the River of Time, Heavenly Court lost the lead and failed miserably during the Battle of the Stone Lotus Island, suffering huge losses. Now that the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was held, Fang Yuan had to attack. The battlefield was placed in central continent. The GU Immortals were eager to see how much territorial advantage Fang Yuan could exploit this time. But Fairy Ziwei shook her head slightly. Fang Yuan has not shown himself. I'm afraid the ones outside are only his subordinates. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals were stunned. Mere subordinates could cause the two immortal formations to break apart. Fairy Ziwei explained. In Hidden Dragon Cave, Immortal GU House Dragon Palace appeared. They used a large number of dream realms to erode the formation. The truth dawned on the immortals. They had an understanding of Fang Yuan's dream realm methods. They had already expected this. Dream Path was an era ahead. It was only natural that the formation would be broken. But we have Feng Jinhuang guarding the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. Although she's only a rank 5 GU master, she can use the power of the immortal formation to unleash the Dream Path killer move Shatter Dream, and transform dream realms into pure dream reality seeker physique bodies. Zhou Shangxin expressed his confusion. Fairy Ziwei said in a complex tone, that's because he did not use Dream Path methods against the 9 consecutive unceasing formation, but Rule Path instead. Rule Path. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals gasped in amazement once again. Rule Path. Within the infallible Blessed Land battlefield, the Southern Alliance Immortals looked at the formation in front of them with great surprise. They had broken several formations in a row, but they had learned from Fang Yuan that this was the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. While they were feeling annoyed and troubled, this 9 consecutive unceasing formation broke apart on its own. When they exited the formation, the Southern Alliance Immortals saw a large formation suspended high in the sky, constantly emitting a 5-colored smoke miasma. The smoke miasma infiltrated the 9 consecutive unceasing formation, forcing Heavenly Court's GU Immortals to dismantle the sub-formations on their own. These are reinforcements of Fang Yuan. This formation was created by Southern Border GU Immortal Dao Zhu. It is called the 5 Regional Limit Formation. It can emit a smoke miasma and create a formation similar to the environment of the 5 regions' regional walls. Wu Yang received a letter from Fang Yuan at this time and explained with a rather complicated expression. Chapter 1929 Evil Dragon Escapes. To think that there would be such an amazing formation that can counter the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. To think that our Southern Borders GU Immortal, Dao Zhu, created it. It seems that we had greatly underestimated this person. Fang Yuan actually possesses this method. When did he get it? The Southern Border GU Immortals conversed as they sighed in amazement. Fang Yuan had extorted and blackmailed them, but now it was Fang Yuan who had stepped in to support them, which made the Southern Border GU Immortals all feel quite complicated. At this moment, the voice of Zhan Biyudu came from within the 5 Regional Limit Formation. Southern Border, please do not lower your guard yet. Heavenly Court will not sit around as they lose control of this battlefield. They will surely send reinforcements. In that case, please also open the Immortal Formation and let us defend within it. A Southern Border GU Immortal replied. Zhan Biyudu smiled lightly, not hiding his contempt in the slightest. There is no need to say such naive words. Whether you all fight or retreat, it depends on your willingness. If you don't want to fight, just scram. You, the Southern Border GU Immortal who answered had a change of expression from anger. At this moment, more than 10 giant pillars of starlight shone down. The main force of the Heavenly Court really did come to help out. This is the formation. Tear it down. Zhang Feixiang took the lead. Zhan Biyudu was silent and began to activate the formation with his concentration. The 5-colored smoke miasma not only defended itself but also spread incessantly to the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. Even though the latter formation was created by star constellation Immortal Venerable, it had to dismantle the sub-formations at the moment. It was stalling for as much time as possible. Let's take action and do our best to protect the 5 Regional Limit Formation. Wu Yang did not hesitate and immediately ordered. Lord, but this is Fang Yuan. Haven't you been opposing? Someone was unwilling. Wu Yang gave this person a fierce stare and spoke in a stern tone. Everything is for the big picture. His prestige was high. Wu Clan was also the #1 force in Southern Borders GU Immortal world. Their leadership had become a tradition. The Southern Alliance GU Immortals immediately engaged in a fierce battle with the Heavenly Court GU Immortals. With their help, Zhan Biyudu was relieved internally, the pressure on his shoulders dissipated mostly, and the 5-colored smoke miasma spread even more menacingly. With the cry of a phoenix, flames dazzled and the figure of Prince Feng Xian appeared. He had sharp eyes and a golden cloak on his back. He opened his mouth to breathe out a monstrous flame. The flames burned in the 5-colored smoke miasma, sweeping towards the Immortals of Southern Border. A rank 8 GU immortal of southern border, Yi Hao Fang, immediately transformed into a sea beast and rode the water waves to stop the flames from spreading. Jun Shenguang transformed into a white light, moving through the battlefield, avoiding the 4 rank 8s of southern border and attacking the remaining rank 7 GU immortals. Moving along with him were Zhou Shangxin, Zhu Kei'er and others. Unfixed Manor, Flying Sand Pavilion, and Bay Pavilion were all taken out as southern border's rank 7 GU immortals quickly entered them. Ah! A scream was heard as Vortex Spaceboy carried the head of a southern border GU immortal in his hand. Taking advantage of this moment, the rest of the southern border rank 7 immortals entered the immortal GU houses. You guys are moving too slowly. Vortex Spaceboy looked at Zhou Shangxin and the others as he chuckled. Where are you going? Wu Yang snorted coldly and chased after him. Vortex Spaceboy retaliated with an immortal killer move, obviously prepared in advance. Wu Yang raised his hand similarly, setting off a roaring tornado of wind blades. The 2 killer moves collided with a loud bang, air currents surged, the 5-colored smoke miasma rumbled like a dragon. Vortex Spaceboy and Wu Yang grunted at the same time and their faces turned pale. Immortal killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. Taking advantage of this time, Zhao Shanhe teamed up with Yu Zuzi once again to display this powerful killer move. Even if you have immortal GU houses, so what? Yu Zuzi snorted coldly. All the immortals in the southern border immortal GU houses were hit by this move and their faces changed color, their GU worms and immortal essence were all rapidly depleting out of thin air. Wu Yang's pupils shrunk, he advanced instead of retreating. Defend me. Bada and Kai Kuyu immediately moved to his side. The immortal GU houses stayed at the periphery. Stop him. Heavenly Court's GU immortals were all experienced in battle. Wu Yang immediately drew all their firepower as he looked like he was about to launch a powerful killer move. Kai Kuyu and Bada struggled to resist them but soon lost the ability to continue holding them off. One of them was a formation path GU immortal while the other had just advanced to rank 8, how could they be a match for the Heavenly Court GU immortals? In terms of strength alone, Heavenly Court was clearly superior to the immortals of Southern Border. Fortunately, Southern Border had immortal GU houses as well as the 5-colored smoke miasma created by Zonbi Yudu. They were huge obstacles for both sides to fight with their full strength. The difference in strength between the two sides was somehow balanced. However, even though the Heavenly Court GU immortals knew well that the stronger the attacks they used in this miasma, the deeper the backlash they would suffer, they were still brave enough to fight to the death, having a relentless stance as they approached the 5 regional limit formation without any fear of their lives. After some time, the Southern Border Immortals battle formation started to show signs of crumbling. Wan Zihong suddenly gave a delicate cry as flower petals flew, attacking the Southern Border Immortal GU houses in front of her and forcing them to move aside, forcefully creating a path to move on. Zhang Feixiang followed, transforming into a bare-headed giant and slamming into the 5 regional limit formation. Boom! There was a loud bang and the formation trembled viciously. Massive amounts of GU worms perished, even Zonbi Yudu suffered backlash, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Ah, that hurts. The formation spirit was in the main formation, it howled miserably as its body suddenly became much more illusory, no longer as solid as before. The Heavenly Court GU immortals were no better. They also suffered enormous backlash, but one by one, they gritted their teeth and tried their best to destroy the 5 regional limit formation. Oh no, the Southern Alliance won't be able to defend against such a fierce attack from Heavenly Court. Zonbi Yudu secretly gritted his teeth. The main power of the 5 regional limit formation lay in the 5-colored smoke miasma. Although its defense was also strong, it would never last long under the fierce attack of these GU immortals. But even if that's the case, I'll fight to the death and try to stall for as long as possible. Zonbi Yudu was already prepared to die. Everything was for the big picture, even if it meant sacrificing this clone, he would have no regret. Sacrifices should be made when necessary, clones were also merely chess pieces. It was just easier to fully utilize them. Even if the 5 regional limit formation was broken and destroyed, it was still valuable. On one hand, it temporarily maintained the Heavenly Court battlefield and protected Longevity Heaven's members. On the other hand, it gave a crucial amount of time for the battlefield in Hidden Dragon Cave. Hidden Dragon Cave. A large amount of dream realms were eroding the battlefield. Old man Beifeng was livid but unable to do anything about it. Call for help, grandfather. Feng Chanzi shouted in a hurry, his face was pale and covered in cold sweat. Old man Beifeng did not speak. He had already requested for support, but Heavenly Court's reinforcements were delayed, that did not make sense. After all, Heavenly Court had a way to use a large-scale starcast method. It would only take an instant for support to come over. If they did not appear at this time, they must have been held back by something. A bad feeling filled old man Beifeng's heart. Roar. Already sensing the weakening of its bindings, the suppressed Di Zhangsheng within the formation was also struggling at this time, adding on to the burden of the formation. Immortal killer move, mountain suppression. Immortal killer move, broken mirror shard light. Qing Yuan and Song Qiyuan were the first to break through the restraints, and because of their efforts, the power of the formation was greatly weakened once again. The other GU immortals were able to successfully break through one after another. The 8 immortals converged, and although they were still inside the formation, they had noticed the change. How could there be so many dream realms? Zhang Yin pretended not to know and looked surprised. Perhaps Fang Yuan is helping us. Shen Kongsheng deliberately said. He had actually gotten a message from Fang Yuan. Who else can control the dream realms besides him? Why is Fang Yuan here? Hua Kaiyun frowned. As the saying goes, great people see eye to eye. He may also try to target Di Zhangsheng. Qing Yuan guessed as he healed his wounds. Then let Fang Yuan go release Di Zhangsheng. Should we withdraw now? Hua Kaiyun hesitated. Right at this moment, there was a loud rumble as an immortal GU house broke the formation, charging towards the formation core. This immortal GU house was a majestic palace, emitting an orange-golden glow. It was overbearingly magnificent, and the surface of the palace was filled with dragon-shaped carvings. Hua Kaiyun, Qing Yuan and the others were stunned. Although they were seeing it for the first time, they all guessed the name of this immortal GU house at the same time, Dragon Palace. There was a loud rumble as Dragon Palace crashed through the core area. Old man Beifeng howled and fell to the ground. He suffered a strong backlash. He was currently in a terrible state, having less than 10% of his battle strength left. Immortal killer move, dreamy light smoke. Dreamy light smoke, with a gentle movement, moved old man Beifeng into the palace and sealed him with ease. Feng Chanzi, who was beside old man Beifeng, also got swept into this smoke. Seeing a rank 8 GU immortal being suppressed so easily, the Eastern Sea rank 8 GU immortals could not help but show changes of expressions. Only half of them were genuine, while the other half were disguising their emotions as they knew about the truth. Wu Shuai controlled Dragon Palace, and after capturing old man Beifeng, he plunged down into the depths of the earth trench, ignoring the 8 Eastern Sea immortals. Qing Yuan and the others looked very pale, realizing that they were being used as cannon fodder and bait by Fang Yuan. A moment later, they heard another deafening dragon roar. The earth shook as heaven and earth changed color. A huge evil dragon slowly rose up. The Eastern Sea GU immortals panicked and retreated, looking up. The evil dragon Di Zhangsheng was so huge that it was like a mountain range, flying high in the sky, enveloping heaven and earth. It could shroud the brilliance of the sun and moon. Thankfully, Di Zhangsheng did not find trouble with the Eastern Sea GU immortals and flew directly to the west. Central continent is in for a world of trouble, haha. Strange, where did Dragon Palace go? What, you want to fight against Fang Yuan? Let's leave now. You all saw the move that Dragon Palace just used to capture old man Beifeng, right? It's a dream path killer move. The Eastern Sea immortals stopped their conversation. They did not dare to stay longer. Fang Yuan's demonic might had shocked rank 8s. After all, Heavenly Court had been defeated by Fang Yuan several times. Now that he used the methods of Dragon Palace, he shocked these unsuspecting GU immortals even more. Di Zhangsheng has been released. It will definitely create chaos in Central Continent, creating a good opportunity for us. No, don't forget how the Heavenly Court GU immortals appeared before the war started. I don't want a dozen or so Heavenly Court rank 8s suddenly appearing around me when I'm on the move. The Eastern Sea GU immortals were also communicating while flying away. They frowned when this was brought up. They had originally planned to release Di Zhangsheng to deplete Central Continent's foundation and attract firepower to facilitate their actions. But Heavenly Court possessed the method to use a large-scale starcast, nullifying the effectiveness of this plan. Chapter 1930 Qi Si Lang. To continue with their previous plan, Eastern Sea's immortals would have to first unravel Heavenly Court's method, otherwise, it would be too dangerous. Shen Kongsheng looked at the sky, thinking of the information that Fang Yuan gave him. He spoke, it is not impossible to unravel Heavenly Court's method. Heavenly Court purposely arranged a large number of stars in White Heaven and used them to relocate GU immortals to anywhere in Central Continent. The other GU immortals' eyes brightened at the news. Then we should destroy these stars. But if we attack White Heaven, wouldn't we be provoking Heavenly Court? What if the main force of Heavenly Court besieges us again? Some GU immortals were hesitant. Granny Rong spoke slowly and logically. There is indeed such a risk. Zhang Yin sneered. What are you afraid of? If you can't beat them, can't you escape? Just pay some attention to prevent Heavenly Court from making use of a battlefield killer move. If we engage in a hit-and-run situation, can Heavenly Court waste their time chasing us? Haha, Zhang Yin's words are reasonable. Yang Zihe's eyebrows raised, he caressed his palm and smiled. Currently, the situation in Central Continent is chaotic with battles everywhere. Zhang Sheng has even been released. We have already provoked Heavenly Court at this point, what is there to hesitate? Shi Miao acted like he was contemplating. It seems that Heavenly Court cannot cope with so many battlefields at the moment. If not, why wouldn't they come over to fight us? Why would they let us free Zhang Sheng? Song Qiyuan nodded. Heavenly Court is already overwhelmed. It seems that the southern border GU Immortals have found the location of infallible blessed land and are storming the battlefield, attacking Heavenly Court's formation. The western desert Immortals are heading to Emperor City. The northern plains GU Immortals are still nowhere to be seen, but these barbarians are bound to join in the chaotic battle. And with Zhang Sheng rampaging as well, in my opinion, I'm afraid Heavenly Court won't be able to care about us yet. With that, the Eastern C8 Immortals reached a unified opinion once again and acted in unison, heading for White Heaven. They were still unaware that Longevity Heaven had already engaged with Heavenly Court in a huge battle. In their case, Emperor City did not have anything valuable to loot. Infallible Blessed Land was attractive, but Southern Border and Heavenly Court were already fighting there. It was better to avoid it. Heavenly Court. Fairy Ziwei stayed in Central Great Hall to oversee the situation. All sorts of new information reached her continuously. Eastern Seas GU Immortals entered White Heaven. Their motive was very clear. They wanted to destroy the stars that Heavenly Court had arranged. But it was not a problem. When they set up the stars as an arrangement, Heavenly Court made considerations. Fairy Ziwei decided to ignore them. These stars were placed in a scattered manner. They were far from each other. If Eastern Seas GU Immortals wanted to destroy them, they would need to spend a lot of time. In other words, Heavenly Court was using these star immortal materials to stall 8 rank 8 GU Immortals. This was extremely worth it. Fairy Ziwei was happy to see them take action. After all, with Qin Song's condition, they could only use a large-scale star cast method 4 more times. Before Eastern Seas GU Immortals destroy all the stars, these 4 uses would likely be expended. What worried Fairy Ziwei was Zhang Sheng. In truth, Zhang Sheng escaping was not too worrying to Fairy Ziwei. But the problem was, after escaping, Zhang Sheng acted very strangely. It did not create chaos and destruction wantonly, it flew away calmly and was not in a maniacal state. This was different from historical records. Was it subdued by Dragon Palace? Fairy Ziwei could not help but think of this. It was easy to deduce it. Firstly, Heavenly Court had records that Dragon Palace was an enslavement path immortal GU house, everyone knew that. Secondly, Fang Yuan sent Dragon Palace to attack Hidden Dragon Cave. He must have had some intention. Dragon Palace displayed powerful dream path methods. With its battle strength, Fang Yuan would not use it in a non-crucial battlefield. If Fang Yuan's previous idea was to use Dragon Palace to subdue Zhang Sheng, then him dispatching his subordinates to set up a large formation to restrain the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation and attract the main force of our Heavenly Court to attack furiously is just bait. At the same time, the attack of the 8 Eastern Sea Immortals is also a smokescreen that he threw. Fairy Ziwei's eyes flickered with cold light. Fang Yuan was actually able to influence the 8 Immortals of Eastern Sea. How did he do it? Among the 8 Immortals of Eastern Sea, it seems there are members of Fang Yuan's group, or those who secretly work with him. I'm afraid that there are quite a few of these members. There are at least 2 of them. Fairy Ziwei speculated, but what if Fang Yuan coincidentally happened to be there? The 8 Immortals of Eastern Sea unexpectedly had the same goal as him, allowing him to benefit by chance. This is also quite possible. After all, Fang Yuan has Giant Sun's true inheritance. His luck has constantly been good. Qin Dingling is on our side, but she is still healing. Altering Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangement had a much larger price than we expected. Even if he was an opponent, Fairy Ziwei could not help but admire Fang Yuan. She also had to admit, Fang Yuan had done a beautiful job in the Hidden Dragon Cave battlefield. The bad feeling in her heart was still deepening. Fairy Ziwei's attention was mostly focusing on Zhang Sheng. Most likely, it is being controlled by Fang Yuan. Then where exactly is it going to reinforce the enemy? Emperor City is the nearest battlefield. The elite GU masters have just arrived. They have yet to officially begin the final round of the Refinement Path Convention. Destroying Emperor City will greatly delay the restoration of Fate GU. It is also likely to go to the Hairy Foot Mountain battlefield. Wiping out the main force of Heavenly Court at once is also Fang Yuan's style. Even if the main force of Heavenly Court is teleported back by me, he will still find a way to destroy infallible blessed land. Once he destroys the blessed land, then at least this time, our restoration of Fate GU will have to be suspended. Of course, Heavenly Court's battlefield is also a possibility. Since Longevity Heaven can come in unannounced, it is also possible that Fang Yuan can come. After all, he has obtained Red Lotus Demon Venerable's true inheritance, so he might have access to such a backdoor secretly. For the first time since the start of the war, Fairy Ziwei felt passive. If the large-scale Starcast method could teleport Duke Long as well, it would be great. However, unfortunately, Duke Long's might became an obstacle to the teleportation. To make a comparison, the Heavenly Court rank 8s were like a dozen rabbits, while Duke Long was a full-grown elephant. The difference between the two was considerably big. The Starcast method could not move Duke Long. Immortal killer move, decomposition. Northern Plains GU Immortal Yu Yongzi used his signature method. This killer move was largely the reason why he was famous in history. Decomposition hit Duke Long directly. His body paused for a moment. As he looked at Yu Yongzi, he had a plain expression. Oh, that's decomposition. You are Yu Yongzi. When Duke Long said that, he was hundreds of steps away from Yu Yongzi. After he said that, purple gold dragon-shaped chi flickered as he was teleported right in front of Yu Yongzi. At this moment, Yu Yongzi's pupils shrank to pin size as his heart pounded wildly with alarms and warnings. He tried to retreat, but it was clearly just an extravagant hope. His neck was steadily choked by a large hand. It was Duke Long's hand, covered in purple gold dragon scales, with fingers as sharp as blades. Yu Yongzi had already activated his defensive killer move, but the killer move's light was like glass. It shattered under the force of the monstrous dragon claws. Before dying, Yu Yongzi roared and self-detonated. An intense explosion resounded. The terrifying shock wave spread out intensely, shaking all the surroundings. The smoke and dust dissipated. The figure of Duke Long remained standing like a pillar of heaven. Immortals of Northern Plains, what else do you have other than a lack of fear for death? Duke Long's tone was plain, but it spread throughout the battlefield. The Northern Plains Immortals gnashed their teeth, but could not refute it. Although the main force of Heavenly Court had all withdrawn with only Duke Long left, even with only Duke Long alone, Calamity Luck Altar still could not make an inch of progress. They could only rely on call of the Ancient to constantly summon powerful experts of Northern Plains in history to maintain the battle situation. And this, suddenly, Lulu's figure appeared behind Duke Long's back. Duke Long's body shook. The gray light dagger in Lulu's hand was thrust into his back. Even the purple gold dragon scales could not block this method. This was Lulu's signature killer move, Despicable Penetrating Blade. In the previous life, Lulu had killed many members of Heavenly Court with this move, and even severely injured Fairy Ziwei. At that time, if not for Wu Shuang blocking most of the power, Fairy Ziwei would have died tragically in his hands. Good. Seeing this scene, the Northern Plains Immortals were suddenly energized. Since the start of the war, no matter how furiously the Northern Plains Immortals attacked, this was the first time that Duke Long was wounded like this. However, Lulu's face changed abruptly. He could not hide his shock. Although his killer move dagger had pierced into Duke Long's body, it was like the blade got stuck in a block of iron, unable to move a single inch. A human path killer move. Not bad, it fits your temperament. Duke Long slowly turned around and stretched out his hand, steadily grasping Lulu's head. At this moment, Lulu suddenly realized, Duke Long purposely got hit by my move. He used his body as bait to trap me. It was not that he did not want to escape, but he could not. Like the dagger in his hand, he could not move. Slap. With a cracking sound, Lulu's skull was like a watermelon easily crushed by Duke Long. His headless corpse immediately fell down. The gray dagger in his hand dissipated instantly. Who else? Duke Long raised his arms and shouted. His body was like iron, having grown to twice the size of a normal man, his long purple hair dancing wildly in a monstrous wave of sounds. The Northern Plains Immortals responded to him with countless killer moves. Rumble. There were dazzling light shadows. Countless killer moves were stacked on top of each other. Duke Long rushed out brutally, displaying world-shaking dragon hammer and ruthlessly slamming into Calamity Luck Altar. With a loud bang, Calamity Luck Altar flew back dozens of steps, creating a long trench on the ground. The front that was hit by Duke Long was completely caved in, forming a shockingly deep pit. There is no time to repair damage of such a level. Bing Sai Chuan thudded, his heart sinking violently. Bull Demon, Flower Lady, and 5 Elements Grand Master were trying to repair Calamity Luck Altar. They froze at this moment. If Calamity Luck Altar broke, Longevity Heaven's members would immediately lose this battle, they would die without a proper burial. But at the moment when Duke Long was about to attack again, a black light flew out from the River of Time. The black light followed the hole in the front of Calamity Luck Altar and shot into its interior, transforming into a young and handsome-looking GU Immortal with curly black hair hanging down his waist. With a wave of his palm, the young GU Immortal's dark light surged, quickly repairing the damage of Calamity Luck Altar and saving Longevity Heaven from the brink of defeat. Bing Sai Chuan's body shook intensely. 7th Prince. Duke Long snorted coldly. So it's Giant Sun's child. The young-looking GU Immortal was the 7th child of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. He was known as 7th Prince. He nodded. Duke Long, with me, Chi Si Lang, here, it will be much harder for you to destroy Calamity Luck Altar now. Chapter 1931 Shen Shang's Solution. This is Central Continent's Emperor City. Yi Fan followed the main group as they walked into Emperor City. He looked around and assessed the place. He was a southern border GU master, but he had heard of Emperor City's famous name long ago. This was the largest mortal city in Central Continent, or rather, the entire 5 regions world. Here, rank 3 GU masters were very commonly seen, but in southern border, rank 3 GU masters were normally authoritative elders in their clans. This was the first time Yi Fan visited Emperor City. Emperor City lived up to its name, it was well guarded and had a grand structure. Yi Fan was not disappointed. However, compared to an immortal GU house, Emperor City is far inferior. Thinking of this, Yi Fan looked at the sky. In the sky, there were several immortal GU houses floating silently. There was a pavilion, exquisite and small, there were countless bird cages hanging on it, birds chirped continuously. This was Heavenly Lotus Sect's Canary Pavilion. There was a garden that was exquisitely built, it was grand with white jade tiles and oozing with cold air, there were faint dragon roars heard occasionally. This was Ancient Soul Sect's Immortal GU House, Frost Dragon Manor. There was also a 7-story tower, curtains were fluttering in the building, it was Wind Cloud Manor's Rank 7 Immortal GU House, Wind Sweeping Building. There was also Combat Immortal Sect's Edge Linked Camp which had grand flags fluttering with the wind. Other than those, Illusion Garden, Yuyong Palace, and Sun and Moon Temple were there. Yi Fan's master was Lu Wei Yin. He learned a lot of information regarding GU Immortals from him. He could discern most of the famous Immortal GU houses. These Immortal GU houses were not as large as Emperor City, but they were much more dazzling. They were the center of attention that all of the city people were talking about. At this time, a youngster beside him sighed. It seems that the rumors are correct. The world is going to change, immortals are going to battle. A chaotic great era is coming, the difference between mortal and immortal will shrink. This is our plan too, isn't that right, Brother Yi? Yi Fan looked at the youngster as he nodded. You are correct, Brother Hong. Similar to the previous life, Yi Fan and Hong Yi met in the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention and became sworn brothers after they interacted. Hong Yi smiled. This Refinement Path Convention is unprecedented, let those GU Immortals fight in the sky, it is not something we can interfere in. Haha, that makes sense, let us have a true competition this time. Yi Fan patted Hong Yi's shoulders. The two brothers were filled with fighting spirit. Hong Yi said, I have a feeling that the eventual winner of this Refinement Path Convention will be one of us. Shen Shang's ears twitched, he heard the entire conversation between Hong Yi and Yi Fan without missing a word. These two were mortals, but Shen Shang kept a trace of his concentration on them at all times. In the future 5 regions chaotic war, these two youngsters likely have an opportunity to become immortal. Shen Shang was a human path quasi-supreme, he had a strong premonition when it came to humans. Over at Heavenly Court, People's United Hearts and other human path killer moves were all used already, Unfettered Scholar and Zheng Qing had been expelled. But Shen Shang still managed to disguise himself and enter the final competition ground, he was not suspected at all. He was after all a rank 8 GU Immortal and also a human path quasi-supreme Grandmaster. Shen Shang observed his surroundings, he became gradually excited. My estimations earlier were not wrong, this Emperor City is one of the main human veins of Central Continent. Mountains had mountain veins, the earth had earth veins, and humans had human veins. Emperor City was created by primordial origin Immortal Venerable. After so many years of relocation and movement, it still remained as the largest gathering spot of humans, it stayed on the trail of Central Continent's human vein all along. This place produces human talents, it is because of Central Continent's main human vein. Heavenly Court's generations of immortal venerables have left their human path methods here, I can vaguely sense their existence. Fang Yuan used his rebirth as the reason to urge Shen Sheng to take action and try to unravel the various venerable human path methods. This was a challenging mission, it spurred on Shen Sheng's morale and ambition. Fang Yuan and the rest could not sense any of the traces of these human path killer moves. But for Shen Sheng, he could trace and locate them. Thus, he disguised himself and entered Emperor City. He finally found a chance to destroy the venerable killer moves. Heavenly Court is collecting human will and storing it inside Heavenly Court for use. That place is too tightly defended. If we cannot enter Heavenly Court, we will not be able to destroy the human will. If we cannot destroy the human will, we cannot drain them of this resource. However, taking action here will also have superb effects. Heavenly Court is collecting human will. Emperor City plays a crucial role in this process. It is the largest shipment area they have to transport the human will. If I destroy this place, Heavenly Court's efficiency in gathering human will would fall greatly. But Shen Sheng did not plan to cause destruction. He had a greater objective. He wanted to follow the traces with Emperor City as the anchor to find the venerable human path killer moves and reverse deduce the profundities of their human path methods to try to steal their knowledge. Shen Sheng was confident and daring. He was not satisfied with just the reputation of unraveling a venerable killer move, he wanted to master the venerable human path methods and gain much more strength in the process. If my human path methods improve, it might be possible to get rid of the problem of the black fire. I will not go berserk anymore. Harryfoot Mountain Battlefield. 5-colored smoke miasma rumbled. Southern Borders GU Immortals and Heavenly Court's main forces had already fought for a long time. Bay Pavilion, Flying Sand Pavilion, and Unfixed Manor were heavily damaged. They went to the second defensive line to get repaired. At the front lines, there were 4 rank 8s from Southern Border, as well as 2 rank 8 Immortal GU houses, Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building and Great Space Temple. Heavenly Court's main forces had no deaths, their morale was high. Zhao Shan he prepared his killer move again, his aura was surging. Zan Bu quickly shouted, "Stop him. He is going to use that move again." Wu Yang and Yi Hao Fang gritted their teeth, they wanted to charge in but Yi Chaozi and Vortex Spaceboy stopped them. Zhou Shongshin and Flesh Whip Immortal joined hands to obstruct Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building. Meanwhile, Zhu Ke and Wan Zihong went from the right and left, bypassing the battlefield to attack the 5 regional limit formation directly. Wu Yang and the rest were left with no choice, they had to return to being defensive. They had too few people, it was hard enough to defend, they were not as agile and flexible as Heavenly Court's group. Zhao Shan he successfully used his killer move, he opened his mouth, he sucked in all of the surrounding 5-colored smoke. A large amount of smoke was sucked into his stomach, which expanded at an observable rate. At the same time, his face and muscles turned multicolored. Zhao Shan he actually swallowed the 5-colored smoke, creating a temporary cleared-out area. Without the restraints of the 5-colored smoke, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were able to use their full power, they unleashed all sorts of killer moves with terrifying power. Wu Yang and the rest resisted, but their defensive line was not tight, killer moves were directed to get through the cracks, after a rough filter by their defenses, the rest landed on the 5 regional limit formation. The 5 regional limit formation shook intensely, a large number of GU worms died, a weakened formation spirit quickly tried to repair it. Zan Budu's expression was ugly. Relying on Zhao Shanhe's food path method, Heavenly Court managed to make a breakthrough. Each time they used this method, the 5 regional limit formations suffered immense damage. Even though they were repairing it at full speed, it could not keep up with the waves of attacks that kept on coming. As damage accumulated, the 5 regional limit formations started to get into a dangerous spot. What to do? Emperor City. The final round of the competition was racing against the clock to start. Shen Sheng was secretly happy. He started to refine GU, using this as a cover, he secretly prepared his killer move. We finally arrived. Fang Dichong drove Divine Bean Palace as he charged at the front. Behind him was Western Desert's main troops. To battle. Force them back. Defend Emperor City to the death. Central Continent's troops cheered and shouted, they faced off against Western Desert's immortal GU houses as battle erupted. Wonderful. Shen Sheng, who was paying attention to the outside world, cheered, with Central Continent's forces being restrained, he had no worries left. Right at this moment, bam, he erupted with a strong GU immortal aura, he shouted as profound white light pierced through the hall, radiating in the entire Emperor City. The Venerables have passed away, all of your human path methods should go as well. Shen Sheng's eyes shined with piercing and blinding light. Puff. At the next moment, he spat out a mouthful of blood, his body cracked as his lungs burst, his intestines blew into tiny pieces that shot out of the wounds all over his body. Failure. How can this be? Shen Sheng could not believe this, he stared with wide eyes. I had already. Not only did he fail to resolve the Venerable methods, he even triggered them in advance. This was human path killer move, hope of the people. White light flew around in the sky like a snowstorm, it gathered on the bodies of the central continent GU Immortals, creating a pure white halo. Human path killer move, heroes among people. The white lights surrounding the central continent GU Immortals started to shrink, while the GU Immortals' auras started to grow. Howl, Central Continent's army roared, their morale soared as they charged towards Western Desert's troops. Oh no, Fang Dichang's expression changed. Chapter 1932 Heavenly Court, S. Grand Mai. The white light that spread across the sky was like drifting snow, filling the heaven and earth of Central Continent. The first to benefit was Emperor City's battlefield. So strong, such strong power. Central Continent's GU Immortals had an incredible feeling, their bodies were surging with new strength. This strength was so grand and vast, it felt like an endless tide, sweeping through their bodies and minds constantly. All their fatigue was gone. Their minds were clear, their fighting spirit also rose sharply. Be it rank 6, 7, or even rank 8, they felt the same. This is the foundation of my Central Continent's heavenly court. My strength has at least doubled, and with such an increase, what enemies will I be afraid of? Charge, kill them, we will defeat all the invaders. Let them know the might of heavenly court, the might of Central Continent. The morale on Central Continent's side soared like a rainbow, setting off a ferocious frenzy of attacks. Western Desert's side was retreating steadily. Retreat. Quickly retreat. Such an amplification is truly terrifying. What kind of killer move is this? Let's avoid battle for now, such a powerful killer move cannot last long. The GU Immortals on Western Desert's side communicated in panic. It's useless. This is the method of star constellation Immortal Venerable, the two human path killer moves are heroes among people and hope of the people respectively, they have no problem sustaining it throughout the entire battle. Fang Dichang said. The Western Desert side kept retreating, but Divine Bean Palace under Fang Dichang's control always remained in place, as if it was their support pillar, with no intention of retreating. Fang Dichang had a cold look on his face. He did not expect that Shen Sheng's unraveling would actually cause the killer moves to activate in advance. In the previous life, these two human path methods were a rather important trump card that changed the battle situation. In this life, Fang Yuan had painstakingly plotted to ally with Shen Sheng in order to resolve these two methods. But despite all of his efforts, the results were still unsatisfactory. As far as the current results were concerned, Shen Sheng not only failed to restrain and get rid of the two killer moves, he even made the situation more troublesome. Heroes among people targeted GU Immortals themselves, causing their comprehensive battle strength to be amplified to at least double of the original. The killer move had terrifying might. After gaining the amplification, the GU Immortals' killer moves, including Immortal GU houses and Immortal formations, would be powered up as well. In a certain aspect, it was even more useful than Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's perfect pair killer move. The waves of attacks were like stormy waves, bombarding Divine Bean Palace incessantly. Divine Bean Palace was created by Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable, but it could not resist such impacts. The surface was cracked and damaged, a large number of GU worms died quickly and miserably, facing destruction. But the power of Divine Bean Palace was in recovery, it followed the cultivation style of Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. Although a lot of the GU worms perished, they would be replenished quickly. Injured GU worms that did not die would even recover quickly. Divine Bean Palace was like a golden reef, steadily supporting itself on the front lines, silently enduring the endless bombardment of Central Continent's forces. As expected of Divine Bean Palace, Fang Clan's Fang Dichang is really a worthy leader. Let's fight, since we've come this far, are we going to constantly run away? The morale of the Western Desert Army was finally stabilized, their GU Immortals no longer retreated and faced the Immortal GU houses of Central Continent. At once, battle started between Immortal GU houses. Canary Pavilion opened several bird cages, groups of birds flew freely, when they flew out of the bird cages, they swiftly grew and formed a flock of birds, like an overwhelming patch of moving dark clouds. Western Desert's Chicken Dog Co-op was not falling behind, releasing a flock of desolate beast chickens and dogs to fight against it. After a few moments of contact between the two sides, it became clear that the chicken and dog desolate beasts could not resist, many were killed. I'll help you. Dong Clan's GU Immortals steered Red River Wheel to go and support them. Red River Wheel was like a water wheel, it rolled forward as a huge red light shot out of the wheel, it seemed to resemble a ribbon that tangled the bird group. The molten flame birds were immediately suppressed, they were captured by the red light and were all subdued within Red River Wheel. Thanks for the molten flame birds. Dong Clan's GU Immortals laughed loudly, the power of Red River Wheel rose by 20% because of this. Although Western Desert's side gained a small profit, Chicken Dog Co-op still had to cooperate with Red River Wheel to resist Canary Pavilion. This was common sense. In the battlefield, Western Desert's Immortal GU houses often had to team up against one enemy. The Immortal GU houses on Central Continent's side all had great power. Yuyang Palace shot out grand profound light, piercing the skies, Frost Dragon Manor emitted dragon soul and frost energy, Wind Sweeping Building rampaged with tornadoes, sweeping the battlefield. From the first contact, Western Desert's group was pressured and could barely resist. This cannot go on. Fang Dichong observed the battlefield, he was a little worried. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Fang Dichong knew about Central Continent's strength, but he was even clearer regarding the strength of his forces. Western Desert's GU Immortals would not fight to the death, this group that he brought was already the result of Fang Dichang's maximum effort. With such intense battles, once any deaths occurred on Western Desert's side, they would want to retreat. Once someone retreats, others would follow. In other words, this was not a real army, it was a gathering of dispersed forces, their morale could not be sustained. Fang Dichong led these people at such a crucial time, he had to be at the front lines, to ensure that they would remain in formation. I wanted to save this for the end, there is no choice. Fang Dichong sighed, he sent out the Divine Bean soldiers that he had saved within Divine Bean Palace. The quantity of Yellow Bean soldiers was the highest, they were the basic troops that were treated as cannon fodder. Next were green bean soldiers that could shoot flying arrows, red bean soldiers could self-detonate, while black bean soldiers had the greatest defense. As for blue and white bean soldiers, they had the lowest quantity, the former could reflect killer moves to an extent while the latter could heal bean soldiers. Once the bean army was sent out, they stabilized the situation, causing a deadlock to occur. But the price to pay was that these soldiers were rapidly being expended. Once the casualties hit a certain level, Western Desert's side would be pressured once again. By then, Fang Dichong would be out of trump cards, he would need to wait for reinforcements. Harryfoot Mountain Battlefield, Immortal Killer Move, Rumors Become Tigers. Zhou Shangxin used his information path killer move as tigers formed into groups, roaring and attacking Wuyang. Wuyang waved his hands repeatedly, and used countless wind blades to stop the tigers from pouncing at him. To the side, Zhu Kei'er and Yi Chaozi joined forces to attack him. Wuyang sighed and wisely retreated. If now was earlier, he might have been able to fight them head-on, but now after the amplification from human path killer moves, Wuyang could only retreat. Speaking of which, he had repeatedly tried to use the killer move Unlimited Wind, but he was always obstructed by Heavenly Court, unable to gain the precious time he needed to unleash this killer move. Fortunately, our side has immortal GU houses which can act as fortresses for us to rest and recover. Oh no, Wuyang had just returned to rest in clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building when his expression suddenly changed dramatically. His departure had made Kai Kuyu's position slightly more eye-catching. GU Immortals of other regions might not be able to make use of this, but Heavenly Court GU Immortals were all experienced experts. Kai Kuyu, quickly retreat. Wuyang transmitted. Even without his warning, Kai Kuyu already sensed something amiss, he quickly retreated. Where are you going? Wan Zihong restrained Kai Kuyu. Wuyang had to stop resting as he flew out. Zhou Shangxin suddenly appeared above Kai Kuyu, his 5 fingers spread out as he grasped. Immortal Battlefield Killer Move, Rumor Cage. This was the fastest battlefield killer move in the world, the speed of setting it up was number 1 in the 5 regions. Kai Kuyu could not dodge in time, he was trapped in the battlefield. Zhou Shangxin, Zhang Feixiang, and Zhu Kei'er entered the battlefield, the other GU Immortals stayed outside, blocking the reinforcement of Wuyang, Yi Haofeng, and Bada. Kai Kuyu is in danger. Quick, we need to destroy this battlefield. Wuyang and the rest were anxious. However, the rumor cage battlefield had already shrunk to a dot, it vanished. To find it, a lot of effort would be needed, and there were Heavenly Court GU Immortals around obstructing them. Immortal Killer Move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. While the southern border Immortals were trying to save him, Zhao Shanhe and Yu Zuzi worked together again, using their killer move to heavily damage the southern border Immortal GU houses. The southern border GU Immortals suffered a great loss while their attention was diverted away. And within rumor cage, Kai Kuyu was in danger, at the brink of life and death. This was an information path battlefield. Zhou Shangxin was the main attacker, while Zhang Feixiang and Zhu Ke'er had transformation path attainment. They turned into information path immemorial desolate beasts to help with the battle. Suddenly, Wu Shuang also entered the battlefield. Human path killer move, Peerless. This killer move was once used on Duke Long. It was very helpful. This time, it was used on Zhou Shangxin, who was already amplified by a human path killer move. With this additional boost, his killer moves became even stronger. Kai Kuyu stared with furious eyes, but he could not resist them. He was devoured by the information path tigers. Rumor cage battlefield dissipated. Zhou Shangxin and the rest returned to the outside battlefield. Wu Yang and the rest could only see the torn and dismembered remains of Kai Kuyu. A formation path great grand master and first supreme elder of Kai clan had died. Southern borders GU immortals were shaken. Such a terrifying sacrifice had happened before their eyes. First supreme elder Kai Kuyu. He died in battle. Heavenly Court's GU immortals killed him. The morale of southern border was rapidly declining. Oh no, Wu Yang had an ugly expression. Kai Kuyu's reputation was very high. His death was worse than if they lost Yi Haofang or Bada. It was a huge blow to the southern border GU immortals' morale. However, Wu Yang could not do anything. Even though he had the killer move Unlimited Wind, Heavenly Court did not let him use it. His special move Farewell Friend Wind could also not be used. Heavenly Court's GU immortals had all been sleeping in the immortal graveyard. He had no opportunity to become friends with them. Our situation was tough to begin with. Now that Kai Kuyu is dead, it is even worse now. What do I do? Wu Yang had already tried his best, but the situation still left his control gradually. Persevere. The light of determination flashed in his eyes. Heavenly Court must not be allowed to repair Fate GU. This is the consensus of all 4 regions. Western Desert has attacked Emperor City now. Eastern Sea and Northern Plains GU immortals will definitely also take action. And Fang Yuan. I'll wait for reinforcements. That's the only way now. The Emperor City battlefield and Harryfoot Mountain battlefield were completely suppressed and in a dangerous position, so was the battlefield in Heavenly Court. Even though Duke Long was unaffected by the human path killer moves, amplification, he was still overwhelming. His strength alone suppressed all of Longevity Heaven's members. And worse was that he had reinforcements. Qin Ding Ling. Within Calamity Luck Altar, Qi Si Lang looked at Qin Ding Ling while gritting his teeth. Qin Ding Ling had recovered with the help of the human path killer moves. She joined the battlefield to assist Duke Long. She had incredibly strong luck path attainment. She could target Calamity Luck Altar well. Qi Si Lang and the rest were getting into a tight spot. With a loud crash, Duke Long's fist defeated another Northern Plains expert. He looked at the phantom river of time as he laughed loudly. So what if you summon more people? Longevity Heaven. This time, none of you shall escape. You will all die. No matter how many reinforcements you have, it will not change the situation. Qin Ding Ling raised her head high as she snickered. Exactly, how can the Grand Heavenly Court be defiled by the likes of you? Chapter 1933 Arrival of Reinforcements. Get him. Don't let him get away. There was already chaos in the venue of the final competition of the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention. Several rank 8 GU immortals charged down. Shen Shang's face was pale. He suffered a serious injury instead of unraveling the Venerable methods. However, looking at the Central Continent rank 8s that pounced down, he still sneered. Just the few of you want to catch me. Next, his body flickered as he vanished. Central Continent's rank 8 GU immortals lost sight of their target. They used all sorts of investigative killer moves but could not find any traces. Where did he go? Who is he? He is actually able to move freely in Emperor City. This place is under the effect of people's united hearts. He could actually sneak in. The 5 regions are huge. Hidden experts are everywhere. The rank 8 GU immortals exchanged words, and after discussing, they each dispersed to continue their search. Even if they searched Emperor City completely, even if they demolished it, they still wanted to find Shen Shang. Shen Shang was currently hiding in a corner of Emperor City, far away from the venue of the final competition. He was panting, but the fighting spirit in his eyes was not extinguished. Instead, like adding fuel to a fire, it was growing stronger and stronger. Worthy of Venerables, their methods exceeded my expectations. He exclaimed in his head and immediately sent another message to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, hold on. Give me some more time and I will definitely be able to unravel this move. Shen Shang spoke with certainty. Fang Yuan sneered. How can I believe you? Shen Shang then explained. I've already found out that the various human path killer moves of Heavenly Court's Venerables are based on a massive amount of human will. Without this foundation, no matter how powerful the human path killer moves are, they are useless without enough fuel. Fang Yuan retorted, but the human will is stored in Heavenly Court, it is too far from our reach. Shen Shang smiled lightly. Precisely so, I deduced another method, instead of eliminating the human will, we should help to develop it instead. Fang Yuan gained some interest. Tell me. Shen Shang then said. Heavenly Court collected the human will of Central Continent, so their people's United Hearts killer move can distinguish between friend and enemy. But if I add the human will of the other 4 regions, how can they possibly still have United Hearts? The Heavenly Court and Central Continent GU Immortals are also amplified by the killer move heroes among people because of Central Continent's human will. If it contains the human will of the 5 regions, then heroes among people's effect would also work on the rest of us. Fang Yuan asked again. Then how do you do this? How will we channel the human will of the other 4 regions into it? Shen Shang replied calmly. On one hand, I have already made arrangements in Emperor City. On the other hand, the 5 regional walls are close to disappearing. Not only will the 5 regions be unified by the earth veins, but the human veins will also be linked. In a way, we have to thank Heavenly Court for their propaganda. Now that the 5 regions all know that the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention is being held, the will of all 5 regions is concentrated here, except that Heavenly Court only collected the central part of it. Fang Yuan was silent for a moment and suddenly said, Then do it, I can't maintain all of the battlefield, I can only try my best to stall for you. You have to fight for every second. Of course, Shen Shang said without any hesitation. Emperor City Battlefield, kill, combat Immortal Sects GU Immortals shouted in unison. Under their maneuvering, the Immortal GU House Edge-linked camp suddenly surged in speed and rushed towards Western Desert Fang Clan's Inquiry Dock. Inquiry Dock retreated sharply. Edge-linked camp suddenly shined with a dazzling light, the light condensed into a giant horn that rushed into the sky. It was Edge-linked camp's killer move, Giant Horn Rush. Normally speaking, Inquiry Dock would not be afraid of this method, but after the amplification of human path killer move heroes among people, Giant Horn Rush's power doubled. Inquiry Dock was only an information path Immortal GU house, it could not resist this fierce attack alone. Fallen Flower Hall quickly tried to help it and moved closer to Inquiry Dock, but wind-sweeping building restrained it. We cannot lose Inquiry Dock, our Fang Clan's 3 Immortal GU houses can use the battlefield killer move Peach Blossom Maze. Fang Dichong quickly gave orders to save it. Peach Blossom Maze was able to trap rank 8 GU Immortals, and back then it was even able to trap Divine Bean Palace. This killer move was famous and all the Western Desert GU Immortals knew about it. It was just that since the battle started, Central Continent's side had taken the initiative and did not allow Western Desert to set it up, so there was no time to activate Peach Blossom Maze. Several Western Desert Immortal GU houses supported Inquiry Dock at the same time, but at the next moment, Central Continent's lineup changed and formed a large encirclement, separating Inquiry Dock from the reinforcements. Damn it! Fang Dichang's expression sank, he had to move Divine Bean Palace to help it. Divine Bean Palace was the support pillar of Western Desert's troops, it should not be moved lightly. Once it was moved, it would cause Western Desert's entire arrangement to change, which would result in a gap to form and allow Central Continent's side to seize the opportunity. But at this moment, there was nothing that Fang Dichong could do. At the sight of Divine Bean Palace moving, the Central Continent GU Immortals were excited. Fang Dichong fell for it. He is a Wisdom Path GU Immortal, but the situation is forcing his hand after all. Attack! Western Desert's battle arrangement has gone chaotic, if we grab onto this opportunity, we will claim victory. Rumble! Central Continent's Immortal GU houses erupted with a frenzy of attacks, it was like a tsunami that crashed towards Western Desert's forces. Oh no, this scene was so devastating that even Fang Dichang's expression changed. Western Desert's defeat was right before his eyes. Boom! With a loud explosion, a grand Immortal GU house entered the battlefield. It was larger than Divine Bean Palace, with giant red gold bricks and black gold tiles around its walls. Countless statues were embedded on the surface of the palace, each one of them was lifelike and full of brilliance. This is Rank 8 Immortal GU House, Myriad Statue Palace. Central Continent's attacks froze for a moment. At the next moment, from within Myriad Statue Palace came the voice of Thousand Transformations Ancestor. Central Continent's Heavenly Court is simply going overboard. This time, I, Thousand Transformations Ancestor, will make you pay with your blood. At the crucial moment, Thousand Transformations came to the rescue and finally salvaged the battle at Emperor City. Fang Dichong let out a long breath and muttered softly, There's still some hope left in this fight. Harryfoot Mountain Battlefield. Rumble. With a loud bang, a corner of the 5 regional limit formation broke again. It was like a pavilion that was see-through on all sides, the inside was visible to all. The formation spirit was so weak that it was nearly transparent. Zhan Yudu was heavily injured, he only manipulated the formation while kneeling, his 7 orifices were bleeding, blood had gathered into a pool below him. Once we destroy this formation, there will be no obstacles left. HMPH, if you want to find trouble with Heavenly Court, you're all not qualified enough. Mere rats, all of you will become prisoners of our Heavenly Court. As always, the main forces of Heavenly Court fought fiercely and furiously, their attacks were unceasing and increasingly coordinated, while Southern Border lost the rank 8 Pillar Kai Kuyu, they could barely sustain the fight, they could not protect the 5 regional limit formation. It seems that my life ends here. But I am not going to let you guys have it easy either. Zhan Yudu gritted his teeth and decided to use one final move to self-detonate the entire formation. Roar. Just before Zhan Yudu was about to self-detonate, the loud roar of a dragon could suddenly be heard. The sound of the dragon resounded throughout heaven and earth, shaking the entire battlefield. Next, the 5-colored smoke swirled violently and was brutally pushed apart by a huge object. At this moment, Heavenly Court and the Southern Border Immortals stared at the newcomer in shock. It was a giant dragon, unimaginably huge, the dragon head alone was like a chain of hills, and the dragon's body stretched endlessly. A GU Immortal's body could not even compare to a piece of the dragon's scales. Evil dragon, it is Di Zhangsheng. Why is it here? Di Zhangsheng's dragon eyes swept over the 5 regional limit formation and the Southern Border Immortals, quickly fixing on the main Heavenly Court forces. Heavenly Court's Immortals suddenly felt an extremely strong sense of danger that threatened their lives. Roar. Di Zhangsheng roared again and rushed towards the Heavenly Court Immortals. It's our reinforcements. The morale of the Southern Border Immortals was boosted. Wu Yong's eyes narrowed. Doesn't Di Zhangsheng hate all humans? How can it be manipulated and be an enemy of Heavenly Court? Who's controlling it? Who can manipulate it? For some reason, the image of Fang Yuan surfaced in Wu Yong's heart. We're finally saved. Zhan Yudu sprawled on the ground in exhaustion. With the help of Di Zhangsheng, he was saved from the brink of self-detonating. Heavenly Court Battlefield. Calamity Luck Altar was at its wit's end. Duke Long's constant bombardment caused a huge accumulation of damage. Calamity Luck Altar was in tatters. Bing Sai Chuan, who was controlling it, suffered heavy injuries. Chi Si Lang had already fainted long ago. What caused this was just not Duke Long's divine might, but also the help of Qin Dingling and Fairy Ziwei. Qin Dingling was able to use Luck Path to effectively disintegrate the defenses of Calamity Luck Altar. Fairy Ziwei collected information from the battle and made deductions on the spot, telling Duke Long the best spots to attack. With these 3 GU Immortals working together, Longevity Heaven was in a precarious position. The destruction of Calamity Luck Altar was close at hand. Once it completely breaks apart, Longevity Heaven will suffer a devastating blow, and the result of the battle in Heavenly Court will be decided. Far away from Central Great Hall, at the peak of Star Zone Mountain, the 2 chess players' figures playing against each other emerged at some point in the Imperfection Regret Pavilion. No matter from any angle, one could only see a side of the faces of these 2 figures at most. The woman had peerless beauty, while the man looked as cold as ice. It was a contest between 2 venerables. It seems that our side has won this game by a little again. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled slightly. Limitless Demon Venerable nodded. Heavenly Court awakened so many GU Immortals in advance this time, aren't you afraid of getting completely assimilated by Heaven's will? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable grasped a chess piece. I still have some time. It seems that the person you are waiting for will not appear. Even if he arrives, it is too late. Limitless Demon Venerable was silent, but suddenly, his eyes shined with mysterious light. He seemed to have sensed something as he stood up and turned around to look at the Heavenly Court battlefield far away. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was stunned. She followed Limitless Demon Venerable's direction and saw that white profound light started to appear in the battlefield. With a shrill sound, a tunnel was opened. Myriad Year Flying Warship flew in through the tunnel. A GU Immortal was standing on it. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had a deep gaze as she analyzed. This GU Immortal was dressed in a white robe, his sleeves were fluttering and his black hair was hanging down to his waist like a waterfall. His face was extremely handsome, almost delicate like a beauty, and what attracted people's attention most were his eyes, which were pitch black as if they were connected to the 9th layer of the deepest abyss, devouring all light that approached it. Fairy Ziwei's body shook as she said uncontrollably, Fang Yuan. So this is Fang Yuan. Qin Dingling coldly smiled. Regardless of who comes here, you cannot do anything. Duke Long did not raise his head, he still stared at Calamity Luck Altar as he tried to deal the fatal blow. Is that so? On Myriad-Year Flying Warship, Fang Yuan smiled lightly as he observed the battlefield. He raised his hand slowly, his fingers outstretched as he aimed at the battlefield. At the next moment, the killer move that he prepared for a long time burst out, grand chi surged as heaven and earth shook intensely. Rumble. The colossal chi wall that enveloped Heavenly Court lasted for a few breaths of time before shattering into countless chi currents, they were all drawn by a formless force into Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. At once, the entire place went silent. Fairy Ziwei and Qin Dingling stared in a daze as they shouted in disbelief. Rank 8. Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable's chi wall was actually. Duke Long slowly raised his head, he ignored Calamity Luck Altar as his gaze became fixed on Fang Yuan, his expression was completely different from before. Next, they heard Fang Yuan's plain voice reverberate in their ears. This unlimited Chi-Si killer move was modified by me, how is the power? Please do give me your honest opinion. Ha ha ha, loud laughter was heard from within Imperfection Regret Pavilion. Limitless Demon Venerable raised his head as he laughed in joy and satisfaction. Look, he pointed at Fang Yuan, turning around to face Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, the person I am waiting for is here. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable sighed deeply, she had a complex expression, indeed, he has arrived. At the crucial moment, Fang Yuan appeared in the battlefield personally, charging into Heavenly Court. Chapter 1934 Fang Yuan fights Duke Long. Heavenly Court Battlefield. This is the crucial person, Fang Yuan. Bing Sai Chuan muttered, looking at Fang Yuan who was high in the sky. Bull Demon and Flower Lady stared with their mouths wide open, didn't they say Fang Yuan was rank 7? When did he reach rank 8? This lad, Mao Li Chu gritted its teeth, feeling deep emotions inside. The last time it met Fang Yuan was in Reverse Flow River, Fang Yuan had used the river to escape. Other than that, he was weaker than Mao Li Chu. But in their next encounter, he was able to destroy the primordial chi wall. Without the primordial chi wall, Calamity Luck Altar was like a fish in water, it regained freedom. The restraint holding them back was gone, they could see ways to attack in advance now. Oh no, Fairy Ziwei's face turned pale, she could not think of a countermeasure immediately. Attack. At the next moment, Bing Sai Chuan's voice resounded from Calamity Luck Altar. The Northern Plains Immortals summoned using Call of the Ancient all became energized, their eyes shined with bright light as they split up and attacked the surroundings. These Northern Plains brutes had been suppressed for too long. Only Duke Long, Fairy Ziwei, and Qin Dingling were here, the three of them could not deal with so many GU Immortals at once. At the crucial moment, there was a tiger roar as a Shabi emerged. There was the cry of a crane as a green jade crane flew out. These were two legendary immemorial beasts of Heavenly Court, one was Shabi 95, the other was Ruan Dan. The two legendary immemorial beasts joined the battle, desperately blocking the Northern Plains Immortals. Fairy Ziwei quickly returned to Central Great Hall, she needed to protect old man Zheng Yuan who was there. Meanwhile, Qin Dingling charged towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan stood on Myriad-Year Flying Warship as he observed the battlefield, seeing the scattered Northern Plains Immortals, he nodded in satisfaction. In order to destroy the Chi Wall, he had prepared this move for a long time. Unlimited Chi-Si was the move that made Qi Shang famous throughout the world back then. It was grand and vast, complex and ever-changing, it could attack and defend, it was a comprehensive method. It had potential for growth on its own, capable of growing stronger by gathering all the different Qi in the world. After Qi Shang created this move, he collected all sorts of Qi and stored them inside the immortal aperture, including Life Qi, Death Qi, Sword Qi, Blade Qi, Dusk Qi, Dawn Qi. The more types of Qi gathered on large scales, the stronger unlimited Qi was. Not only would this move expend immortal essence, it also used up the stored Qi. Even if they were not used, as time passed, these Qi would naturally dissipate slowly. Back then, Qi Grotto Heaven's heavenly spirit used this move to survive many calamities and tribulations that the Grotto Heaven faced, among which were myriad tribulations. When Fang Yuan was attacked by this move, unlimited Qi was already weakened to its limit, even the heavenly spirit had to hibernate due to injuries. Thus, the actual power of unlimited Qi was not truly at the level when Fang Yuan saw it. Since rebirth, Fang Yuan had been thinking of the method to destroy primordial Qi Wall. After getting unlimited Qi, he acutely sensed that this move was a counter to the Qi Wall. However, the primordial Qi wall was a venerable method. Even if Fang Yuan had unlimited Qi C and Great Grandmaster Qi Path attainment level, he would need more than a decade to unravel the Qi wall method while fully focused on making deductions. The solution to this problem was Duke Long. In order to recruit Qi C ancestor, Duke Long used primordial origin Immortal Venerable's Qi Path killer moves as bait. Even though Fang Yuan only obtained half of it, because of his insistence, the content included the primordial Qi wall as well. With it, Fang Yuan used the light of wisdom from Wisdom GU to barely deduce and modify unlimited Qi C before the great battle. As for how Fang Yuan invaded Heavenly Court, he used Heaven Form. He added the Time Path killer move Shrink Time into Heaven Form, allowing him to rapidly invade the target area. After all, he had deep attainment in Theft Path and Time Path. As the Fang Di Chong clone was also comprehending the Theft Path Immortal GU house, he gained a lot of inspiration and insight. The Qi wall was too crucial of an element. With this Qi wall, Heavenly Court's enemies only had 3 routes to choose from. Those were the paths carved out by past demon venerables. But once the Qi wall vanishes, they could roam freely in Heavenly Court. With their current defense, they could not guard against everyone. The situation of the battle in Heavenly Court immediately was overturned. Once Fang Yuan took action, he gave Longevity Heaven and himself the initiative. They now had control over the battle. Fang Yuan, let me, Qin Ding Ling, see your skills. Qin Ding Ling turned into a golden ray of light as she flew in the sky, towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan took a glance at her. This was their first encounter. She was taller than normal people, her shoulders were broad, she stood straight and had a heroic aura. She had an outstanding air, especially her long legs. She was like innate royalty that ruled above the common man. Her nose bridge was tall and a little sharp, her lips were thin and her eyes were narrow and long, her gaze was emitting a cold light now. She was not a traditional beauty, she had an authoritative aura that was bred naturally within her. People would lower their heads and not dare to look at her directly. It was as if they could only look at her feet in order to not offend her. No wonder Giant Sun Immortal Venerable chose you as his concubine back then. Fang Yuan replied plainly. Qin Ding Ling's attacks became even fiercer instantly. Fang Yuan smiled coldly. He manipulated Myriad Year Flying Warship to move quickly, evading Qin Ding Ling. Qin Ding Ling's heart jumped. She cried out in dismay internally. She had great strength, having converted from Metal Path to Luck Path. Her battle strength was second to Duke Long and nobody else in Heavenly Court. She had no clear weaknesses. However, her speed was inferior to Myriad Year Flying Warship. At this moment, Rapids surged below Myriad Year Flying Warship, pushing this rank 8 Immortal GU house to move through the battlefield, heading directly to the Immortal battlefield. Fang Yuan was passive earlier, but once he attacked, he aimed at Heavenly Court's weakness. The greatest weakness. At this moment, even Duke Long could not let him pass. The Immortal Graveyard was the most important place in Heavenly Court. Even Duke Long did not know how many GU Immortals were slumbering inside. This was Heavenly Court's greatest wealth, it was their immense accumulation over millions of years since creation. In the previous life, even though Longevity Heaven reached Heaven Overseeing Tower, they could not threaten the Immortal Graveyard. But now that the Qi wall was broken, there were countless paths to take, they could approach the Immortal Graveyard. Duke Long gave up on Calamity Luck Altar, he flew rapidly and blocked the path of Myriad Year Flying Warship. Behind Myriad Year Flying Warship, Qin Ding Ling was chasing relentlessly. At once, Fang Yuan was encircled by Duke Long and Qin Ding Ling. Don't worry, I'll help you. Protect this person, he is the crucial person that Ancestor Giant Sun mentioned. That's right, even if we die, we need to protect him. The surrounding Northern Plains Immortals gathered towards Fang Yuan. Bing Sai Chuan did not hesitate, he immediately mobilized Calamity Luck Altar to reinforce Fang Yuan. Right now, they had the common enemy Heavenly Court, they needed to work together. Since Fang Yuan came to help them, Bing Sai Chuan had to return the favor, they had to resist Heavenly Court's 2 strongest experts. Bing Sai Chuan had no better option now. If he let Duke Long kill Fang Yuan now, not only would they lose this source of battle strength, the rank 8 Immortal GU House Myriad Year Flying Warship would also become unmanned. Facing this unprecedented attack, Fang Yuan had a calm expression. However, when he was about to use his method against the enemies, he suddenly felt a sense of fire chi emerging in his heart, causing him to burn with fury. Next, a sense of sorrow chi pervaded his body, causing his defenses to fall rapidly. Next, a lump of old chi entered his body and mind, causing his lifespan to decrease continuously. There was also poison chi that spread around him, causing a lethal threat. Unlucky chi crowded above his head, causing his luck to fall. Silly chi filled his mind, the results of the collision of thoughts in his mind were all stupid ideas. Frost chi entered his body, causing his movements to slow down. All sorts of chi tangled around him. Feng Yuan's battle strength fell to rock bottom. In just a few breaths of time, he fell to the level of a rank 7 GU Immortal. After some more time, he was even weaker than an ordinary rank 6 GU Immortal. Duke Long saw Feng Yuan's aura weakening rapidly as he was surrounded by all sorts of chi. He felt overjoyed. This is Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable's method. Feng Yuan destroyed the chi wall, causing this move to attack him. He had cultivated Primordial Origin's true inheritance after all. He could tell what had happened. But at the next moment, Duke Long saw a mild light shoot out behind him. It resembled a chess piece, rapidly entering Feng Yuan's body. Instantly, all of the chi around his body vanished, as if the former scene was an illusion. Duke Long's body and mind shook. He turned around at lightning speed, seeing that limitless demon Venerable's silhouette had stood up from his seat for the first time in Imperfection Regret Pavilion. Looking over at this battlefield from afar, Duke Long's pupils shrunk slightly. At the crucial moment, limitless demon Venerable made a move, cleansing all of the chi currents around Feng Yuan's body. The Northern Plains Immortals saw this and their hearts eased. Bing Sai Chuan was a little puzzled. So Feng Yuan had a method to make limitless demon Venerable turn around. How did he do it? I did not see him make any actions earlier. Immortal Killer Move, Dragon Roaring Wave. Duke Long opened his mouth and roared loudly. The sound waves of the dragon roar spread out rapidly, all over the place. Immortal Killer Move, Body Flicker. At the next moment, Duke Long teleported along with the dragon sound waves, directly appearing in front of Feng Yuan. Feng Yuan was still standing on the bow. The two were less than an arm's length away. One was the master of Red Lotus, the Dragon Man ancestor, Duke Long. The other was the inheritor of Red Lotus, the new Dragon Man ancestor, Feng Yuan. Oh no, Feng Yuan is overconfident. Quickly return to the Immortal GU house. The Northern Plains Immortals felt like they were falling into despair. They screamed. Duke Long's divine might was engraved in their minds. Nobody could face him head-on. Even Calamity Luck Altar, the legendary Immortal GU house that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable personally created, could not resist Duke Long's offensive methods. Longevity Heaven's members were suppressed by Duke Long's power. They had to hide inside Calamity Luck Altar, not daring to fight outside. Immortal Killer Move, Dragon Claw Strike. Duke Long snorted coldly. His right hand turned into a dragon claw as he slashed at Feng Yuan's skull. Slap. At the next moment, there was a soft sound as Feng Yuan raised his furry left arm, blocking Duke Long's dragon claw. He blocked it. Be it Northern Plains Immortals, Qin Ding Ling, or Fairy Ziwei, they were all stunned. Nobody had ever been able to resist Duke Long in a frontal assault, but he had managed to block it with such ease. Feng Yuan's appearance was completely changed. He turned into a bandit monkey. Bandit monkeys were of strength path. Their fur was golden and black tiger stripes covered their body. Fur grew out from their waist naturally to cover the crotch and the butt area, just like a kilt made of skin. Bandit monkeys respected strength and arm wrestling was their main social activity. Young monkeys could arm wrestle immediately after being born. Arm wrestling was not only a game for bandit monkeys, it was also a commonly used method to resolve disputes. There were GU Immortals who recognized the bandit monkey, feeling surprised. Since when did bandit monkeys become so strong? Ordinary immemorial bandit monkeys could not resist Duke Long's attack. If they acted like Feng Yuan, their left arm would have been cut off on the spot. Feng Yuan's transformation was not so simple, of course. Before this, he had already used the killer move Myriad Beings Assimilation Transformation. This was the ultimate method of Beast Calamity Immortal. It contained the highest profundity of transformation path, able to turn Dao marks of all other paths into transformation path Dao marks. How many Dao marks did Feng Yuan have now? Chi path had over 1 million, refinement path had 300,000, transformation path had 200,000, and that was not all. They were just the 3 highest paths. Just these alone, after using Myriad Beings Assimilation Transformation, gave him 1,500,000 transformation path Dao marks. After Feng Yuan transformed into the bandit monkey, all of these transformation path Dao marks turned into strength path Dao marks. 1,500,000 strength path Dao marks. With just the Dao mark amplification alone, Feng Yuan could resist Duke Long's killer move. Duke Long's dragon claw strike landed on Feng Yuan's left arm. It felt like he was punching a mountain. A sense of danger appeared in Duke Long's mind, but Feng Yuan's right fist had already been launched. Boom! With a loud sound, Duke Long felt like he was a paper boat riding a ferocious wave. he felt like a mountain had slammed into him. An unimaginable force caused him to fly away at a speed that could not be observed with the naked eye. Duke Long flew like a comet, crashing into the ground at lightning speed. With a loud crash, the surroundings shook, a huge dust cloud spread out. Everyone was silent. This time, fear and disbelief appeared on the faces of the Northern Plains and Heavenly Court GU Immortals. Everyone's attention was on Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan stood at the bow of his ship while transformed into the bandit monkey. He looked down plainly at the pit he created. It was the pit created by Duke Long who had been sent flying. It was 30 feet deep. Chapter 1935 Star Constellation vs. Limitless. Ever since the start of the battle, this was the first time anyone had seen Duke Long be sent flying far away from an attack. Not only did Fang Yuan defend against Duke Long's attack, he even retaliated and sent him flying. This was far out of anyone's expectations. He actually became so strong. What sort of growth speed is this? Mao Li Chu opened its mouth. It stood up subconsciously, no longer lying on the ground. The crucial person that giant son Immortal Venerable is waiting for indeed, he lives up to ancestors' expectations. Bing Sai Chuan sighed with a complex expression. Unknowingly, Qin Dingling's speed had fallen as she chased after Fang Yuan. What a joke! Fang Yuan sent Duke Long flying. What did that mean? Even though Qin Dingling was strong, she knew her limits. She knew the difference between Duke Long and her. Back then, in order to perceive Duke Long's luck, she paid a huge price and had to rest for many days to recover. Right now, the result of this collision eliminated any thought she had of observing Fang Yuan's luck. Qin Dingling was in quite an awkward predicament now. She wanted to fight and kill Fang Yuan earlier, but now, after seeing this, oh heavens! What a fierce person! Qin Dingling directly stopped moving. She did not dare to approach Fang Yuan anymore. The transformation path cultivation level that Fang Yuan displayed earlier showed that close combat was not his weakness, it was his strength instead. Qin Dingling changed her mind instantly. She decided to assist Duke Long instead. She did not want to fight Fang Yuan directly anymore. This is a monster. To think that in the future after I died, such a demonic immortal would appear, this is so interesting. Let's go, he does not need our help. Northern Plains immortals quickly turned around. They left, spreading out to the surroundings. Fairy Ziwei frowned tightly. She had a heavy heart. Northern Plains immortals were moving around all over the place. All of them had their own chosen routes to advance. If they destroyed everything along their path, how could Heavenly Court stop them all? Even if a large number of GU immortals woke up in the immortal graveyard now, they would need time to gather their immortal GU. It was too late now. I can only defend the most important areas now. Fairy Ziwei gritted her teeth. She made a painful decision, deciding to abandon the deadweight. Dust clouds dissipated. Within the huge pit, Duke Long stood up slowly. You really surprise me time and time again, Fang Yuan. Duke Long raised his head to look at Fang Yuan. He had a calm expression but his tone was eerie. He was hit by Fang Yuan's fist directly. His chest only caved in slightly. While he spoke, his wound healed completely as his chest returned to normal. He was the Dragonman ancestor after all. His recovery speed was shockingly fast. Fang Yuan looked at Duke Long as well. Upon seeing this, his expression did not change. Everything was within his expectations. Duke Long was not heavily injured. The attack earlier had a huge commotion but the effect on the enemy was small. He had only caught Duke Long off guard. After all, Fang Yuan did not use any immortal killer moves then. He only raised his fist and attacked with the amplification of Strength Path Dao marks. With the support of over 1,000,000 Strength Path Dao marks, Fang Yuan's banded monkey form had immense strength. Duke Long could not compare to it. But he had many immortal killer moves defending him. He was tough as steel. Even if he was sent flying, he was still intact. Below myriad-year flying warship, the water of the river of time surged as this time path immortal GU house moved suddenly. It was like a huge flying sword, tearing through space and creating a dazzling rainbow behind it. It pierced towards the immortal graveyard. Duke Long snorted coldly. A frenzied light flashed in his eyes as his deep killing intent surged without concealment. It was as if a fierce tide was raging. He was now in a passive spot. With Fang Yuan's attack, he had no choice but to defend. This was a terrible feeling. Once the primordial chi wall was broken, Fang Yuan's side gained the initiative. Their target was the immortal graveyard. Duke Long was sent flying by Fang Yuan's fist earlier. His air of intimidation took a beating. He decided to focus on the enemy ahead now. The truth was in front of him. Trying to engage in close combat with Fang Yuan in order to kill him was an impossible dream. Immortal killer move, Chi Breath Mountain. Rumble. A grand chi current gathered and formed into a translucent mountain. The mountain was hundreds of li large as it slammed down. Fang Yuan was at the bottom of the mountain now, raising his head to look at it. The mountain pressed down like the entire world, he could not evade it. Fang Yuan did not intend to evade it either. He stopped his bandit monkey transformation as he turned into a majestic astral wind flying heavenly boar. Astral wind flying heavenly boar lived in the sky. They were chi path beasts that could fly freely. They were agile like flying fish, they had agility incomparable with their boar bodies, they could charge into the heavenly wind chi wall with ease. With a leap, they could enter the heavenly wind chi wall and swim inside like fish in water. Fang Yuan's four legs stepped on myriad-year flying warship, he did not raise his head, he only growled slightly. Immortal killer move, rampaging chi roar. This was a chi path killer move, but it originated from Langya sect's treasury. In the past, when Langya land spirit controlled heavenly giant Suller, he used this move against the sharp-tusked boar, killing this ancient desolate beast with one move on the spot. Now that Fang Yuan used it, with his 1,500,000 chi path Dao marks, the power had risen by 1,500 times. Boom! The chi breath mountain exploded from Fang Yuan's roar, countless currents spread out and formed tornadoes that swept the battlefield. His killer move was broken, Duke Long suffered a backlash. But this Dao guardian of Red Lotus Demon Venerable still had great morale after suffering a setback, he used another move. Immortal killer move, Chi current scissors. He raised both fists, spreading out his 10 fingers. Countless pale Chi currents moved out from his palms, they slashed towards Fang Yuan like thin threads. In a few breaths of time, tens of thousands of pale white thread Chi currents moved like a torrent or swarm of moths, approaching from all over the place. Every Chi current was like a blade. Even if an immemorial desolate beast faced this move, they would be covered in cuts and injuries, until all of their flesh was removed and only a skeleton was left. Against this move, Fang Yuan's astral wind flying heavenly boar form was not useful, he changed his form again. This time, he turned into a crane. It was a chi path immortal beast as well, single chi crane. The flying crane was as large as a horse, it was beautiful and had a long proud neck, its wings were huge like two capes, spreading out on the bow of myriad-year flying warship. Fang Yuan spread his wings and waved them, at once, thousands of feathers gave off shining light. At the next moment, Immortal killer move Divine Flick 1 was ready to strike, Fang Yuan unleashed it. Cling cling cling, countless shrill sounds could be heard as chi currents shot out of his feathers, crashing into Duke Long's chi current scissors. As the two offensive methods collided, most of them were dispersed by each other, only a small amount got past and hit Duke Long and myriad-year flying warship respectively. No matter which side, against such trivial lingering attacks, they did not even blink. Immortal killer move, moving chi ring. Fang Yuan used another move as his beak opened, he blew as white chi came out. The white chi spread out rapidly, entangling with the back of myriad-year flying warship, causing its speed to rise sharply, shooting forward. Duke Long's expression changed, he realized the problem and quickly chased. According to conventional wisdom, moving chi ring was a chi path killer move, it would not be useful when it supported a time path immortal GU house. But Fang Yuan had modified this move himself, it was rank 8. With the support of a vast number of chi path Dao marks, its power rose by 1,000 times, it pushed myriad-year flying warship forward while defying common logic. Fang Yuan quickly got past the several northern plains immortals in front, he reached the immortal graveyard before anyone else. Looking at the immortal graveyard, it was wide and large, there were countless gravestones on the lush grassland, each of these gravestones were different, some were golden, some were short, some did not even have gravestones but were half-exposed coffins instead that were buried under the soil. The sacred atmosphere of dignity and solemnity, filled with history, enveloped the immortal graveyard. Fang Yuan smiled coldly, he turned into the bandit monkey again, ready to attack the immortal graveyard again. At this moment, star constellation Immortal Venerable silhouette sighed in imperfection regret pavilion, grabbing 3 chess pieces and tossing them out. The pieces did not attack Fang Yuan, they fused into the formation here. Fairy Ziwei was inside the formation core now, she controlled star constellation chessboard to observe the situation. After these pieces fell into star constellation chessboard, Fairy Ziwei felt the power of this formation rise as it broke its limit, reaching an unimaginable level. Fairy Ziwei was overjoyed, she quickly activated the formation and aimed it at Fang Yuan. A huge starlight pillar shined down as Fang Yuan and myriad-year flying warship vanished within the starlight. At the next moment, another starlight pillar appeared behind Duke Long as Fang Yuan and myriad-year flying warship appeared. With the help of star constellation Immortal Venerable silhouette, Heavenly Court's formation gained the ability to teleport people of Fang Yuan and Duke Long's level. This is star constellation Immortal Venerable's method. Fang Yuan noticed the situation and let out a breath of air. This did not happen in the previous life. I have so many Dao marks, but the starlight pillar can still teleport me forcefully. Impressive. However, I'm afraid this distance is its limit. Cold light shined in Fang Yuan's eyes. Next, he saw that several Northern Plains immortals were also forcefully teleported away from the immortal graveyard. But these people vanished from Heavenly Court directly, they were likely sent outside. Fang Yuan looked at other places. A few Northern Plains immortals had already succeeded, they either destroyed resource points or immortal GU houses. He immediately realized something else. It seems that the formation's power is limited even after receiving the help of star constellation Immortal Venerable. It can only allow Heavenly Court to defend some important areas. Even so, it was enough for now. Heavenly Court finally stabilized the situation, their losses were not severe. Within Imperfection Regret Pavilion, Limitless Demon Venerable silhouette turned around and looked at star constellation Immortal Venerable. You are quite generous, using 3 pieces like that. But now, you have the disadvantage in this game. Saying so, Limitless Demon Venerable silhouette smiled, he returned to his seat and sat down calmly. Back then, I threatened to destroy Heavenly Court and forced you to accept this game. A million years passed, our powers weave and influence this chessboard, we have been stuck at a deadlock. Now, I only used 1 piece but you used 3, if I attack now, you will be in trouble. Limitless Demon Venerable smiled as he placed his finger at one spot on the chessboard, a brand new chess piece appeared on the board when he retracted his finger. This chess piece contained the power of Limitless Demon Venerable's silhouette, the spot it occupied was where one of the 3 pieces that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable used earlier was situated. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette smiled indifferently. Back then, your main body wanted to gain the Heaven Path Foundation of Heavenly Court, so you set up this game. This chess game secretly connects to the Dao field that you created in your later years, Crazed Demon Cave. The more you win, the more Heaven Path Foundation you gain, and the more helpful it will be for the derivation over in Crazed Demon Cave. That's right, you're absolutely right. Limitless Demon Venerable admitted to his greed, this was an open scheme, there was nothing to hide. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette smiled again. There was no helping it in that situation, so what if you gain some Heaven Path Foundation? Times are different now, your main body's lifespan ran out long ago, you are already dead. Limitless Demon Venerable's silhouette was slightly stunned before his eyes shined with bright light, he realized, Heavenly Court made arrangements in my Crazed Demon Cave as well. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette praised truthfully, Crazed Demon Cave is uniquely blessed, the Venerables that came after you were unwilling to destroy it, a few of them even left behind their Dao fields. Over there, the few of us will definitely have a huge contest, but that is something for the future. Chapter 1936 Heavenly Court, S3 Elites against Fang Yuan. It seems that to destroy Heavenly Court's immortal graveyard, I will need to destroy this transportation formation first. Fang Yuan's gaze flashed like lightning, he started at the formation far away. The myriad-year flying warship below his feet moved according to his will, the ship shot out like a large flying sword towards the formation. Fairy Ziwei was guarding the formation in the central hall. Seeing Fang Yuan's assault, she took a deep cold breath, she felt immense pressure towering over her. Fang Yuan, with me here, you will not move freely. Duke Long roared as he stepped forward to block myriad-year flying warship. Seeing this, Fairy Ziwei let out a sigh of relief. Thankfully, we have Lord Duke Long guarding us. Boom! Fang Yuan and Duke Long clashed. Duke Long was sent flying while Fang Yuan and myriad-year flying warship only flew back by 1,000 steps. The aftermath of the combat stirred up thousands of storm clouds and set off monstrous air currents, the aftermath of which was so vast that it resembled a hurricane. The rank 8 GU immortals were swept and blown away by the aftershocks. Even Calamity Luck Alter halted, Bing Sai Chuan and the others inside were unable to stand on their feet firmly, their bodies were shaking violently. Subconsciously, everyone started to avoid Fang Yuan and Duke Long. Fang Yuan was blocked. As expected, only a monster can block a monster. Let the two of them fight. Only Qin Dingling gritted her teeth and forced herself to fly over, intending to reinforce Duke Long as his support. Fang Yuan and Duke Long clashed again, tornadoes formed, lightning flashed and thunder roared. Because of Heavenly Dragon's last stand, Duke Long was getting stronger by the minute. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan had a large number of Dao marks and myriad-year flying warship, he had the upper hand for now. Duke Long continued to move back as the two of them fought closer and closer to the teleportation formation. Immortal killer move, self-moving dragon chi wall. Left without a choice, Duke Long roared as he spread his arms. A huge invisible chi wall appeared before Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan pushed myriad-year flying warship to charge forward. After moving for a few dozen steps, he was stopped by the chi wall, unable to move further. Duke Long started to cultivate primordial origins true inheritance long ago. He naturally knew about the killer move chi wall. This move was modified by him. Fang Yuan could vaguely see countless chi currents inside the wall. These currents were all dragon-shaped. The dragon head spun around while chasing the tail, creating countless whirlpools. These dragon-shaped chi currents were very profound. They could reduce the force of external impacts and greatly increase the chi wall's durability. Duke Long's self-moving dragon chi wall could not be as firm as the primordial chi wall, but it was very durable. It successfully obstructed Fang Yuan. Even though Fang Yuan used unlimited chi si to destroy the primordial chi wall, he had modified it according to his understanding of the chi wall in the first place. Currently, Fang Yuan knew little about this dragon chi wall. It was impossible to replicate his former success now. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with brilliance. Since he could not unravel this move, he had to use force instead. He turned into a banded monkey again, stretching his arms as he pushed forward. Immortal killer move, strength path giant hand. Rumble. The surrounding 1,000 feet of air was pushed aside. Two translucent hands that were the size of mountains crashed towards Duke Long's chi wall with immeasurable might. Within the chi wall, Duke Long raised his head and spread out his arms, sustaining his chi wall killer move. The two strength path giant hands moved for several hundred steps before becoming slower, unable to advance further. Fang Yuan and Duke Long had solemn expressions as they exerted strength, falling into a deadlock. Good chance. Seeing this, Qin Dingling realized that her chance to attack had arrived. In the earlier battle, she could not find a chance to attack, she could only prepare her killer moves. Once the chance arrived, she immediately threw out a small golden dagger. The dagger was only the size of a thumb. It flew into the air and grew larger as it moved. By the time it reached the top of Fang Yuan's head, it was already the size of a horse carriage. Swish swish swish. The golden blade swung down, attempting to slice off Fang Yuan's luck advantage. But cooking luck pot suddenly appeared above Fang Yuan. It flew up and resisted the attack of the golden blade. Clang clang clang. The golden blade landed on cooking luck pot. Golden sparks appeared due to the collision. In a few breaths of time, the golden blade slashed for several hundred times before fading away on its own. Cooking luck pot completely defended against this killer move. Even though cracks appeared on the surface, it was intact overall. The golden blade was a rank 8 luck path killer move. While cooking luck pot had been elevated to a rank 7 immortal GU house, it could resist rank 8 attacks. Cooking luck pot, Qin Dingling exclaimed in shock, recognizing it immediately. She was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's concubine after all. She knew about the existence of cooking luck pot. Your cooking luck pot is only rank 7, even if it can block me 10 times, can it stop me 20 times? 30 times. Qin Dingling snorted coldly in her mind, attacking Fang Yuan furiously. Cooking luck pot was only rank 7, even though it could resist rank 8. Qin Dingling was not an ordinary rank 8 GU immortal, she was specialized in luck path. Cooking luck pot could block her now, but the duration would not be long. Fang Yuan noticed this too. He immediately withdrew his strength path giant hands and stopped this immortal killer move. Duke Long was still sustaining the chi wall. He could not attack. Fang Yuan was able to retreat with ease. Qin Dingling, you did well. Duke Long praised secretly. In the deadlock earlier, Duke Long was in a disadvantage. Over half of his dragon spirals in the chi wall had dissipated. Thankfully, Qin Dingling interfered and forced Fang Yuan to retreat. Thoughts clashed like lightning in Fang Yuan's mind as he analyzed the situation. He had abundant methods, but as long as the transportation formation existed, he could not use most of his methods casually. Once he activates these methods and Fairy Z-Wei tries to teleport him forcefully, it might greatly disrupt Fang Yuan, causing his activation to fail. Once his killer move fails, he would suffer varying extensive backlash. If Fang Yuan suffered a backlash now, the consequences would be unthinkable. Because of his Dao Mark amplification, the power was at least 1,500 times. The backlash would be equally amplified. And more terrifyingly, the sovereign immortal body had non-conflicting Dao marks. Fang Yuan had to endure the complete backlash. That way, as long as Fang Yuan faced one backlash, he would likely die. Only moves like Strength Path Giant Hand with low activation time could be used, as they only needed few thoughts to maintain. Even if the killer move was destroyed, only the strength path giant hands would break apart, the GU Immortal's own backlash would be very marginal. In that case, let me try another move. Fang Yuan began to prepare his killer move. He cultivated all paths, he had abundant methods, in this regard, even Duke Long and Thunder Ghost True Monarch, these dual cultivators could not match up. In a few breaths of time, Fang Yuan's killer move was prepared. Immortal killer move, Myriad Self. Swoosh 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 swoosh. Countless Fang Yuan spread out into the sky from Myriad Year flying warship, a 10,000-person army was formed instantly. The original Myriad Self-killer move was turned into an Immortal GU recipe by Fang Yuan, in which he refined Immortal GU Myriad Self. But the Myriad Self-killer move that Fang Yuan used now was not the original version, it was a human path killer move that used Myriad Self-Immortal GU as the core. At the next moment, all of the Fang Yuan clones charged towards the Qi wall. Their strength was lower than the main body of course, but because his main body had too many Dao marks, all of these Myriad Self-clones all had at least Desolate Beast level battle strength. After using this killer move, Fang Yuan gained a Desolate Beast army that numbered to 10,000. All of these clones were controlled by Fang Yuan with ease, as if they were extensions of his limbs. A portion of the Myriad Self-army charged towards the Qi wall, some charged at Qin Ding Ling, while the bulk of them got past the Qi wall and attacked the transportation formation behind instead. Even though Duke Long's Qi wall was strong, it could not compare to the primordial Qi wall. Duke Long's heart jumped, he tried to cancel this move but Fang Yuan's main body came charging with Myriad Year flying warship. Duke Long grunted as he dispelled that thought, continuing to maintain the Qi wall. In a battle between experts, activating killer moves was not easy, but dispelling them was similarly difficult. On the other end, Qin Ding Ling was surrounded by Fang Yuan's clones as they fought. Qin Ding Ling was very powerful, these clones were no threat to her, but they were enough to distract her, she had to waste time and effort to deal with them. Fairy Ziwei took in a deep breath of shock. She instantly realized, this was a huge test to her. If she failed the test, the transportation formation would be destroyed, it would cause a series of problems, the entire battle situation would crumble, the plan to repair Fate GU would fail. There is no time to mobilize Heavenly Court's forces. I can only rely on myself. Fairy Ziwei had a determined expression as she did her best, instilling all of her attention into the formation. She was wholeheartedly concentrating. Star constellation chessboard buzzed incessantly, its chess pieces were shining in starlight on the surface of star constellation chessboard, with 3 of them being the brightest. These were the 3 pieces that star constellation's silhouette had tossed over earlier. Fairy Ziwei's mind had countless thoughts that resembled the starry sky, they shined brightly. The formation activated, shooting out waves of starlight specks. Countless specks landed on Fang Yuan's clones, very few missed their target, even though Fang Yuan's clones were doing their best to dodge. As long as they were hit by the starlight specks, they would be teleported outside of Heavenly Court, vanishing instantly. These clones did not have the killer move Heaven form, they could not rejoin the battle. Good. Duke Long and Qin Ding Ling let out sighs of relief. Fairy Ziwei did not disappoint them, at the crucial moment, she gave a display of a wisdom path great expert. Fang Yuan frowned lightly, this will not do. Fate GU is slowly being repaired, Heavenly Court has the overall momentum in this battle. Fairy Ziwei cannot last long but she is planning to stall for time. Over here, I am obstructed by Duke Long and Qin Ding Ling. Fang Yuan looked at Longevity Heaven's side again. These people were obstructed by the transportation formation too. Calamity Luck Altar was charging towards Heaven Overseeing Tower but a starlight pillar was moving them back each time. If I ask them to reinforce me, they would receive the same treatment too. Furthermore, if they come here, I will not be able to use my methods freely, I should let them attack the surroundings to pressure and drain Fairy Ziwei's energy. Duke Long's Qi wall could move, it could not block the Myriad self-clones but it could block Myriad Year flying warship wholeheartedly. As Fang Yuan fought against Duke Long, he contacted Eastern Sea's Immortals. Heavenly Court's transportation formation had one great weakness, it needed stars as the springboard. Even within Heavenly Court, that was the case, the starlight pillars shot down from White Heaven's countless stars. Fang Yuan could not destroy the transportation formation now, but it was the same if the stars in White Heaven were destroyed. Luckily, a group of Eastern Sea rank 8s were there. Chapter 1937 Rod Transformation. Eastern Sea's 8 GU Immortals had already arrived in White Heaven, they destroyed many stars. Their ambition was not as large as Southern Border, Northern Plains, and Western Desert, they only wanted to plunder some central continent resources and expend its foundation. Because they were worried that Heavenly Court would send reinforcements to stop them, they targeted the stars in White Heaven instead. Their strategy had coincidentally become the most crucial point in the entire battle right now. Among them were Zhang Yin, Granny Rong, and the other dragon generals. Wu Shuai did not recall them. They were left in this group to try to destroy the stars. Wu Shuai made a wise decision. If only Shen Kongsheng, Qing Yuan, Hua Kaiyun, and Song Qiyuan were left, they might not have enough guts to destroy the stars. Eastern Sea's 8 immortals were quite efficient in destroying the stars. The 8 of them arrived in front of a giant-sized star. The star was so huge that these 8 immortals felt very minute. Heavenly Court scattered countless stars in White Heaven. They were mutually connected, creating a web that had its own arrangements. Each area had a giant star as the formation core. Around the giant star were many large-sized stars. And around the large-sized stars were countless mid- and small-sized stars, flying around casually. They did not have fixed locations. Song Qiyuan first flew onto the giant star as he shut his eyes, quietly sensing the connection between the stars. More than 10 breaths later, he shut his eyes, activating a light path killer move as he pointed far away. Each time he pointed, a sharp profound light would shoot out of his finger at lightning speed, vanishing into the horizon. Far away, mid- and small-sized stars exploded into smithereens. This light path killer move was very special. It could trace the source of any light and attack it. It could even target gazes. In the previous life, Song Qiyuan used this move to destroy a star that Fang Yuan refined, causing his Star Eyes Immortal Gu to fail. In this life, Song Qiyuan used this move against Heavenly Court. The effect was immediate as well. After Song Qiyuan destroyed all of the stars he could sense, he stopped and nodded at Qing Yuan. Immortal killer move, myriad mountain ranges. Qing Yuan gave a cry as the phantom image of countless mountains appeared. The entire mountain range crashed into the giant star. The giant star was huge, but it was just an immortal material. Under the attack of the rank 8 killer move, it shattered and was destroyed, breaking into countless star fragments. Almost at the same time the giant star was destroyed, Fairy Ziwei, who was within Heavenly Court's transportation formation, sensed it. Her expression changed. The destruction of one giant star was not an issue. Heavenly Court scattered many stars in White Heaven. The loss of one was insignificant. But in this situation, it had a different implication. Currently, Northern Plains Immortals and Fang Yuan's clones were attacking all the important areas of Heavenly Court. Fairy Ziwei had to activate the formation to transport them away. The formation was constantly activated. It was like a person running while keeping a dangerous balance. If the person steps on a rock, no matter how small it is, they would lose their balance and fall, getting injured. The faster they are running, the heavier their injuries when they fall. The transportation formation was being used so intensely now. If any errors happen when the destroyed star is needed for the process, the transportation formation would be severely damaged by its own backlash. It might get destroyed. Fairy Ziwei had thought that these Eastern Sea Immortals held the lowest threat to them, but to think that in this situation and time, the 8 Eastern Sea Immortals were her most fatal threat. She had to be careful now. Any suspicious stars could not be used now. Fang Yuan acutely sensed the changes in the formation. He attacked wildly while activating Myriad Self, and also transmitting information to Shen Kongsheng. Shen Kongsheng received Fang Yuan's message and understood Heavenly Court's situation. He became very excited. He urged the 7 immortals. Now is our best chance. Fang Yuan has already made his move. Heavenly Court cannot divert its attention. The more stars we destroy, the more problems Heavenly Court will face. Heavenly Court's main forces are restrained in Hairy Foot Mountain, while Heavenly Court itself is being attacked by Longevity Heaven and Fang Yuan. If we do well here, we might have a chance of destroying Heavenly Court. Shen Kongsheng's words raised the morale of the other 7 immortals. Their efficiency went up at once. Hairy Foot Mountain Battlefield. The sharp sound of phoenix chirping pierced the eardrums and ran through the battlefield. The source of the sound was Prince Feng Xian's killer move, Phoenix Chirping Divine Flame. The flames burned with raging intensity, coiling around Di Zhangsheng's body as it was set ablaze. At the other side, Bai Kang Shui also used her killer move. Countless water waves rushed towards Di Zhangsheng's body without stopping even for a moment. Di Zhangsheng was attacked by more than just these 2 people. It was just too large. Heavenly Court's immortals had their own area to target and attack. Di Zhangsheng roared continuously. It was attacked by flames and water, lightning and poison, but it still rushed towards the 9 consecutive unceasing formation. The attacks of the Heavenly Court immortals did not distract it successfully. Its performance did not fit historical records. Back then, Di Zhangsheng caused chaos and attacked everything in its sight. It was easily drawn away. It had never shown such a clear objective. Oh no, this legendary immemorial beast has likely been enslaved. Zhou Shangxin shouted. Heavenly Court's main forces did not have Wisdom Path GU Immortals, but Zhou Shangxin cultivated Information Path. He was most skilled at collecting information and clues. He even had Information Path killer moves that could mimic Wisdom Path effects. After fighting for some time, Zhou Shangxin immediately deduced the truth behind Di Zhangsheng. Di Zhangsheng was attacked by the Heavenly Court Immortals. It was covered in injuries. In terms of defense, it was inferior to Duke Long. It also had no wild immortal GU. It was fighting with its own innate abilities. Every time it waved its claws, it could create a gale. The Heavenly Court Immortals avoided them, none of them wanting to try the feeling of being caught by Di Zhangsheng. Each of its roars could set off shocking waves of sound, violently impacting everyone's eardrums and hearts. Its size was too large. Even if it suffered countless blows, it was not a big deal to its entire body. It endured the furious attacks of the Heavenly Court GU Immortals. It persevered towards the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation as it began to cause destruction. Heavenly Court's Immortals felt a sense of helplessness. Against Di Zhangsheng, even if they used their full strength, they were like rats trying to topple an elephant. What do I do? At this rate, the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation cannot sustain itself. Attacking the enemy will save it. We have to face offense with offense. Heavenly Court's Immortals had rich experience. They quickly found a countermeasure. Vortex Space Boy and Jun Shen Guang moved ahead while Zhu Ke and Zhu Ke became the middle group. They all moved towards the 5 regional limit formation. At this moment, Di Zhangsheng opened its mouth. An immortal GU house flew out. This immortal GU house was shining in orange gold light. It was grand and overbearing. This was the rank 8 immortal GU house, Dragon Palace. A wave of smoke flew out of Dragon Palace like an illusory dream. Dream Path Killer Move. Heavenly Court's Immortals recognized it. They were shocked and fearful, quickly dodging. Wherever dreamy light smoke went, Heavenly Court's Immortals dodged and gave way. The light smoke covered the 5 regional limit formation and quickly retrieved it. Heavenly Court's Immortals tried to use methods to attack dreamy light smoke, but Dream Path Killer moves were unstoppable in this era. All of their hard work ended up in vain. The 5 regional limit formation was brought into Dragon Palace. Zhan Bu stored it away. After landing inside Dragon Palace, he met with Wu Shuai. Wu Shuai used Dragon Palace's methods to immediately heal him. Heavenly Court was a strong foe. Even though they were in a disadvantage, they could still retaliate. Heavenly Court's main forces used the best tactic, forcing Zhan Bu to store the 5 regional limit formation. This formation had already been attacked countless times. It was at its limits already. Not only did Zhan Bu need healing, this 5 regional limit formation also needed to be repaired. Without the formation, even though there was still 5-colored smoke in the battlefield, it lost its source and quickly dwindled. Wu Shuai drove Dragon Palace directly into the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation with Di Zhangsheng, without tangling with Heavenly Court's members. Hold on. We need to hold on. The GU Immortals controlling the formation shouted. The atmosphere was tense and solemn. In order to protect Harryfoot Mountain and infallible blessed land, they had to keep the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation up. However, be it the 5-colored smoke or Di Zhangsheng, they were fatally dangerous to the formation. After entering the formation, Di Zhangsheng's strength rose greatly. It was restricted in the 5-colored smoke earlier. After all, it was a Central Continent legendary immemorial beast. It was not from the 9 heavens. Immortal Killer Move, Unlimited Wind. While Heavenly Court's main forces retreated, Wu Yong found a chance and permanently expended Wind Path Dao Marks to unleash the unceasing tornado. The tornado rampaged, suppressing the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation from the outside, adding an additional problem to Heavenly Court. Emperor City Battlefield, Myriad Statue Palace and Divine Bean Palace helped each other, firmly holding Western Desert's ground. 1000 Transformations Ancestor charged into the battle alone, using all sorts of powerful transformation path killer moves to force back Yuyong Palace and Frost Dragon Manor. Like Zhang Feixiang and Flesh Whip Immortal, 1000 Transformations Ancestor also had the ability to fight immortal GU houses with his body. But the overall situation was, Central Continent still had the upper hand. They were all affected by heroes among people. This human path killer move was indeed a venerable method. It could not be assessed with common sense. Within Emperor City, the competition was also at a crucial stage. Hong Yi stared at the fire with his full concentration. No matter how the immortals fought outside, they could not disturb him. Yi Fan was the same, he wholeheartedly wanted to compete with Hong Yi. But different from Hong Yi, he was using a light path refinement method, aurora lights constantly moved vividly, reflecting off his face. In the competition ground, one by one, GU masters failed, success Dao marks were sent to infallible blessed land by batches. Next, the success Dao marks in infallible blessed land were extracted by Heavenly Court and sent to Yuan Chongdu. Yuan Chongdu controlled the refinement path GU formation, he continued to repair Fate GU, he was making quick progress. Within this refinement path GU formation, there were Kong Yan and Che Wei defending the place with their full strength. As Northern Plains GU immortals got near the formation, starlight would land on them, they would be teleported out without resistance. As expected of Lady Ziwei. She is so dependable. Che Wei and Kong Yan sighed. Persevere, persevere. Fairy Ziwei was covered in sweat now, her face was pale and her head was emitting steam from overheating. She encouraged herself continuously. The situation is still within my grasp, persistence will lead to victory. But at the next moment, Fang Yuan, who was on Myriad Year Flying Warship, laughed loudly. Immortal Killer Move, Myriad Beings Assimilation Transformation. Immortal Killer Move, Falling Star Rod Transformation. He suddenly turned into a huge rod, black and thick. Next, he used a Star Path Killer Move, leading countless stars. Oh no, Fairy Ziwei's expression changed, she felt like she was sitting on a wild horse carriage that could not stop. The horse pulling it was rampaging, even if she held the reins, she could not stop this horse carriage anymore. Boom! At the next moment, the entire transportation formation self-detonated, starlight specks faded away, no longer shining down. Fairy Ziwei suffered an immense backlash, she was at the point of near death, falling unconscious. Chapter 1938 Heavenly Court, S Crisis. The transportation formation's self-detonation shook all the surroundings as Heavenly Court's battlefield froze for a moment. Next, Northern Plains immortals erupted with cheers and caused a huge commotion. Ziwei. Qin Dingling turned pale with shock as she turned into a flash of light, saving Fairy Ziwei from the rubble of the transportation formation. Fairy Ziwei had fainted, she was in poor shape, Qin Dingling needed to save her immediately. Qin Dingling had no hesitation, she immediately retreated, no longer assisting Duke Long in battle. She knew her limits, she was not very useful for Duke Long, while Fairy Ziwei was the strategist of Heavenly Court, she was vital and could not be lost. Fang Yuan wanted to use this chance to kill Fairy Ziwei of course, but Duke Long blocked his advancement each time. Undeniably, Duke Long's modified Qi Wall was very strong, it got past the immobile weakness of the primordial Qi Wall, it was agile and durable. After Duke Long used this move, even Fang Yuan's Myriad Year Flying Warship could not break through it. Within the Qi Wall, Duke Long had a grim expression, he treated Fang Yuan as the greatest enemy of his life, the disdain and contempt he showed earlier were completely gone. Only until Fang Yuan destroyed the transportation formation did Duke Long realize, Fang Yuan's myriad self-killer move earlier was just a distraction, it was intended to stall for time. Fang Yuan's true method was waiting all along in the dark, once used, it caused a huge impact. Why does Fang Yuan have the method to break the formation so coincidentally? Duke Long knew that Fang Yuan was able to break the Qi Wall earlier because of his rebirth. But this transportation formation was definitely out of Fang Yuan's expectations, he was troubled by it earlier after all, if he had seen it in a previous life, he would have been prepared against it. This means that Fang Yuan deduced the method to break the killer move during battle. How can that be possible? Duke Long was perplexed. Heavenly Court made such an arrangement, they naturally guarded against Fang Yuan, they knew about his wisdom path attainment. With Fang Yuan's foundation, he would need a lot of time to unravel this transportation formation. Speaking of which, this was quite a coincidence. When Fang Yuan explored the Dragon Whale Paradise, he had obtained the falling star rod tree from Shenkong Shang. The growth conditions of this immemorial desolate plant were still a mystery as it had been extraordinarily rare and low in quantity since ancient times. It had the unique trait of constantly attracting stars, falling into the trunk of the tree and turning into a single star mark. That was why it was called Falling Star. According to rumors, one of the motives that Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable had when he traveled the world alone was to collect this tree. The value of the Falling Star rod tree did not just lie in itself. By planting it in the immortal aperture, the GU Immortal could use it to create an entire system of orbiting stars. It was a unique ecology that brought incremental gains every year, and the total amount of gains over time, day after day, year after year, was almost impossible to estimate. Without this tree, even if Fang Yuan knew about the falling star rod tree, he could not transform into it. But after obtaining it, he observed and studied it, gaining the falling star rod tree transformation. Other than the rod tree transformation, Fang Yuan also had Dongfang Chongfan's myriad star fireflies, and Yi Lui Qunxing's leading countless stars killer move. These were all loot he gained in the past. Leading countless stars was exceptional. It used the star fragments primarily and expended little immortal essence. Using the attractive force of star fragments, it could generate starlight magnetic force to continue manipulating stars. The more stars there were, the stronger this move would be. Back then during the Northern Plains battle, Yi Lui Qunxing used this move and was virtually unstoppable. The killer move leading countless stars was targeted against stars and made use of them. On top of that foundation, Fang Yuan also had Star Path and Formation Path Grand Master attainment level, as well as the Light of Wisdom. By modifying the killer move in battle, he was able to achieve amazing results. Duke Long was very shocked that he could destroy the transportation formation. In Duke Long's eyes, Fang Yuan started to become unfathomable. On Myriad Year Flying Warship, Fang Yuan dispelled Falling Star Rod Tree transformation and returned to his human form. Immortal killer move, Myriad Self. Bam bam bam. A vast number of Fang Yuan's clones appeared again, filling the sky. They were like fireflies that spread out to the surroundings. Heavenly Court felt a little troubled. In this battle, they were suffering from a lack of manpower. Even though star constellations will awaken many Heavenly Court rank 8s earlier, because the transportation formation was destroyed, they were all stuck in Harryfoot Mountain now. Troops far away cannot salvage the situation. Duke Long sighed. He had no choice but to use a method. Chi Path Immortal Killer Move, Chi engulfing mountains and rivers. At that instant, an unparalleled force descended from the sky, pressing down on the entire place. The world became still, nothing was left unaffected. Fang Yuan's clones were all destroyed. Calamity Luck Altar was forced to the ground, resisting stubbornly with creaking sounds. The Heavenly Court Immortal GU houses within the range of this killer move were even more badly affected. They were directly destroyed as the place turned into ruins. Fang Yuan and Myriad Year Flying Warship were not spared either. They were enveloped by Chi engulfing mountains and rivers. The warship's speed fell as it rapidly descended from the sky while bearing the weight of mountains and rivers. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. Instead of shock, he felt joy. Duke Long's Chi engulfing mountains and rivers was quite familiar to him. In the previous life, when fighting for Dragon Palace, he had used it to claim victory. But now, Duke Long had to use this move to destroy Fang Yuan's myriad self. He was truly in a passive spot. He had to give up Heavenly Court's own Immortal GU houses. Immortal Killer Move, Immemorial Year Monkey Transformation. Fang Yuan transformed again. All of his Dao marks turned into 1,500,000 Time Path Dao marks. Myriad Year Flying Warship itself was a Time Path Immortal GU house. It was activated by Fang Yuan with full force now. Its power rose drastically. It was re-energized and shot out like a flying sword, as if Chi engulfing mountains and rivers did not exist. Duke Long stared at Fang Yuan furiously. He could not catch up now. He watched as Fang Yuan charged towards the Immortal Graveyard. Fang Yuan did not intend to target Heaven Overseeing Tower. Firstly, Heaven Overseeing Tower was defended by a formation now. Time was needed to get in. Secondly, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's painting path method was still around. Fang Yuan was wary against it. The Immortal Graveyard was an important place of Heavenly Court. It was likely to have a venerable method, but Fang Yuan had to take the risk. The Immortal Graveyard was a huge variable. Destroying it now would greatly benefit Fang Yuan and the rest. Within Imperfection Regret Pavilion, seeing that Fang Yuan approached the Immortal Graveyard, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette's expression changed as she grabbed a chess piece, preparing to toss it. But at this moment, Limitless Demon Venerable's silhouette smiled lightly as he placed a piece on the chessboard. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette stopped her action. If she tossed this chess piece, Limitless Demon Venerable would gain an absolute advantage. She would not be able to turn this game around anymore. Limitless, you really think highly of Fang Yuan. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette sighed. She placed the chess piece back onto the board. Next, her gaze turned sharp as blades. She said coldly, but it is not so easy to stop me. Before she finished her words, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable made several moves at once, placing pieces on the chessboard continuously. Limitless Demon Venerable quickly followed after her, not giving her any advantage. Both sides exchanged moves. They placed over 100 pieces in a few breaths of time. The entire chessboard was filled with pieces, but the strange thing was, This chessboard seemed to have no size limit, no matter how many they placed, the chessboard could hold them. Star constellation Immortal Venerable's silhouette was restrained by limitless demon Venerable. Fang Yuan managed to reach the Immortal graveyard by moving straight ahead without obstacles. Fang Yuan, if you do anything to it, I will make sure you die without a proper corpse. Duke Long was still chasing him from behind. Fang Yuan smiled coldly, using Strength Path Giant Hand. Slam, his giant hand was huge but extremely fast, it slammed down rapidly. But the process of the giant hand's movement became very slow, space seemed the same but it was actually tens of thousands of li long now. At the crucial moment, someone interfered, but it was not a venerable method. Who is it? Fang Yuan shouted, his eyes shined like lightning as he looked towards his left. In Fang Yuan's vision, a female immortal slowly revealed her appearance. She had a peculiar appearance, her entire body was made of wood, she wore a green dress made from vines, even though she had a human face, one could see the trunk rings on her tree bark skin, her eyes were clear as a tranquil lake. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk, from her aura, this female immortal was close to Di Zhangsheng's level. Human immortal, stop, don't try to destroy Heavenly Court, otherwise, I, Kang Zanzi, will have to stop you. The female immortal spoke, her voice was gentle but contained immense determination. Kang Zanzi, Fang Yuan realized after a moment. Heavenly Court had 3 legendary immemorial beasts, they were Shabi 95, Ruan Dan, and Kang Zanzi. Kang Zanzi was a vast heaven vine, it was a unique existence in Heavenly Court, it did not need to follow orders, but only had to provide a batch of vast heaven fruits every 1,000 years. In the previous life, when Longevity Heaven attacked Heavenly Court, Kang Zanzi watched the battle without doing anything. But to think that she would take action in this life when Fang Yuan invaded. It seems that Kang Zanzi and Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable had some sort of special agreement, nobody else knows about it. Fang Yuan snorted coldly, he mobilized Myriad Year Flying Warship to charge towards the Immortal Graveyard. Kang Zanzi sighed, she turned into a green light and blocked Myriad Year Flying Warship. With a loud sound, Myriad Year Flying Warship crashed into Kang Zanzi's body, its momentum was halted while Kang Zanzi was sent flying away. She spat out a mouthful of green blood, but she continued to attack Myriad Year Flying Warship. Fang Yuan, your life is mine. At this moment, Duke Long arrived, he opened his mouth and bore his fangs, turning into blades that slashed at Fang Yuan. Instantly, Fang Yuan became trapped from the front and back. He was not flustered, he first pointed at Duke Long to use spring scissors, before pointing at Kang Zanzi as the Myriad Year Flying Warship below him shot out countless flying swords, they were all daybreak flying swords. Spring scissors flew out and snipped the dragon fangs, before approaching Duke Long with an unstoppable force. Duke Long had to retreat. Daybreak flying swords shot out like a waterfall towards Kang Zanzi. After enduring it for a few moments, Kang Zanzi could not hold on anymore and retreated. Fang Yuan yelled, Myriad Year Flying Warship soared into the sky again, before rapidly descending towards the Immortal Graveyard. But distance was extended once again, an unobservable profundity was occurring around the surrounding space. Fang Yuan turned around and stared at Kang Zanzi, saying a sentence fiercely, you are courting death. Kang Zanzi was covered in sweat, she had tried her best to use the Space Path Killer move, but she could only stall Fang Yuan temporarily. Thankfully, Duke Long was around, he attacked Fang Yuan once more but was forced to retreat yet again. Fang Yuan's strength suppressed both Duke Long and Kang Zanzi. The two sides fought for over 100 rounds, the more they fought, the stronger Fang Yuan's aura and the more injuries gathered on the bodies of Duke Long and Kang Zanzi. Rumble. With a loud sound, Fang Yuan's Luo Po seal landed on Kang Zanzi as she screamed, his giant hand slammed Duke Long to the ground. Duke Long, you are already old. With this aged body of yours, how long can you last? Fang Yuan smiled coldly. Until I die. Duke Long was filled with determination and battle intent, one of his dragon horns was broken, his dragon scales were cracked, he was covered in blood. But he would rather fight to the death. Within the Refinement Path formation, Northern Plains past generation experts surrounded Kong Yan and Che Wei. Kill them both. They are already at their limit. How can merely 2 people stop us? HMPH, they are overestimating themselves. Northern Plains immortals were ready to attack, killing intent surged and filled the entire space. Che Wei and Kong Yan were covered in blood, as long as they stood at the same spot for a few seconds, a pool of blood would gather below them. It seems that we are going to die here. Then we will die. Even if we die, we will use our lives to get as much time as we can for Yuan Chongdu. The two looked at each other, they smiled with the determination to die. Come, this is our final battle. As the weaker sighed, they shouted even louder than the Northern Plains Immortals. The Northern Plains Immortals' expressions changed. These are two respectable opponents. I will use my strongest killer move to send you off, this is my respect towards you both. Boom boom boom. Intense battle erupted once again. Emperor City. Countless gazes were heatedly locked onto the final competition grounds. Most of the GU masters had failed, they all left the stage. There were only two people left, one was Yi Fan, the other was Hong Yi. The final victor would be either one of these two. The competition is ending, our mission to defend is about to succeed. Persevere, everyone. Central Continent's troops cheered in advance. What do we do? Thousand Transformations' ancestor could not take them down, he started to feel anxious. Fang Dichong was silent but he snorted coldly in his heart. You are all too naive, so what if we are blocked? Ha ha ha, it has finally arrived. At this precise moment, the ground cracked open, the earth shook as a huge earth trench appeared, the terrifying crack expanded towards Emperor City. What is happening? An earth trench. Damn it, Emperor City is in the path of the earth trench. Quick, save the people. Central Continent's troops were flustered, they wanted to salvage the situation. But Fang Dichong was prepared from the start, he manipulated Divine Bean Palace and charged out to block the Central Continent troops. Central Continent's GU Immortals had no choice but to block Divine Bean Palace in a panic, they did not have the strength to save the mortals in Emperor City. We are doomed, who can save us? No, we cannot give up hope. Emperor City was in complete chaos. River of Time. The river water moved in waves. Feng Juzhe stood in a time path immortal GU house as he pondered with his eyes closed, he was quietly comprehending. Suddenly, his eyes opened, his expression was of utter shock. A stone lotus island slowly appeared in Feng Juzhe's vision. At this instance, Feng Juzhe thought of the words Qin Dingling said before he left. I observed your luck for you, it shows that your fortuitous encounter is in the river of time. Go, your fortune is there, it will lead you to great accomplishments. You originally wanted to go to the river of time and increase your comprehension to complete Destiny Song, this is a wise decision, it cannot go wrong. Don't tell me, this is my fortuitous encounter. Feng Juzhe restrained the shock in his mind as he entered the Stone Lotus Island. Chapter 1939 Bloodkin Heart Revenge. Heavenly Court Battlefield. You finally woke up. Qin Dingling looked at Fairy Ziwei who was slowly opening her eyes, she let out a breath of air. Fairy Ziwei was a little dazed but she soon regained her senses. How is the battle situation now? The situation is not good. Qin Dingling said grimly, she spread her palms as a golden silhouette appeared. Within the silhouette, one could see the scene of Fang Yuan suppressing Duke Long and Kang Zonzi. Immortal killer move, purple gold dragon shaped chi. After using this killer move, be it offense, defense, healing, or movement, all of Duke Long's actions would have accompanying purple gold dragon shaped chi. This was his main method in chi path, it was very comprehensive. In the previous life, 5 Elements Grandmaster died from this move by Duke Long. But even in this state, Duke Long was repelled by Fang Yuan continuously. Duke Long was still very strong, but Fang Yuan relied on myriad-year flying warship, displaying unprecedented time path battle strength. Spring Scissors and Summer Fan had incredible power, even Duke Long and Kang Zonzi could not block these attacks. Fairy Ziwei took a few glances and exclaimed, Fang Yuan's battle strength is so terrifying. He seems to have a transformation path method to turn all of his Dao marks into the same path. Not only did he advance to rank 8, his Dao marks are at an absurd number. How did he do it? Rather than thinking about this, you should think about how we can resolve this crisis now. Qin Dingling urged. Fairy Ziwei was silent for a while before analyzing as she pointed at the silhouette. Lord Duke Long's strength is not inferior to Fang Yuan, it is just that he is too passive now as a result of protecting the immortal graveyard. This gives Fang Yuan the initiative. Lord Duke Long has to endure every offensive killer move he uses to make sure the immortal graveyard is intact. Fang Yuan could casually dodge Duke Long's attacks but Duke Long had to block Fang Yuan's attacks. This was too great of an advantage. If one analyzed this, they would see that Duke Long and Fang Yuan were quite similar in power level. But Fang Yuan's tactic was too wise. Duke Long would not be overly concerned if he attacked Heaven Overseeing Tower with high defense, but the immortal graveyard was different. The primordial chi wall was destroyed by Fang Yuan, that was truly a huge move, it was crucial. It caused Duke Long to be taxed with defending against Fang Yuan's attacks now. Star constellations could have awakened more GU immortals from the immortal graveyard, but limitless demon Venerable was stopping her at the moment. How could they resolve this issue? Fairy Ziwei started to think about this deeply, but she felt a strong headache. The intense pain made her body shake as she almost fainted again. Be careful, your injuries are still quite severe. Qin Dingling called out in concern. Fairy Ziwei nodded, frowning and enduring the headache. She spoke with difficulty. The immortal graveyard is the biggest foundation and accumulation of Heavenly Court, we cannot lose it. We need to get rid of the problem, which is Fang Yuan now. Go and reinforce Senior Duke Long, get Gu Yu Fangzheng to fight as well. He has been cultivating in the Demon Judgment Board recently, he progressed quite a bit. If you enter the Demon Judgment Board and coordinate with him, there will be good results. What about you? Qin Dingling looked at Fairy Ziwei with worry. Fairy Ziwei spat out a mouthful of blood. I need to heal my injuries. Thankfully, there is a healing hall that can help me greatly. Don't worry, this immortal GU house is at the periphery of the battlefield, it will not attract attention. Okay, be careful. Qin Dingling hesitated for a moment before gritting her teeth and flying away. Fairy Ziwei felt her vision turning dark. After taking several huge breaths for a while, she stabilized her injuries and decided to move towards the healing hall. Immortal killer move, Summer Fan. Whoosh, intense winds blew, sweeping everything in their path, rampaging through heaven and earth. Duke Long grunted as he flew back by 300 steps, countless purple gold scale fragments were scattered along the way. The storm also engulfed Kang Zanzi. The female immortal cried out in pain as her vines snapped. She used her defensive killer moves with much difficulty to resist the attack. Her space path defensive killer move was quite amazing. Any move that landed on her would have to travel through a huge distance to reach her. But no matter how long the distance was, the time path tornado still went into the immortal graveyard. Even though it only suffered a minor loss, still far from total destruction, Heavenly Court's immortals still felt deeply pained when they saw that. Fang Yuan snorted coldly, looking at Kang Zanzi coldly. He was not happy with the current situation. Kang Zanzi, he did not expect her to participate. Fang Yuan knew nothing about her. Especially when she cultivated space path, Fang Yuan's attainment level in this path was too low. Without enough space path attainment level, even though Fang Yuan had wisdom path attainment level, he could not deduce anything useful. The bigger threat between them is Duke Long. Standing on myriad-year flying warship, Fang Yuan looked at Duke Long again. Not long ago, when Fang Yuan used Summer Fan, Duke Long flew back by 500 steps, but now, it was only 300 steps. Summer Fan was an old killer move, even though Fang Yuan modified it, it had already been used before. At this point, Duke Long was getting used to dealing with it. Of course, the bigger reason was that Duke Long was continuously getting stronger. Heavenly Dragon's last stand, Fang Yuan muttered. He could feel what the Northern Plains immortals felt in the previous life when they fought Duke Long. Duke Long was strong to begin with, and more terrifyingly, he was continuously getting stronger. Fang Yuan knew that even though he had the upper hand now, it was because of his wise tactic of targeting the enemy's weakness. Duke Long was forced to defend it. In terms of real battle, if he fought Duke Long and Kang Zanzi, they would be evenly matched. Fang Yuan had myriad-year flying warship, he coordinated well with it. This was the first time Duke Long was fighting with Kang Zanzi, and even though Kang Zanzi had deep foundation on par with Di Zhangsheng, she was unfamiliar with fighting techniques. It showed that under normal times she faced combat rarely. Thus, Fang Yuan could also sense that she was getting more proficient in her methods as the fight went on. After all, a battle of life and death was the greatest form of training. Time is pressing. If I cannot succeed soon, I will need to give up on this target. Fang Yuan took a look at Heaven Overseeing Tower. Once Genesis Lotus method was activated, he would attack that place. Before that, he should destroy the immortal graveyard first. After all, nobody knew which monster would emerge from it next. After all, including Duke Long, Heavenly Court should have a total of 4 Dao Guardians. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light, countless thoughts moved in his mind at rapid speed, countless battle tactics were being created. At this point in time, he still had many trump card killer moves left. There was Time Cutting Edge, Unlimited Chi Si, 5-Finger Fist Heart Sword, Lead Soul into Dream, and other killer moves. If he faced other enemies, these methods would decide the battle and kill them. But Duke Long and Kang Zanzi were not simple characters. Against them, if his move failed, they would be prepared against the attack. Fang Yuan would not be able to use them effectively anymore. Kill Duke Long and Kang Zanzi. It was not impossible for Fang Yuan. But at the same time, Duke Long still had the killer move triple chi retraction. It was very threatening. If Fang Yuan got hit by it, the consequences would be severe. Fang Yuan was similarly wary of it. Furthermore, other than triple chi retraction, did Duke Long have other methods of similar strength? Fang Yuan was not sure. At the same time, Kang Zonzi was quite an unknown factor. She had lived much longer than Duke Long and also had a complex relationship with Genesis Lotus, who knew what methods she could bring out. It would not be surprising. Fang Yuan continued to attack. He aimed attacks at the Immortal graveyard while looking for an opportunity. Duke Long and Kang Zonzi were experienced monsters. Their battle experience was incredibly vast. Fang Yuan tried for a long time but he could not create any opportunities. Amidst the intense battle, a cloud of blood suddenly appeared. The cloud of blood approached Fang Yuan. It had a peculiar aura. Fang Yuan stepped softly as myriad year flying warship shook. A group of daybreak flying swords flew out and attacked the cloud. The blood cloud was pierced by Fang Yuan. It was easily torn to shreds and vanished, but Fang Yuan's expression changed. At the next moment, cooking luck pot appeared above him. Blood markings appeared and stuck themselves onto cooking luck pot, attempting to corrode Fang Yuan's luck. Blood path killer move. Fang Yuan's heart shook. His attack slowed down as he split his attention to mobilize cooking luck pot. But no matter how he tried to cook his luck, he could not get rid of the blood markings. To get rid of them, Fang Yuan would need to concentrate fully. It would expend a lot of his time. Fang Yuan cast his gaze far away as an Immortal GU house approached him. This was a red tombstone with countless words moving on it. It was the rank 8 Immortal GU house, Demon Judgment Board. Fang Zheng, is that you? Although lacking a clear reason, Fang Yuan guessed the identity of the person inside the Demon Judgment Board. Within Demon Judgment Board, there was Gu Fang Zheng and also Qin Dingling. Fang Yuan was hit. Fang Zheng was surprised and joyful. Thank you for amplifying the power of my killer move. At this moment, behind Fang Zheng, Qin Dingling was placing both palms on his back as she helped him with her full strength. Seeing that this move had effect, Qin Dingling was surprised too. She looked at Gu Fang Zheng in a new light. Fang Zheng only had rank 7 cultivation level, but like what Fairy Ziwei predicted, the killer moves he created were very effective on Fang Yuan. Worthy of Fang Yuan's nemesis, the pawn left behind specially by Heaven's Will. Qin Dingling sighed to herself. Heaven's Will attempted to destroy Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's plan, using Fang Yuan as the pawn. But Fang Yuan as an otherworldly demon was the greatest variable himself. Thus Heaven's Will arranged for Fang Zheng as well, to become the counter to Fang Yuan. Thus, after Fang Zheng became the Demon Judgment Board Lord, he used the experience of the previous generations of Board Lords to create his own killer move, Blood Kin Heart Revenge. This blood path mimicked luck path. It also contained the profundity of human path. Qin Dingling's amplification was only icing on the cake. Blood Kin Heart Revenge activated again. The blood cloud approached while Fang Yuan dodged it. But the blood cloud followed him closely. It did not stop chasing after him. I've already used Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. This body has no bloodline relationship with him. Why is the blood cloud still approaching me? At once, Fang Yuan's gaze flickered with uncertainty. Chapter 1940 Limitless, please turn around. Fang Yuan's current main body was made from Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU was a consumable GU worm. It could turn any life form into a purebred human. Because the body was not created by normal birth, it had the trait of being half an otherworldly demon. The Sovereign Immortal body had no blood relationship with Gu Fang Zheng. He was only related to Fang Yuan's rank 6 time path clone. But his clone was currently hidden in the Sovereign Immortal aperture, isolated from the world. Could Fang Zheng's method pierce through that boundary and sense the clone in his immortal aperture? Most likely, this move does not use our bloodline relationship but the mental connection with the user. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk. He felt that this deduction was more logical. He had very little understanding of Fang Zheng's killer move as he had just seen it. Fang Yuan tried for a while and could not get away from the blood cloud. If he destroyed the cloud, blood markings would appear and attack his luck. If others used this killer move, there would not be this effect. But Fang Zheng was closely connected to Fang Yuan, not just in terms of bloodline. He was an arrangement of Heaven's Will. Both of their lucks were connected in some way. For example, after Fang Yuan obtained cooking luck pot, Fang Zheng's luck turned into a pot lid. It showed that he was a counter to Fang Yuan. The connection of Blood Kin Heart Revenge was much more complex than Fang Yuan thought. The first aspect was bloodline connection, the second was the mental connection, and the third was their luck's connection. Using the resonance of their luck, the blood markings were able to corrode Fang Yuan's luck. This was a huge problem for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan changed his target now, trying to destroy Demon Judgment Board and kill Fang Zheng directly. But whenever he made this choice, Duke Long and Kang Zhanzi would interfere. They would thwart his plan each time at the perfect timing. Even if Fang Yuan's attacks landed, it would only cause Demon Judgment Board to shake and crack. Afterwards, the GU Immortals inside would repair it fully. Demon Judgment Board was different from most of Heavenly Court's immortal GU houses. It was comprehensive in defense, movement, recovery, and others. It had no clear weaknesses. If I had the all-living beings' luck inheritance, no, as long as I had Heart-Blood Immortal GU, even if I cannot unravel this move, it will alleviate my situation. Fang Yuan had a sensation back then. It was a pity that he could not obtain Heart-Blood Immortal GU during the Qi banquet. That was truly a huge pity, to think that it would take effect here. In the previous life, Fang Yuan lost the 5 regional limit formation. It was a huge pity. In this life, it was Heart-Blood Immortal GU. Even though Fang Yuan had Spring Autumn Cicada and had the advantage of rebirth, when he changed things, the influence would spread out, his enemies and the entire world would generate new changes that would target him once again. It was like someone shouting at a valley. No matter how he adjusted his voice or tone, the echo would also come back to find him. At the Qi banquet, Fang Yuan already felt something. But it was a pity that all sorts of undercurrents and circumstances forced Fang Yuan to let go of this opportunity. From this aspect, one could see Spring-Autumn Cicada's weakness. The rebirth provided by Spring-Autumn Cicada was merely a second chance. Afterwards, especially later into the future, the situation would still depend on the user's own actions. If one kept relying on the advantage of rebirth, they might gain a lot during the initial stage, but they would be like overconfident swimmers in the sea, eventually drowning themselves. Thus, even after being reborn for countless times, Red Lotus Demon Venerable only managed to damage Fate GU. This way, with Duke Long and Kang Zhanzi as the main force, with Fang Zheng and Qin Dingling as the supplementary force using Demon Judgment Board, they attacked Fang Yuan together, finally resisting this demon's great might. Fang Yuan is trapped. Within Calamity Luck Altar, Bull Demon spoke. He had kept a lot of attention on Fang Yuan. Of course, he was not the only one, all of the other GU Immortals did too. After all, Fang Yuan's victory or defeat would influence this entire battle. Flower Lady hesitated. Should we help him? The two look at Bing Sai Chuan. They knew that he was still concealing a trump card. They could ask Limitless to turn around. In the previous life, Bing Sai Chuan used this trump card to temporarily trap Duke Long. Furthermore, in this situation, as long as Duke Long was trapped, Fang Yuan would not have any restraints. He could break the stalemate. But Bing Sai Chuan shook his head. His gaze was heated. Let them fight. This is our best chance. Let us take Fate GU and return to Longevity Heaven. We will refine Rank 9 Destiny GU. His original goal was this. With Rank 9 Destiny GU, Longevity Heaven would replace Heavenly Court's position. They would rule the 5 regions. Earlier, Bing Sai Chuan was trapped in a predicament. He had to give up on this thought and ask Fang Yuan for help. Now that Fang Yuan has taken action and changed the situation, Bing Sai Chuan's situation turned for the better. Be grateful to Fang Yuan and help him. Bing Sai Chuan laughed coldly in his heart. Their grand ambitions were about to be fulfilled. After years of waiting and expectation, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's goal of domination was close. How could he give up? As long as there was hope, he had to try. He could not give up. At this moment, even though the refinement path formation was not destroyed, a path was already opened. Go. For Longevity Heaven, for Northern Plains, for Lord Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, go and retrieve Fate. Bing Sai Chuan screamed in a loud voice. The phantom images in the river of time stirred. The historical experts of Northern Plains roared and echoed Bing Sai Chuan's words. Mao Li Chu had entered battle long ago, using the killer move Perfect Pair to fight Shabi 95 and Ruan Dan. Bull Demon and Flower Lady also flew out of Calamity Luck Altar, engaging in their attack. Many Northern Plains GU Immortals were with them. They had a much larger force than in the previous life. No, Yuan Chongdu's eyes were red. He shouted for reinforcements but nobody came to help. Yuan Chongdu was inside the refinement path formation. He could not leave. At this moment, he was in grave danger himself. Rank 9 Fate was about to be repaired, but if it was snatched away, their efforts would have been in vain. Seeing this situation, Duke Long became anxious. He called out, Fang Yuan, to think that they are also making use of you. Fang Yuan casted his gaze at Heaven Overseeing Tower. With just this action, Bing Sai Chuan held his breath. If Fang Yuan turned around now and attacked Longevity Heaven, what would they do? Bing Sai Chuan had made this decision after shouldering huge pressure. The truth was, Fang Yuan had been paying attention to Heaven Overseeing Tower's situation. When he saw that Northern Plains GU Immortals were going to Heaven Overseeing Tower, he became happy. Somebody was finally going to step on the landmine for him. Duke Long, you should be more concerned with yourself. I will kill you first before dealing with Longevity Heaven. Fang Yuan shouted. Duke Long was silent, his attacks went beyond his original limit yet again, becoming even stronger. Fate GU, Bull Demon and Flower Lady shouted, they charged up to the top of Heaven Overseeing Tower, seeing Fate GU. But at the next moment, Genesis Lotus, method activated. Ah, what is this? Painting path, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's method. Like what Fang Yuan had expected, these Northern Plains GU Immortals were all stuck inside the bamboo forest painting now. This change was so unexpected that all the other immortals were stunned. Within Calamity Luck Altar, Bing Sai Chuan was dumbstruck. Yuan Chongdu, Kong Yan, and Che Wei gained some time to recover, they quickly rested. Bing Sai Chuan gritted his teeth, phantoms moved in the river of time but no GU immortals appeared. Mao Li Chu was the closest to it but it was fighting against two legendary immemorial beasts, it could not leave. In this situation, only Bing Sai Chuan could go himself. At this moment, Qi Si Lang woke up slowly. What are you hesitating for? Use Calamity Luck Altar to crash into Heaven Overseeing Tower. Qi Si Lang said. When he was unconsciously, he still collected information about the outside world. Once he woke up, he received the information. Fate GU was inside Heaven Overseeing Tower, it was the core component. Fate GU could only be destroyed by otherworldly demons. If Heaven Overseeing Tower was destroyed, the other core immortal GU might be destroyed but Fate GU would be intact. But Heaven Overseeing Tower was a genuine rank 9 immortal GU house, it had great defense. If Heaven Overseeing Tower attacked it, they would lose precious time. This was why Bing Sai Chuan sent GU immortals to invade Heaven Overseeing Tower. Bing Sai Chuan could not decide. He looked at the phantom river of time again. Some time had passed but no GU immortals came out. There were still many experts in Northern Plains history, like those forming 7 Extreme Desolation, they did not show up despite Bing Sai Chuan's expectations. Bing Sai Chuan's expression was uncertain, even though he did not know the previous life's situation, he sensed something amiss. He was a time path great expert after all. Being appointed by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable as the West Desolation Immortal, having slumbered for 300,000 years due to Giant Sun's request, he was the crucial leader that was designated to achieve Longevity Heaven's grand ambitions. This call of the ancient killer move is quite fishy, I cannot rely on it solely. Red Lotus Demon Venerable was once a righteous path member after all, nobody knows what his true objectives are. Thinking of this, Bing Sai Chuan said to Qi Si Lang, 7th Prince, please take action. Qi Si Lang spat out, are you a luck path cultivator? I am more suited than you to control Calamity Luck Altar. How much of this immortal GU house's power can you use? The urgent matter at hand is to Bing Sai Chuan, fuck your ancestor. Qi Si Lang had just said his words when suddenly, Bing Sai Chuan teleported him out, he could not help but curse. Calamity Luck Altar's control was in Bing Sai Chuan's hands. Qi Si Lang was able to control it earlier because Bing Sai Chuan gave him a portion of the authority. 7th Prince, please attack quickly. Bing Sai Chuan spoke politely but Calamity Luck Altar was ready to attack. Qi Si Lang suspected that if he refused to act, Calamity Luck Altar would attack him first. Bing Sai Chuan, very good. Qi Si Lang gritted his teeth in deep anger. Bing Sai Chuan was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's old general, his status and seniority gave him the assurance to deal with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's own son like this. Just you wait, if not for father's ambitions, Qi Si Lang was furious and helpless, he charged into Heaven Overseeing Tower. Yuan Chongdu and the rest were helpless to stop him. Since when could enemies enter and leave Heaven Overseeing Tower at will? Yuan Chongdu and the other two felt sadness in their hearts, they could only bank on Genesis Lotus, arrangements activating again. Qi Si Lang carefully stepped onto the top of Heaven Overseeing Tower, he was immediately attacked by a jade light. He received a shock, looking at Genesis Lotus, painting on the walls, he tried his best to maintain his position but he could not resist it. Right as he was about to be dragged into the painting, Bing Sai Chuan shouted, Limitless, please turn around. In Imperfection Regret Pavilion, similar to the previous life, Limitless Demon Venerable did not turn around, he only tossed out one chess piece. The chess piece flew into Heaven Overseeing Tower and floated above Qi Si Lang's head. Qi Si Lang's body immediately regained freedom as the jade light got blocked by this small chess piece, only a faint amount of jade light remained around him. Qi Si Lang was overjoyed. As long as he got rid of the jade light, he would be able to move freely and snatch Fate Gu.